This dude is the absolute strongest hunter, a regressor who has watched the world end way too many times. Now he has just one mission: track down the 4 dragon hatchlings scattered worldwide. In past timelines, humans always bully and ruthlessly pack up these hatchlings before they even get a chance to grow. That always triggers the adult dragons into massive rage mode, invading Earth for revenge while GTA fights back constantly. He straight up solo carries, slaughtering hundreds of dragons himself, but it never matters. No matter his body count, more keeps spawning until the planet gets totally wiped. So this time, new strategy. Instead of waiting for the raid boss, he is securing the dragon hatchlings early. They look just like regular people. His plan is straightforward: adopt them, protect them, and give them the goated childhood they never had. Boom, apocalypse canceled before it drops. His first stop is Italy to locate hatchling number 1. GTA locks onto his first target. Thanks to a wildly overpowered system ability, Bro is basically Duolingo in human form, instantly fluent in every single language on Earth. The petite, green-haired girl questions who he is and what he wants. He casually replies they have business. She realizes this guy totally knows her deal. He confirms it, then flips the script, asking if she knows exactly who he is. Without missing a beat, the ominous girl calls him UGT right to his face, flexing that she knows everything. Now, our boy definitely was not expecting to get doxxed in real life. He gets super serious, demanding how she found out. She just points straight at his police ID badge strapped to his uniform. His whole name is literally right there. Dropping the jokes, she hilariously admits she actually has zero clue who he is or what his whole vibe is. But there is one thing she knows for sure. The absolute unit standing right in front of her is packing some absolutely insane power levels. Looking at this quiet scenery, a wildly overpowered dude like him definitely does not belong here. Both of those reads are spot on, so he just awkwardly looks away. That leads her to question his actual motive. Is he some top-tier assassin sent to pack her up? GTA shuts that down fast, so she guesses this must be a super-secret kidnapping gig. Our boy straight up agrees that yeah, that is basically it. And she makes it weird, asking if he is some freaky Reddit furry who gets way too hyped for dragons. GTA is totally done with her trolling. He assures the hatchling his only purpose this time is keeping her safe. But if she refuses to touch grass and follow his lead, he will absolutely use force to make her comply. The Green Dragon clan actually comes equipped with completely broken eyesight. They instantly read the room and grasp any situation, making them way more perceptive. Here is why that matters for us as a green dragon. She is literally scanning his true intentions right now. But dealing with our tall, brooding, completely fed-up protagonist, he basically just threatens her to pick the right option. Thinking over this absolutely ridiculous plan, the green dragon hopes he will at least treat her nicely wherever they go. GTA promises he will absolutely make that happen. Ultimately, the dragon admits she is totally trapped here. He is kidnapping her regardless, so he better treat her like a VIP guest. That is literally all she cares about. She even holds up a pinky promise finger to lock the deal in. Interestingly, GTA spots her hand physically shaking. He plays along with the childish gesture just to make her feel secure. Next morning, the green hatchling wakes up with some insane bedhead, slightly flustered, wondering if her tall prince is awake. Not gonna lie, she gives major Tatsumaki vibes, but with longer hair. She wanders into the living room and spots Jide apparently communicating with his own skill. He orders a shadow to go run a mission. This broken skill, Shadow of the Grand Duke, summons an identical clone holding 50% of his stats. The clone perfectly copies his look, acting completely loyal to its master's commands. It walks right past the green dragon, who politely says hello, showing just how perfect the recreation is. The real Jite chimes in, telling her she has nothing to do with his copy. Turns out this shadow double is actually the one doing all his daily police shifts. Bro is literally using shadow clone jutsu to handle his 9-to-5 job. That is unbelievably goated. She quickly realizes this dude never touches grass or goes to work. Jite argues he is technically working since the clone uses his stamina. But the biggest flex is him staying right by her side, basically acting as her personal overpowered bodyguard. She totally buys his excuse and plops down next to him pitching breakfast. Jite is low-key shocked she brought it up. She playfully roasts him to actually eat something since he totally skipped dinner last night. Even so, he shoots her down. Bro is absolutely locked in on that Sigma male grind set to keep those daily calories completely non-existent. The green dragon pouts it is super weird that the homeowner starves himself while she just gets to vibe and do whatever. Jite claps back, asking why she even bothers eating 3 square meals. Dragons are basically goated and can easily survive without any food. The playful dragon basically tells his depressed ass that life is more than just surviving. Honestly, eating good food just makes her happy. That right there actually catches him off guard. She hops right up and drags him grocery shopping. Bro tries dodging again, but the green dragon is super insistent. She wants to show him the actual power of breakfast. Fast forward to the supermarket and we hit a completely packed out store full of NPCs. Nobody cares about their groceries. Everyone is busy staring at this alluring goddess who looks like a literal A-list celebrity. Jite walks beside the pretty dragon, realizing random couples are literally beefing with each other just because they are walking by. Shopping done, Jite complains they just bought way too much food. The reason she went totally overboard is actually super simple. It is entirely because this man keeps zero food inside his kitchen. Bro literally owns zero cooking utensils and she wants to take over that kitchen station from now on. That is exactly why she is hyped to serve him some real breakfast. A grumpy Jite tells her to just drop everything at home so they can eat out, which honestly totally ruins her vibe. Turns out they have somewhere super important to be right now and she absolutely has to tag along. He also points out it is way past breakfast time. That actually bums her out since she had not gone shopping in ages. She just follows along asking where they are heading. Jite explains there is some major stuff she needs before officially moving in and living rent-free. He tells her to hurry up because they have a massive checklist today. Next scene up, some insanely creepy egghead dude is completely gooning over the pretty girl. Jite casually reminds this absolute dumbass to focus on his job unless he really wants to lose his last working eyeball. Next up, they hit the receptionist to grab their paperwork. They also score some sick accessories and mess around with the system right after. This crazy long day finally wraps up with her officially registering a brand new ID card. Yubam is now officially a city resident, though she finds having an ID super weird in the first place. Jite catches on asking if she never had one before. Bomb explains she literally did not even have a bank account in her own name. Bro is internally screaming, wondering how this dragon survived this long. Meanwhile, she is super curious why he even picked Bomb as her name. Honestly, Jite just copied it straight from the 4 seasons, assigning one season to every single different dragon. She actually loves the name Yubam. Spring is the season where life totally pops off on Earth, making it a seriously gorgeous pick. Despite the good vibes, she still finds him absolutely terrifying. Thanks to her magic eyes, every fiber of her being screams not to mess with this man or she is going to find out real bad. Even so, Bomb truly believes he is a genuinely good person. He thinks she is completely bugging since they just met today. But the green dragon flexes that her intuition is way sharper than any normal person. That is why she flashes this radiant confidence sweetly, asking if it is cool to just keep watching him a little bit longer. This right here is a massive W for Jite after all those hopeless regressions. He literally never managed to make her smile before today. Looking up at the sky, his eyes feel super heavy. He pleasantly admits things are actually starting off pretty great. Meanwhile, out in a random African wasteland, this absolute menace of a crimson-haired dragon is completely tormenting her opponent. This bald dude has literally negative IQ. He tries to rage bait her only to get his face entirely caved in while she just laughs at his suffering. She is honestly just disappointed. He died way too fast. Whatever though. Out of 199 insane battles, this absolute beast of a musketeer has won every single one. Now she is just hyped, wondering who her next victim is. Time for a little backstory on what is actually going down in Africa. A terrorist group called Barkada is being controlled by demonic humans, completely wiping out 400 innocent civilians. One crazy report mentions an African vigilante, a literal teenage girl, that the media is dubbing the Night Hunter. She is completely soloing Barkada. Jite reads this and realizes he absolutely has to step in and make a major move. Bomb calls out from the kitchen, dinner is ready. Bro was probably expecting a Michelin star masterpiece, but instead he finds a smoking cursed mess that looks straight up foul. Bro is instantly depressed just looking at it while the pure girl curiously asks for his honest review. Apparently, she found some highly cursed sardine dish during a past trip to the UK, so she paired the dish with rice, totally knowing Koreans go crazy for it. Bro takes a spoonful and his soul literally leaves his body watching this dead fish beg to be put out of its misery. This is not even food anymore, it is straight up poison. GD quickly changes the subject, revealing he plans to grab the red dragon. Bomb pouts, looking super bummed because catching her is going to be a total nightmare. She's not the type to just tag along nicely if asked, which is exactly why our guy wants Bomb to help out with the persuasion phase, even though she thinks her help is going to be basically useless. Both dragons belong to completely different houses, making things pretty dang awkward. By the way, Bro still has not eaten a single bite of this literal corpse. Bomb explains how every dragon house wants totally different things. While she personally loves building things, the red dragons just have a completely different vibe. They are all about war and straight violence. Flexing their dominance is their whole personality, so trying to use brute force is not going to fly. For red dragons, pride and honor are everything. Catching an L literally means death. Jite completely gets this, but he also knows it is super risky if he does not rescue her as soon as possible, because lurking in that same wasteland is an insanely strong warrior hunting her down. If Jite does absolutely nothing, she is 100% getting packed up. That is why he wants Bomb to tag along, avoiding a fight and keeping things chill. She just stares blankly at him, leaving him totally confused. The spring dragon finds it wildly weird that he is actually asking for help outright. Up until now, he gave off major do-it-all workaholic vibes, a guy who literally never asks anyone for a favor. She is so shook by this request that she instantly agrees, making sure to emphasize she wants Red surviving too. But this playful dragon drops one single condition. He has to actually finish the cursed food sitting right there. She totally caught his ass quietly, putting the spoon down while they talked. Okay guys, I genuinely think our boy is getting murdered here, story over. Bro basically accepts that he is completely cooked and takes the bite that will absolutely destroy his toilet. Jumping straight to the next scene, we hit the wasteland where Red is wreaking absolute havoc. She has already wiped out a dozen soldiers, calling them pure trash as she smacks them around effortlessly. She really wanted her 200th fight to be somewhat decent, not this boring. It is so bad that Red is seriously thinking about moving continents. Africa just does not have anyone goated enough to challenge her. She suddenly remembers Green is doing pretty awesome over in Europe. Maybe she should go touch grass and catch up. Two soldiers are out here spying on her. Despite being elite members, they just watch their squad get totally obliterated by one single girl. Honestly, at this point, she is barely a girl, just a straight-up war machine. Knowing they are ridiculously outmatched, these guys desperately cling to the hope of their leader saving them. Not that it matters, Red catches them whispering and immediately jumps them. One guy actually tries shooting her, but it is way too late. She is literally inches from cutting him down. Suddenly, a massive bright yellow flash distracts her. A pulsing yellow mana beam smacks her all the way back. Red barely blocks it with her blade, totally caught off guard by how insane this attack feels. Gripping tight, she flexes her sheer power to slice right through the mana beam, absolutely terrifying the soldiers who barely survived. The destined warrior meant to end her life has finally pulled up. Javier is officially here hunting the Night Hunter. And honestly, bro looks like he completely maxed out his drip stat. He runs with the African Union, officially ranked as the 8th strongest superhuman alive. Red is highly intrigued, genuinely hyped to finally meet this leader. The warrior is completely shook by how young she looks, literally a teenager at most. Which is exactly why Red wore that mask in the first place. Nobody would take her seriously and fight properly without it. Javier is blown away that she refuses to surrender even after feeling the massive gap in their stats. But this feisty dragon does not care about weapons. Her pride is absolutely everything. She would rather die standing than live on her knees. You catching that reference? Pulsing with insane red mana, she goes full Naruto-tailed beast cloak and charges. The first strike completely misses. Second kick gets blocked by his heavy sword. And the third punch is heavily defended too. Mid-combo, Red builds up enough momentum to force an opening and lands the most absolute devastating nut-busting, manhood-destroying punch that humanity has ever witnessed. But to her absolute shock, this dude is built different. He does not even flinch. The literal definition of having titanium balls. Right now, Javier realizes this little girl probably never had the bad luck of fighting someone way stronger than her. She is used to easy wins, which is exactly why her pride will get her killed. Javier whips his blade out, ready to end her whole career. With one single slash, he almost takes her head clean off. Meet the most aura-heavy weapon of all time, the Sword of Ra. Absolutely wild. That is absolutely sick. Tapping into his special ability, he gets ready to finish her off. Even Red knows she cannot possibly dodge this crazy attack. She just has to tank it head-on. The slash straight up severs the horizon, dealing massive damage. Red crashes into the wall, but somehow survives. Javier spots how she barely energized her arms at the last second to block the lethal blow. So he needs to up his output to actually win. But when the dust settles, Red is totally gone. He assumes she dipped, but actually, Green came in clutch to save her. Still, she cannot stop blabbing in total shock. Asking what she is doing, Bomb promises she is just here to help. Flexing those healing powers, she cures Red instantly. Red was super caught off guard by the pop-up. Bomb explains that somebody else tipped her off about the whole situation. Super salty after getting healed, she rants at the Green Dragon for crashing her solo fights again. Keeping up her fierce dragon pride, she absolutely refuses to tap out until she literally dies fighting. But Bomb grabs her attention, pointing out how her death would ruin everything. The messy consequences will fall right onto everyone else. Deep down, Bomb knows Red does not want the fun to stop. She actually wants to chill on Earth and vibe out. She hopes Red gets the picture and teams up. This genuinely blows the Red Dragon away. But honestly, she thinks running from a goated monster like Javier is straight up pointless. Green claps back, promising she already brought her man to handle it. The way she phrased that is definitely a little sus. Suddenly, the literal Grim Reaper hits the battlefield. Javier looks around, questioning who this guy even is. Jike drops a cold one-liner about being his escort to hell. Then we abruptly cut over to the Yellow Dragon. She senses Green lingering on him. Hyped up, the little sunshine immediately asks who he is. Instantly, she recognizes he is a good dude. Now back to the epic Aura Farmer battle. Javier thinks it is absolutely wild for this dude to help the girl escape. Instead of throwing hands, Jite actually offers the warrior a chance to just walk away. Javier takes that as a huge insult. He steps up incredibly salty that this random guy came out of nowhere barking orders at him. He claims Red crossed a major line, but Jite fires back that she never actually killed anyone. The warrior gets super offended, but Jite straight up promises he is taking the girl away regardless. He tells him they should just settle this peacefully. Refusing to touch grass, Javier grabs his sword and charges it up. Right before slashing the dude, Javier loudly flexes that this entire area is his organization's turf. Since he is an investigator, he plans to lock both of them up. Topping that line, he unleashes the exact same heavy sword swing he used on Red. The raw destructive output literally nukes everything. The crazy slash scars the earth. Interestingly, Javier already knows for a fact this attack would never kill the guy, especially if he is teaming with the Red girl. Now watch this. Jite basically pulls a classic "he is right behind me" move on his back. Javier knows he is officially cooked. Meanwhile, my guy casually reminds the superhuman he is only ranked 8th, straight up trash-talking him. Javier scrambles to draw his sword again, totally baffled by how this dude just speed blitzed him. But his golden sword is pretty useless without limbs to hold it. One cut and his arm goes flying. The Dark Wielder steps up, giving him one single warning he is making a massive mistake by picking this fight. Then he hands him a fake alibi for his bosses. Javier will report the girl effortlessly overpowered him. The crazy creature was just way too much to handle. He could not even react before both his arms got sliced off. On top of that, he even lost his eyes, which perfectly explains how he lost track of the escaping targets. By the way, the absolute scariest part here is that Jite only cut off one arm so far. To make the fake story legit, he literally holds his energy blade to Javier's eyes while he begs for mercy. And then slash. His vision goes black, forever permanently ending his sword career. This brutal lesson is exactly why Jite went so hard. He knows the organization has crazy healers who can easily regenerate lost limbs and even eyes, but they definitely cannot heal the massive amount of sheer terror he just inflicted. That deep trauma will haunt Javier for life. Jite basically weaponized fear to get his way. Next, he locks eyes with the red-haired dragon. She looks like she just saw a ghost. Sinking that same fear into her smoothly achieves his second goal. Red thinks this guy is an absolute monster, disguised as a human, but Green casually explains he is really just a regular dude. Red calls Cap, saying she is just a stupid lizard compared to him. Jite speaks up. He tells the little dragon she's under his protection now. He'll give them both total freedom to do whatever they want, even straight up backing their dreams. But the second they ditch his safety net, he's not going to show any mercy. Bomb swoops in right on cue, totally stopping the other dragon from saying something incredibly dumb. She throws our guy a wink, basically saying, "Job well done." He dubs her Yoram right then and there, figuring he can explain the new name later. While Yoram vents all her frustration on her friend, our guy reports back to the main body. Catch that plot twist. This whole time, the dude was just a shadow clone, not even the real Jite. Meanwhile, the actual Jite is chilling out in the Amazon rainforest, just hanging with sunshine. He gives his clone props, admitting it would have been super rough trying to secure Yoram all by himself. That is exactly why they needed the green dragon involved. The pretty blonde girl plops down, asking who he was just talking to. He stays completely silent. She just teases him, pointing out that his smartwatch is literally strapped to her own wrist. Enter the gold dragon. And exactly like every other gold dragon out there, she absolutely craves attention. Across 6 past lives, this girl spent 2 soaking up pure fame. But the dragon who got the most hyped up also caused the most insane destruction. She definitely wanted thousands of adoring fans, but that hype came with a massive price. Think of a gorgeous rose packing seriously sharp thorns. That is why she is hiding out in the middle of nowhere trying to dodge the spotlight. Anyway, she's busy geeking out over how sick the smartwatch is. Jita just genuinely asks what she's even doing out here. That question completely stuns her. Jite points out that a gold dragon is supposed to be living it up among humans. Instead, she is out here totally isolated, completely surrounded by monsters. His sharp read completely shocks her, but apparently the green dragon already spilled all his stats to her beforehand. Hearing Green's name, she flaps around, happily realizing they definitely know each other. Jite just cuts to the chase, asking if she is actually terrified of humans now. That hits her right in the feels. The pretty angel admits she isn't really scared of humans since she used to hang around them a lot. But she is deeply creeped out. The total weirdos would stare at her with predatory eyes, even stalking her everywhere. Deep down, she is basically just a kid scared of creeps, so she went completely off the grid. Switching gears, Jite randomly asks if she likes bread. She reminds him she is literally a dragon, eating is not required. He snaps his fingers. Suddenly, he opens up a personal subdimension, so ridiculously massive it could swallow an entire city. Weird, shadowy limbs reach out from the void, dropping off a massive bag of snacks. Honestly, it is giving major Mojito domain expansion vibes. Anyway, Gold gets literal stars in her eyes seeing this epic stash of sugary junk food. He hands the whole bag over for free. Meanwhile, she is practically drooling over the glazed donuts and fresh blueberry egg tarts. Using the snacks as bait, Jite offers the gold dragon a completely fresh start. A free pass to crash at his place plus a promise she can reunite with her friends. She could actually enjoy life without constantly looking over her shoulder. Chewing on a pastry, she gets a little sad remembering her mom's strict warning about never following strangers. Jite drops the ultimate counter-move promising infinite macarons, and apparently that is all it takes to kidnap a dragon because she is instantly sold. Cut back to Jite's apartment. Yoram stares out at the city skyline looking pretty salty about everything she just went through. Seeing two absolute monsters with way higher power levels really took a bat to her ego. Bomb watches quietly. She knows the red dragon is really struggling to accept this harsh reality check. As for Jite, he just walked in with another goated waifu for his collection. She is still yapping about the food munching on her sweets. Suddenly, she takes one bite and gets totally paralyzed. This macaron hits so hard she basically sees heaven looking absolutely adorable while she completely short-circuits. Green welcomes them back inside and Gold gets insanely hyped to see her old friend. They immediately tackle each other into a massive hug, both saying how much they missed hanging out. The wholesome vibes are off the charts. Gold quickly asks how long Green has been crashing with Jite. While they catch up with Red, Jite calls his shadow clone back, giving the guy props for carrying the mission. He sends the shadow back into hiding. Red steps inside from the balcony, catching his eye. She instantly looks annoyed just looking at him, but Gold is absolutely hyped to see her, acting like a total clingy attention seeker. She buzzes around being loud and asking a million questions, teasing Yoram for being a typical bad girl red dragon. Yoram snaps right back, calling her a chicklet and roaring at her to touch grass. Poor chicklet got totally roasted. But playtime is over, time to focus. Jita gathers all three together. He checks in with the girls to get their actual ages. Bomb is the oldest at 20, while Yoram is chilling at 16. And then there is Gold, who is literally only 10. These dragons speedrun puberty, which is her sassy way of telling Jite to stop treating them like toddlers. She instantly notices everyone calling the red dragon Yoram. Bomb steps up and explains that Jite actually handed out these names, dubbing her Bomb. Technically, these dragons have not even gone through their official naming rituals yet, but Jite is already out here giving them identities. Catching on to the whole 4 seasons vibe, Gold realizes her new name is Gayul. She is quick to pick up on Jite's logic. That means the necklace she is wearing is Gyul holding down the winter spot. That egg actually belongs to a blue dragon, a polymorph that is basically about to hatch, so they have to protect it at all costs. These girls are high-key impressed that a random human knows so much about their kind, but our guy Gate keeps his secrets and refuses to drop any lore about his past. Instead, he lays down the one single rule they actually need to worry about. He tells them to vibe and have as much fun as they want right here, but going outside and doing reckless stuff is strictly banned. Basically, he is playing the ultimate helicopter parent while they chill, keeping them under absolute lock and key. Yoram gets completely triggered and hilariously calls this dude a communist. Her friends, however, are absolutely not backing her up on that one. Bomb takes charge as the oldest sister, agreeing to his terms just as long as they get to goof off together. She even pitches a quick trip outside, pointing out they desperately need fake IDs and basic living supplies to survive in this world. The little chicklet is literally glowing with hype while Yoram awkwardly points out they are completely broke. Jide casually tosses Bomb his wallet, giving her the green light to go crazy. Ever the responsible one, Bomb asks what the actual spending limit is for the day. This absolute Chad just turns around and tells them to swipe it until it declines. So the 3 Chaos Dragons hit the mall, and what do you know? They casually blow over $40,000 in a single afternoon. When they roll back home hauling mountains of designer bags, our boy is slumped in the corner, heavily questioning all his life choices. Bomb walks over to hand back his wallet, feeling kind of bad for completely nuking his bank account. She actually wanted to cop some fresh fits for him too, but they literally hit the daily credit limit. Jite just brushes it off, totally unbothered. Gale jumps in to grab his attention, flexing all her cute new outfits to show off her massive glow-up. She even bought a smartwatch specifically to match his. Jite goes full proud dad mode and praises her, making her squeal with pure joy. Then there is Yoram, who immediately feels the competitive urge to flex her own smartwatch. She's low-key embarrassed to show off her new weapon, the replacement for her old sword that got completely trashed by Javier. But Jite just nods, calling it a goated piece of gear. That little compliment totally reassures her that she did not just waste his cash on trash loot. The little chicklet comes rushing in with a whole pile of clothes for Red to try on, which absolutely ruins Yoram's mood. Meanwhile, Bomb drops some truth. Red acts like a total sooner about her feelings, but deep down she is actually the most thankful out of everyone. What really confuses our guy is how Bomb apparently bought nothing for herself. But wait, she actually did buy that one thing sitting quietly on the table. It is literally just a potted plant, proving she is the only one here who actually touches grass. She loves taking care of nature, even if Jite does not get the hype at all. Holding the tiny pot, Bomb explains that this little guy is going to bloom into a beautiful flower. She says it will become a core memory for her to cherish forever. That little speech also reminds her of a huge favor she needs to ask him. Because let us be real, their idea of fun needs to be more than just eating food and staring at the walls. Bomb straight up asks Jitae to level up their entertainment options while they are stuck living under his roof. Shocker, he actually agrees. He whips out Lair Academy applications, telling them they are going to school. Later, the girls drag themselves home with Red fully raging over the exhausting interviews. But weirdly enough, their overpowered babysitter is nowhere to be found. Out of nowhere, Gold starts fully having a meltdown. She is bawling her eyes out, absolutely convinced she's going to fail, while the other two pass with flying colors. Yoram is beyond annoyed with the crying and honestly wishes they could just shove some bread in the kid's mouth to mute her. Gold is literally calling herself a useless pig right as Jitae spawns in behind them like a literal jump scare. She instantly tackles him with a massive hug, stressing out over failing her interview. He just pats her head and promises that nobody is taking an L today. As for where he vanished, Jitae was out running a very specific errand. He looks right at Gale and says he brought back something she's going to go crazy for. She is already foaming at the mouth thinking about macarons. But plot twist, it is actually something way more epic than French pastries. We get a quick flashback playing inside Jitae's head. In his past life, he saw this exact gold dragon blow up and become a massive global pop star. During some viral interview back then, she was hyping up the talk show hosts for cooking her absolute favorite meals. The host asked what her ultimate god-tier comfort food was. She thought about it for a second and then dropped her answer. The universe answers with the ultimate comfort food, crispy fried chicken. All three girls are practically drooling, but the little chicklet looks ready to ascend. Yoram is mad suspicious she has never tasted this goated meal before. Meanwhile, our boy Jitae steps away when his smartwatch starts buzzing. Bomb looks totally bummed out that he will not be grabbing a bite with them. Jitae just brushes it off. He is cool, eating solo. She turns on the charm and begs him to pull up a chair. Too bad. This dude already dipped out. Turns out Jitae is taking a call from Lair Academy. They hit him up about some wild situation that went down during the admissions interview. Crazy enough, Bomb kept him completely in the dark. The admissions committee is absolutely losing their minds because you Bomb locked in a perfect score. During her interview, she flexed such an insanely flawless approach that the entire panel was left completely speechless. Because of that god-tier performance, they want to offer her the spot as the star candidate leading the entrance ceremony. An exclusive VIP invite meant only for her. The interviewers literally pitched this massive opportunity straight to her face. Just one tiny hitch, the green-haired girl rejected them flat out, hence the frantic call. They called Jitae hoping he would push her into taking this sick opportunity. But as her guardian, this guy flat out refuses to force her hand. He totally respects her decision, and with zero hesitation, he hangs up the phone. Yoram strolls onto the balcony, already knowing the call was about Green. Jitae immediately shuts that down and tells her to use the name Bomb. Yoram thinks it is a super cringe name and openly roasts him for it. Jitae ignores the bait completely and asks what she wants. Red just gives him this intense look, genuinely curious why he is shipping them off to school. He explains it is a solid stepping stone for hitting their goals, but Yoram seriously needs to touch grass. She hates school. She only cares about throwing down with strong fighters and wants to know if the academy has any. Our boy confirms the world's absolute elites are enrolled there. Sure, they are kids, but hey, she is technically a kid too. Big mistake. She squares up, straight up taunting him for a real fight. The red dragon already knows he is an absolute monster, but she is itching to see his actual power level. The only way she falls in line is if he forces her to respect his totally busted stats. Jitae thinks it over for a hot second, completely rejects the challenge, and tells her to go eat. She gets insanely salty. She calls him a total buzzkill and flips him the bird like a moody teenager. Enter the little chicklet sliding in with a piece of god-tier chicken to cool down that fiery temper. Even with Yoram fighting it, Gale forcefully shoves it in her mouth, instantly hitting her with that mind-blowing flavor. Now check this out, we are shifting focus to Lair Academy. It is a massive educational hub on the island of Abundance, better known as Hatling. This place is a whole sanctuary where superhumans level up, built exclusively for anyone born with crazy abilities. But the catch is the cadets enrolled here are all Nepo babies from CEO families, royal bloodlines, or straight-up prodigies. Which is exactly why the school gets dragged online. It is basically an elitist club where hierarchy dictates everything. Anyway, Gale and Bomb are knocking out their very first day, soaking in the seriously hyped campus vibes. Gale cooks up this wild fan theory that their guardian must be a trust fund baby, explaining how he casually dropped all that cash. Bomb is mature enough to know that theory is totally busted. Still, the massive W is that they all got accepted. The chicklet is just living her best life hanging with the crew, but she is low-key wondering where Yoram and Jitae ran off to. Bomb points out the red dragon headed over to the blue dragon school for her exams, and Jitae tagged along as her escort, because apparently adults have to supervise their kids on campus. mostly to stop undisciplined superhumans from going rage mode and wrecking the place. And knowing the Red Dragon, she is a literal walking hazard who could cause a scene at any second. Bomb explains this test is absolutely mandatory if Yoram wants the official green light to duel the other cadets. This gets Gayul totally hyped. She really wants to watch the showdown live, but sadly, Jide already shot that idea down. Leaving the little girl totally crushed, Bomb mentions it would look super weird if they crashed it, since everyone is already side-eyeing them. Cut straight to the Blue Dragon School's dueling pavilion. Cadets are throwing down across 4 different combat arenas simultaneously. Right in the stands, Jite is looking max level and fully dripped out just watching the chaos with zero stress. The examiner tells the adult supervisors to chill out, complaining they are giving the other cadets major anxiety. This guy formally drops his name as the head professor of the Blue Dragon School 1. The crowd is totally fanboying over his dignified drip and smooth manners, recognizing him as a highly decorated war hero, but Chite stays dead silent. He knows there is something super sus hiding beneath this guy's perfect surface. He hears the loudspeaker announce Yoram's matchup, and she boldly steps right into the arena. She is really hoping this match isn't a total snooze fest. Facing her is a blonde chick rocking a seriously fierce glare. Our Red Dragon is straight up planning to dip and leave this place if the duel does not deliver. Before things even pop off, a bunch of cadets in the stands are already placing their bets on both sides. A few guys are just simping over their looks. But skill-wise, everyone is hyping up Sofia Vorkova for the win. She has that crazy RIL experience under her belt after all. That is an elite Russian task force that totally carried during the Great War. Bro, did someone straight up isekai a Call of Duty sweat into this universe. Anyway, that task force is famous for having torturous training methods that would make anyone crash out. Sofia's dad is her supervisor, and he hits her with that heavy expectation talk. He is sweating for a win, but his daughter thinks this whole tryhard vibe is totally cringe. Taunting her opponent, our tomboy drops a daddy's girl insult, trying to rage bait Sofia into quitting the match early. But that major trash talk does not even slightly faze the blonde. Sofia locks in with a terrifying glare and casually threatens murder, which is exactly the hype reaction our dragon wanted. The crowd realizes both these girls are unhinged psychos, while our boy just watches the chaos calmly. They lock into position. Sofia preps those bare fists while Yoram gets her blade ready for action. The match kicks off. In a split second, Sofia basically teleports to land a sick opening strike. Yoram completely matches her energy and blocks the hit, casually praising the girl's insane speed. Returning the favor, she pushes forward with a heavy diagonal slash. Sofia has to duck, leaving a massive opening. Taking advantage, the Russian sweat lands a perfectly clean kick right into Yoram's side, totally shredding up her outfit. Now Yoram is seriously raging. She literally just bought that drip. But Sofia is far from finished here. With one heavy step, she freaking teleports again like she popped Ultra Instinct. A totally insane back-and-forth brawl pops off, leaving Yoram stuck playing defense to dodge those brutal strikes, using the metal cage to her total advantage. The Red Dragon bounces off the wall for crazy momentum. Check this out. These two clash head-on in the middle, and Yoram is looking like an absolute beast. That fearless push completely overwhelms Sofia. She desperately blocks the heavy swing, but it costs her big time. Her forearm bones literally just shatter into pieces, hitting her with some agonizing pain. Our dragon knows she has secured the bag. She flash steps right then and there, popping up behind Sofia to end this whole thing with one backward swing. Yoram casually reminds this girl that she was barely even trying this whole time. Dropping that line, she delivers a punch so heavy it launches Sofia flying straight into the fence. Sofia coughs up blood, completely cooked from that heavy impact. The match ends with our redhead towering over her defeated opponent. Channeling that toxic Valorant lobby energy, Yoram basically drops a massive G easy right to her face. She walks off thinking these so-called academy elites are absolute jokes. To her, they are all just a bunch of try-hard losers. The crowd is completely shook, watching Sofia get absolutely wrecked right in front of them. Meanwhile, Yoram literally did not take a single scratch. She was just playing with her food the entire match. Half the audience thinks Sofia is washed. Others realize the redhead is just goated. A few were even calling Sofia a total nepo baby who faked her elite status. That toxic crowd reaction is seriously starting to tilt her. The medic quickly patches up her minor injuries, but those shattered arms need serious work. Totally tilted, Sofia clenches her fists, stubbornly claiming she is completely fine. Her dad steps up to handle things, reassuring his daughter that she genuinely tried her hardest. Taking an L was not the plan, but there was zero chance of winning in that condition. He promises he is not even mad, but this absolute psycho is solely fixated on the combat knife at his side. While he keeps yapping away with his cringe motivational speech, the medic points out that his kid is currently storming off. Sofia is fully crashing out, deciding the match is not over despite the official call. She quietly charges up that stolen blade with heavy mana. Yoram is just about to bounce when Sophia calls her out, blitzes over at wild speed, and totally backstabs her. Seeing this totally garbage move unfold, Jide stays chilling. The dragon got ambushed out of nowhere, and Sophia is radiating some serious murderous intent. This crazy plot twist completely stuns the audience. Honestly, even head professor Wei Yan is caught totally off guard here. Now Jite looks absolutely pissed off. He watches Sophia bury that dagger deep in her back right before both girls crash completely out of the arena. That blade legit punched all the way through her stomach. Now Yoram is seriously ready to put this girl in the ground. But the crazy is not over yet. Sophia keeps pushing with pure bloodlust, trying to beat her down into the dirt. Even heavily nerfed Yoram casually dodges the strike, grabs a handful of her stupid blonde hair, and violently yanks her back. This time, Yoram is totally out for blood. She lands the first strike, knocking the brain cells right out of that crazy blonde. From there, it turns into a total massacre. Yoram keeps pounding her face, drawing blood with every single hit while the crowd watches in terror. That final hit launches her into the stands. Homegirl got slumped out looking just like Yamcha. The red dragon is nowhere near done. She yanks the blade right out of her own back and marches forward with insane bloodlust, totally ready to return the favor. The second she tries to stab Sophia, her brooding dad steps in to shove Yoram away. Yoram demands he let her go, and only then does this soft-head professor finally use a mage to drop an overlap space. Imagine waiting that ridiculously long instead of just stepping in. Head professor, my ass. The mages instantly throw up a barrier space, trapping Yoram and Sophia's dad right inside. She drops the weapon, screaming about how unfair it is they only target her. Honestly, Yoram is right. Sophia was totally the one trying to kill her and even stabbed her first. But her dad argues she could have just knocked Sophia out, considering how insanely strong Yoram actually is. She could have just done that. Our redhead is royally pissed that instead of checking his own daughter, this guy is giving her a lecture. Wei Yan steps in, begging everyone to just chill out. First off, he tells Yoram they already sent someone to grab her guardian so she can get immediate medical treatment. Even with him being the head professor, Yoram screams at him for acting way too chill about this. Wei Yan gives her props and gets what happened, but his main priority is stopping her from making this mess even bigger. Real issue is if Yoram goes totally overboard here, she will end up dragging her entire family down with her. This sharp-witted professor casually drops a threat, hinting that the entire Yu family could lose their academy spot. That instantly kills Yoram's rage, mostly because her family is the only thing in the world she actually cares about, and losing that would genuinely wreck her. Wei Yan is mid-condescending speech when Jite finally arrives on the scene as her guardian. He immediately calls out Wei Yan for trying to corner an injured kid, heavily suggesting the adults take this chat outside. Honestly, every single time this man makes a calculated move, he completely earns massive respect. Both of those guys are totally speechless, while Yoram shows a tiny hint of frustration. Next up, we head straight into Wei Yan's office. We see Jite sitting right across from Sophia's dad, while the head professor personally serves them some tea. Now the head professor's first impression of this dude is on the suspicious side. First off, only super strong, high-level rankers can just casually stroll into an overlap space, plus this dude is a total mystery. There is zero mention of him in any database, so Wei Yan definitely wants to dig into his identity later on. The chat kicks off with both sides looking visibly hostile. Wei Yan steps up and apologizes for the whole mess. Sophia looks like a literal bloody pulp right now. Our favorite tomboy really gave her a brutal makeover. Yoram got safely discharged after healing up, so Wei Yan honestly thinks they should just drop the whole thing. They will definitely cross paths again at Blue Dragon School, so making up right now is the smartest play. Sophia's dad instantly drops an apology on behalf of his crazy daughter. Mikhail acts responsible, claiming his daughter was just super immature for letting her emotions completely take over. Your basic main character might accept that, but this guy absolutely goated, so he straight up tells him to shove the apology, making Mikhail stand up in pure shock. Jite points out that Sophia's dad was not even involved in the fight, so his apology means absolutely zero. But Mikhail heavily pushes them to negotiate, begging them to let this whole situation slide while casually flexing his status in an elite military force. Calmly firing back, Jite makes it crystal clear they are not on the same level here. Now he wonders if this is how these battle-hardened meatheads actually apologize. Mikhail screams at him for suggesting he should drag Sophia in to apologize. An average dude might feel bad, but this man straight up says yes, not giving a single flying crap about her massive injuries. Wei Yan realizes things are spiraling out of control again, but Jite drops a bomb. He is actually here for something else entirely. He really wants to know why Mikhail refused to step in when he literally watched his daughter charge at Yoram with a knife. The Russian shoots back that it happened too fast, but Jite calls out that total garbage excuse. He asks if Sophia's dad is just embarrassed by his own huge failure, especially since he easily could have stopped the whole thing. Mikhail chucks diplomacy right out the window. He grabs Jite's collar, threatening him not to make an enemy of Russia. This massive dude actually has the nerve to call Jite a nameless nobody, completely clueless about the literal blade hovering right near his neck. The musclehead realizes he got played. Completely outplayed. He literally can't comprehend how Jite's speed blitzed him to snatch that knife. Jite casually points out his insanely loose knife sheath. That's exactly how a literal child grabbed it without him even noticing. But words aside, Malof is just baffled. How did this dude actually steal his blade? Then comes a simple reminder, a dead serious threat. The Grim Reaper teleports right behind him, warning Malof to avoid empty alleyways. Oh, and he completely smashes the blade into the table in that exact second. Absolute nightmare fuel for this guy. Jite drops the mic on that note. He leaves casually impressing the head professor Wei-Wan in one meeting. On his way out, he catches the redhead frowning. He asks about her health. She tells him she's doing just fine. Red dragons are practically unkillable, so her insane durability totally saved the day. Jite is stoked to hear it, but she's clearly overthinking her recent actions. She actually wants to know if she made the wrong move carrying all this heavy guilt on her shoulders. It feels terrible. It even pushes her to try being the bigger person next time around. But Shocker Jite emphasizes she did an absolutely goated job. In fact, he straight up advises her to kill without witnesses next time. Bro is unhinged and even bigger psychopath than his own dragon daughters. He leaves on that wild note, totally earning her admiration. Now she just hopes he won't scold her if she actually catches a body later on. Walking down the hall, Jite tells his problem daughter to pack her stuff the second they get home. She's curious where they're headed, but he just explains she's moving into the dorm rooms from now on. She gets it, knowing the little chicklet will be totally hyped about this setup. Right as they head out, the head professor calls them over. He wants a private chat with Jite, but our guy is short on time and entirely out of social battery. The head professor gets it, but pushes to discuss a matter concerning Yoram's future. Honestly, even Yoram wants to touch grass and avoid this guy. But Wei-Wan patiently clarifies he has a massive opportunity. Here's the tea. Wei-Wan officially wants her as the freshman representative for the Blue Dragon School. He paints this sick picture of her as the Academy's face. We're talking a full scholarship, crazy perks, and media interviews. Jite questions this random offer. That's way too many high-tier benefits for one person to just hand out. The head professor assures it's totally doable since he's tight with the vice principal Ma Namjin. He urges Jite to think about it, claiming an opportunity this goated won't pop up anywhere else. Now, as for those claims about being buddies with Namjin, it makes perfect sickening sense. Here's the real ugly truth. Both this professor and that bastard Namjoon are demonic humans hiding in plain sight. Time for a quick lore drop. These guys are the exact opposites of superhumans carrying blessings. They pull their strength straight from the void. It makes them indulge in blind rage and mindless killing intent against regular people. They feed off other sins like lust too. Honestly, demonic humans are the sole reason this world went through a massive tragedy. And Jite was caught right in that mess. During his first 2 regression cycles, he lost something incredibly precious to them. That's exactly why Jite harbors insane levels of hatred for this scumbag. He would gladly spill his blood right here. It takes absolute god-tier self-control just to stand in the same room as him. Because deep down, he wants to totally crush Wei-Wan's resolve before ending him. Anyway, back to reality, Jite asks Yoram for her take on the offer. The professor plays along, letting the kid make the final call. He promises Yoram some insane benefits, guaranteeing a fresh image for the school. He wants her as the main event at the year-end showcase. Wei-Wan is sweating out here trying to make her bend the knee, but the redhead straight up declines. Bro is genuinely baffled. This is literally like rejecting a free ride to Harvard. Yoram confirms she doesn't care at all. She just wants to go pack her bags. Completely stunned, Wei-Wan asks why she even showed up for the interview. The redhead casually explains she was chilling in bed, got super bored, and just felt like fighting someone. That's it. That's her entire reason. The ultimate troll answer, even the demonic human is out here reevaluating his whole existence. Suddenly, his eyes dart to the window. He urges Yoram to look down outside. A massive crowd of reporters is lined up waiting to hear Wei-Wan's official statement. Basically, he gets to decide her fate. His narrative becomes the official truth, and her entire academy life will be governed by his words. It's a legit threat. But this girl is absolutely not falling for that cheap rage bait. She literally just says, okay, bye, and walks out with her papa. Getting humiliated like this deeply triggers the head professor. He seriously hopes they don't regret this. Outside, Yoram steps out and immediately gets swarmed by an absolute horde of reporters. They are literally begging for her take on the fight and how she feels about her opponent. With cameras constantly flashing, she gets totally overwhelmed. Meanwhile, GD is in the back just casually mogging everyone with that insane face card. One reporter shouts that Yoram's crazy interview is completely blowing up online. Everyone is wondering if she went totally ballistic on purpose just for clout. They keep begging for answers, drowning her in a literal flood of questions. Acting as the ultimate guardian, Jite sees she is about to crack and tells the mob to leave an injured kid alone. But Yoram is completely hyped to set the tone and give them exactly what they want. She snatches the mic, pulls it close, makes an epic troll face, and drops a massive F-bomb right on the big screen. Jumping over to the Lair Academy dorms, our little chicklet Gale is practically overflowing with pure hype. They basically scored a whole mansion to live in. Being the hyper-youngest kid, Gail absolutely zooms off to claim her own room. She throws a door open and instantly falls in love. This single room looks exactly like some crazy expensive luxury Airbnb apartment. She starts dancing around like crazy, totally vibing with the setup and officially claiming it as her territory. But her big sister slides in fast straight up, declaring she is taking this room instead. The little chicklet gets super salty because she found it first, plus this is not even the biggest room. Gale eventually takes the L and hands the space over to her sister, looking incredibly bummed out. Meanwhile, Bomb, the eldest dragon, is super busy babying the blue egg that hasn't even hatched yet. She calls it her baby while Jide just asks why she keeps spraying water all over it. Bomb explains that blue dragons literally love water and right before hatching the polymorph turns into a real egg. Besides that, Bomb points out that the entire academy cannot stop talking about Yoram's viral clip. Her wild interview is trending on YouTube and the comments are going crazy. Jide plays the exact clip where she curses. This makes Bomb instantly cover the egg's ears. Meanwhile, Yoram genuinely does not understand the hype. She thinks it is just a natural thing. Gayu, on the other hand, is completely clueless. Her big sister smirks, asking if she seriously wants to know. Yoram sees a golden chance to explain the birds and the bees. Right then, Gale finally realizes what is about to go down. Completely flustered, Gayul rejects the lesson, saying she does not need to know, but this absolute troll just keeps messing with her head. She starts happily dumping all the graphic details, literally pinning Gale's arms down so the poor kid cannot even cover her own ears. The poor girl cries and begs Jite for help, but he just stands there completely blanking out. Next morning, Yoram is passed out, having the best sleep ever. Suddenly, Gale sprints upstairs, slamming the door open to announce a massive emergency. The redhead is struggling to even move because she literally pulled an all-nighter. When Gale asks why, the ultimate troll casually admits she was busy watching Korn on her phone. Absolute cinema right there. They rush downstairs for an urgent situation. You guys are gonna love this. Yoram thinks they are capping, but then spots everyone gathered. Bomb shows Yoram that Kiwul is finally hatching. The egg shakes, cracks, form, and it is a totally huge moment for their little family. It has been forever since GD witnessed new life being born. His last experience with this was definitely not this chill or wholesome. Back in his ruined world, a desperate woman had begged him to save her baby. Jite's subordinate knew it was a lost cause because the newborn sadly died the exact second it was born. Society was completely wrecked, 0 hospitals left. There was literally no facility anywhere that could have stepped up to save it in time. That horrible memory still haunts Jide as a totally traumatic experience. He honestly thought he would never have to face those feelings again, but right now, Yoram is the first to spot a tiny blue arm break through. The little dragon pops out looking like the absolute cutest squishy marshmallow on the planet. Bomb warmly welcomes Kiel to the world and quickly starts cleaning her up. Jite sees how crazy natural she is at handling the newborn, asking where she learned that. Turns out their mother did the exact same thing. She offers him a turn holding the baby, but our guy straight up declines. Gale, though, is literally dying to hold her, so Bomb gently hands the baby over, telling her she better be super careful with the little one. Golden and Blue happily hug each other, soaking in the wholesome vibes. Taking this chance to finally get payback on Yoram, Gale claims the red dragon secretly wants a turn too. She eats the baby straight at her, forcing Yoram to totally lock in and catch it. Safe in Yoram's arms, the baby just melts right to sleep, looking ridiculously adorable. Even the troll admits the baby is insanely cute. She tells their guardian to give it a shot or the little one will get sad. Then the redhead tomboy straight up rage baits him, calling him a fake nonchalant wannabe. So to force his hand, she drops the most unhinged plan ever, throwing the damn baby. Even Gale starts panicking that this psycho might actually chuck a newborn. Right here, Yoram exposes her real mission. A goal she locked in the second she stepped into their new house. Her grand plan is doing whatever it takes to make this guy totally break his composure and panic. Thanks to that wild idea, she actually tries tossing Giul. But before she even blinks, bro literally teleports behind her and snatches the baby back. He pulls all that off without a single drop of sweat. The dude is nonchalant pro max. Bomb sees a perfect opening for Jite to pet the baby dragon since he is already holding her anyway. Following her lead, he awkwardly places his fingers right on the baby's head, asking aloud if he is doing this right. Just 2 light fingers, gently tapping her head. It is such a rare sight that Gale instantly snaps a picture on her smartwatch, knowing she will never get another chance. Speaking of photos, Bomb suggests they all take one together with a flower. She grabs a specific bloom for the shot, leaving both her little sisters completely confused. That damn flower gets hilariously tucked right behind Jite's ear, perfectly matching Gil's blue one. They honestly look so cute together. The other three dragons are highly entertained by this whole setup. Jite gets slightly annoyed and tells everyone to just hurry up with the picture. Meanwhile, Yorm tries playing the edgy brat who finds taking selfies way too cringy. Eventually, she caves and Gayul takes charge of counting down the selfie timer. The picture actually turns out sick, showing Jite being his usual self while the sisters totally show off their own unique vibes. After the photo session, little Gayul gets properly fed for the next stage. Gayul quickly asks Bomb what she is planning to do. Her big goal, helping Gayul learn to polymorph using a direct magic transfer. Think of magic transfer like sharing files. It moves mana between two people, making it a way easier method to teach someone a spell. Normally, the student learning the spell pays 0 price, but it literally drains the lifespan of whoever is actually transferring the technique over. That is exactly why Jite is super cautious about her risking her own lifespan for this. But sadly, Gayul cannot stay a baby dragon forever. Back home, Yoram, Gale, and Bomb all learn how to polymorph together, a complete opposite for the blue dragon who hasn't learned anything. Dragons grow insanely fast, so she wants the little one to experience some real human joy before she gets way too big. Rolling with her plans, Jite says he's completely willing to help out. She is actually shocked he knows so much about magic. Beyond just the magic transfer, she drops a very personal request. Bomb wants him to stay right by her side when she starts the process. He agrees to it, but she is such a tease and tells him to slide a little closer. Jite figures sitting literal inches away is totally unnecessary. She insists it is absolutely required just in case she slips and drops the baby. Seriously though, she is deadass telling this to the guy who has been speed blitzing the absolute crap out of every single opponent so far. Bomb's adorable mountain of excuses eventually wears down Jite's armor and he just gives in. Bro is actually sitting right next to her now, shoulders touching. She casually mentions how rock hard his muscles feel, then instantly dodges the topic when he calls her out. Watch this dynamic. This girl is 100% simping. Lost in her feelings, she initiates the magic transfer with Gayul, fully connecting them. Days pass. The intense process finally reaches completion, leaving Bomb completely drained of energy. She thanks him for helping and plans to go crash hard, leaving Jite stuck on baby feeding duty and taking care of the little one. Her exhaustion straight up wins as she slips and falls backward. But do not worry, Prince Charming is right there to catch her in his arms. He offers to carry her straight to her room, which just makes Bomb get even more flustered. She mutters that being carried like this is super embarrassing. Jite just fires back that she is still making jokes even now. He simply reminds her that she is extremely light. She instantly uses that to tease him for being so sweet to her. And here is where it gets wild. After putting her to bed, Jite shuts the door. Suddenly, he senses something from Gayul and realizes the change started. Rushing back inside, the baby dragon is completely gone, replaced by a tiny blue-haired little girl. This Jite drops a simple hello, officially kicking off their very first conversation. Cut to the police station where his clone is putting in the hours. And honestly, this part is sick. The clone is out here soloing superhuman perps, totally carrying the department's reputation. The captain is so hyped he offers to treat both of them to a massive dinner to celebrate. Jite reminds this dude he is literally paying with the company card. The captain just completely loses it laughing. Same old story. Our goated king completely brushes off the invite. He's got his own agenda. His coworkers are just clueless, wondering why this guy dips from work so early every single day. They actually suspect he's hiding his secret girlfriend, but Jite totally shuts that rumor down. Bounces while his friends are still hollering his name. Cut to the next scene, Jite is chilling with this mysterious black-haired girl. Wait for it, that girl is actually his clone, perfectly mimicking someone else. So how did our guy even score this insane shadow ability? Back in the day, this broken skill belonged to the Grand Duke of the Demon Realm. That boss abused it to expand his heavy influence everywhere. But the second Jite absolutely wrecked the Grand Duke, he snagged the skill for himself. Now the clone copies anyone just from a quick glance. Since it had to meet up with Jite in public, showing up with a stealthy disguise was mandatory. Seriously, though, even the clone is totally thrown off seeing a literal baby strapped to Jite. Our boy literally just gave little Gayul a fresh haircut. Random people passing by are totally mistaking Jite and the clone for a couple with a super cute kid. Jite insists the clone hold the little one, but baby Gayul looks absolutely disgusted by the idea, leaving the poor clone completely confused by the massive rejection. Jite doesn't mind carrying her. He even proves that this tiny little dragon can waddle around totally on her own. The Shadow is super curious why Jite brought a kid outside to touch grass. Shouldn't she be back home with the other three dragons? Here is the issue. Bomb overexerted herself way too hard and is completely knocked out on bed rest. Those other two are way too chaotic to babysit anyone. Switching gears, Jite finally asks why his clone actually showed up today. The clone tries playing dumb, but Jite calls it out immediately. He reads every single faint emotion inside his shadow. He knows something is seriously bugging it right now. The shadow finally questions its real purpose on this mission. Under all those past owners, it never got to experience a chill, normal life. Those guys only used the shadow for hardcore black ops, crazy assassinations, or deploying it to super far places just to flex their heavy authority. But now that GTA is actually trying to live normally, his poor shadow has zero clue how to properly blend in. It actually apologizes for getting all emotional, but our boy completely gets where it is coming from. This shadow has its own literal consciousness. GTA does have a massive hype mission lined up for the future, but until then, he just wants the clone to keep chilling. Plus, he actively encourages it to go grab drinks with his coworkers like they suggested earlier, because eventually a day will come when the shadow never sees those people again. Taking the advice, the clone heads straight back to the office. GTA suddenly spots a random mom buying a brand new teddy bear for her little girl. That fluffy panda totally grabs little Gyul's attention. She clearly wants one so badly, and GTA picks up on that vibe instantly. He asks if she wants a toy, straight up pulling a teddy bear right out of his subspace inventory. It definitely does not look like that panda, but he hands it over anyway. Gyul falls head over heels immediately, totally obsessing over her new gift. He checks if she actually likes it. Instead of answering, she drops the bear and waddles right up to him. GTA scoops her up, figuring she might be demanding another toy. But no, she grabs his face and straight up presses her forehead against his. This right here, easily the most wholesome moment of the entire series. Our guy is completely dumbstruck trying to figure out what her actual game plan is. The move looks exactly like Bomb's magic transference trick. GTA quickly realizes this is just how dragons actually show physical affection. Suddenly, all the intense trauma from his 6 previous tragic lifetimes comes rushing back. He battled insane demons and massive dragon hordes, losing absolutely everything along the way. He spun the regression axis for one final run just to gamble it all. But right now, it feels like Gyul temporarily taps straight into his brain. And dropping a massive shocker, GTA actually pulls off a genuine smile. Hand in hand, the two of them stroll through the park. GTA glances up at the sky quietly, muttering that someone is already approaching. Enter little chicklet Gale. She tracks them down in the park, greeting him while rocking her human form. They tap heads for that telepathic airdrop connection, and Gale instantly feels exactly how ridiculously happy the little baby is about GTA's gift. Turns out, dragons are insane mind readers, syncing their thoughts the second they make physical skin contact. Craving that touch is their way of showing real love, exactly why the little marshmallow pressed her head against GTA. He never knew that specific detail before. Suddenly, he spots something on her back. Gale realizes he means the case, whipping out a sick new acoustic guitar. Playing music is her personal way of expressing big feelings without needing that skin-to-skin contact. She straight up gives off fancy musician vibes, matching her perfectly. The gold dragon is hyped to play, but that exact guitar hits GTA with some wildly tragic memories. He remembers finding her totally shattered before heart completely broken, basically self-sabotaging her entire life. She was down bad back then. So, he is honestly terrified of a repeat. This time around, GTA reminds her to chill and not get too hyper-obsessive. The gold dragon gets pretty annoyed. Still, our guy knows it is best for her to keep those wild feelings in check. GTA then asks about Bomb to check her status. He finds out she is basically still completely knocked out from a crazy fever, which honestly makes sense. That magic transfer procedure she tanked was absolutely no joke. He asks about Yoram next. Turns out this absolute maniac is just being a couch potato binge-watching Korean dramas all by herself. Kinda sick that she actually found a hobby that doesn't involve mindless brawling. GTA sees this as an absolute win for character development. They finally pull up to the house. Boom. He instantly senses this super sinister vibe. The gold dragon tries checking on Bomb, but he snatches her back. He completely shuts her down bluntly, ordering Kyle to lock her little sister up safe. He tells her to stay put until further notice. He drops zero context, just switching to this insanely terrifying deadpan tone. The gold dragon nods and grabs the blue one. Now completely alone, our boy pushes Bomb's bedroom door wide open. Inside, he finds 4 unknown entities just hovering around her bed. These guys are insanely salty seeing Bomb in such a wrecked state. They immediately jump down GTA's throat, barking at him and assuming he did this. Time for a quick lore drop on these creatures. So dragons actually have their own personal servants using magic to mind control high-tier monsters and regular humans. They basically brainwash these servants into crazy loyal knights, setting them up as the ultimate base defenders. And even among that squad, there are these super elite VIP bodyguards dedicated solely to protecting the hatchlings. Taking one look at the setup, GTA realizes they straight up used sleep magic on her. The lead guardian roars, demanding some answers. GTA literally could not care less. He tells them to drop their names first, just casually treating these elites like an absolute joke. The Guardian decides to show this lowly human real terror. In his mind, only the top dogs get to ask the questions here. He fires off a wild move called Dark Clarity, trying to cage GTA instantly. One glance tells our guy they already popped a high-tier barrier. The Guardian drops one final threat. He aggressively demands to know exactly what this random human did to the green dragon. Jite stays cool as ice. He explains the blue dragon finally hatched so Bomb totally drained her own MP doing the magic transfer. The Guardian slightly backs down. He now demands this human's actual identity. Jite sarcastically labels himself a Guardian, a total troll move right to their faces. They question if he can even protect anyone and he just nods. But Jite just has one question. How do they pull up so fast? Because based on his intel, these guys should be hard-locked inside another dimension entirely. Sensing this guy is way too goated for a normal human, they immediately draw their weapons. They hype themselves up, dropping their titles as the guardians and literal keepers of causality's history. They fully realize he is actually the one babysitting the kids right now. But from their point of view, Jite is just a massive red flag who needs getting purged immediately. He generously offers to talk things out, but these bozos are already rushing him from every single angle. The main guardian swings hard. Jite just effortlessly glides right out of range. The guardian is legit shook. He simply cannot comprehend a squishy human blocking his Sword of Stallion attack that easily. Then Jite claps back. The elite guardian gets completely one-shotted, an absolute humiliation for a guy that hyped himself up. Another guardian swears he will finish this fight, but the floored one desperately tries, warning him. This human is utterly broken, and no matter what fancy tricks they try, it is a guaranteed game over. Seconds later, Jite totally wipes the floor with every single elite guardian. The lead guardian coughs up blood, finally realizing his radar was actually spot on about this dude. This guy was babysitting literal dragons for a reason. He really should have listened to that gut feeling when the doubts first popped up. It instantly hits him, this man is a straight-up transcendent being. Somebody you absolutely do not mess with. Jite casually stands over him, dropping a cold reminder, I said we should have just talked. Then he interrogates them on how they survived that dimensional collapse. The Guardian spills the tea, claiming a weird dimensional twist happened and their lord forced open a gateway connecting the nest directly to this world, totally missing their radar. The whole dimension warped, basically yeeting them completely out of their established boundaries. He admits he is pretty clueless on the lore, but mentions his lord constantly yapped about this thing called the Horizon of Providence. All he actually knows is that this horizon's crazy power caused the dimensional twist, forcing all the other nearby dimensions to basically warp right around it. Now this sounds super sus to our guy. Across all his previous regressions, nobody ever dropped this lore, and he has never even heard of these concepts. But honestly, thinking about it now, this current run hits way differently than previous ones. Yeah, this is actually the first time the Green Dragon Guardians have popped up looking for him. He asks what the Horizon of Providence has to do with them finding this place. Did that crazy concept actually help them out? They tell him the will beyond that concept literally steered them right over here, and by following that exact path with his squad, he stumbled onto the hatchlings' hideout. Our guy locks eyes with the Guardian and activates his scales of balance skill. It basically acts as a flawless lie detector. Turns out the dude is being completely straight with him. He breathes a sigh of relief. He already wiped out every world-ending threat and double-checked the dimensions a million times. So having random unknown entities popping up out of nowhere had him stressing super hard. The Guardian brings up that will beyond the horizon again. Apparently, it sounded super salty, probably because he rocks a core made from green dragon energy. Suddenly, our boy rips open his shirt and stares down at the vintage clock. This thing tracks the twisted flow of time and acts as an absolute authority. He grabs it, realizing this thing has literally never moved a muscle unless he was regressing. But now, it is actively interfering. Honestly, he cannot do much about it right now, except just wait it out. The Guardian asks what his next move should be. Jite shoots him down, saying he is already babysitting all the dragons himself, so there are 0 open positions. Instead, he gives them a free pass to bounce, assuming they keep things chill. As the squad heads out, one Guardian straight up refuses to leave, earning himself a massive slap to the face. No matter how much Jite tries pushing him away, the guy will not budge. His buddies call him totally brain-dead for rejecting a free pass when it is literally handed to him. Our hero looks the guy up and down, realizing he actually has that true Guardian mindset. So he casually raises his sword and completely wipes out all the other Guardians, sparing only the stubborn one. The survivor asks if this was all some twisted test. Jite just shrugs. Nah, he just thought the guy was built different. Why go so hard for the Green Dragons? The guy fires back that his loyalty to them is still absolutely rock solid. When Jite tries explaining that he has the Green Dragons covered, this dude completely plugs his ears and ignores him. Since the guy is way too weak to be a real Guardian, Jite tosses him a role he can actually handle right now. Now watch this weird little pivot. Jite introduces the girls to his brand new janitor who is actually loving his new dishwashing gig. At first, the gig had him super confused. Mopping floors has literally 0 overlap with guarding legendary dragons, so the logic totally went over his head. But he was flat out told that Jite solos the protection detail easily and basically did him a massive solid by hooking him up with this cleaning gig. With one catch, if he slacks on the job, Jite will permanently delete him. Now the janitor is just standing there questioning how his life peaked at dishwashing. Mid-scrub, U-Bomb pops into the kitchen and asks if he is that famous guardian straight out of Ask Khalifa. He is totally stunned seeing her up and about. She looked awful before, but she quickly promises him she's feeling 100% now. She drops a compliment saying that Apron is a total look for him. Hearing she is excited to work together makes the poor guy blush hard. Those sweet words gave him a massive motivation buff to take care of her. He will scrub toilets or sweep floors all day just so she can chill and touch grass instead of doing chores. Then crash. He accidentally shatters a stupidly expensive plate right in his hands. Meanwhile, Gyul is getting totally glammed up with a little help from Kyle and U-Bomb. They are absolutely hyping up her cute outfit. The little girl is clearly feeling her look, flexing a massive smile the whole time. U-Bomb turns to their new janitor, asking which fit is the best. Pushing his mop around, he admits they are all goated because they suit Gyul perfectly. Jite just chills on the sofa, quietly observing the whole chaotic squad. He zeroes in on Kale and spots her bruised-up fingers. He instantly clocks that she has been grinding the guitar again, which definitely makes her panic. She awkwardly tries hiding her hands behind her back, stammering out an excuse that she only practices during her downtime. U-Bomb steps in to diffuse the tension, telling him not to roast the poor girl. Jite quickly defends himself. He was not trying to be harsh at all. He dodges the awkwardness by swapping topics. He hasn't seen Yuram in forever and guesses she is probably still in her cave binge-watching K-dramas. The janitor chimes in saying he tried cleaning her room earlier, but got totally banned from entering. He admits he is actually pretty worried. She looked like an absolute zombie who hadn't slept in days. Hearing that, Jite decides it is time to go check on the shut-in. He pops his head in and Yuram sarcastically asks if he just came up here to do a pulse check. He side-eyes the TV, blaring some random show. She asks if he has ever seen it, but he hits her with a hard no. She conveniently leaves out the fact that this garbage has 7 whole seasons. The plot is complete trash, and the historical accuracy is an absolute joke. He tells her to touch grass and turn it off. She needs to come downstairs right now for a serious talk. Soon as she steps out, Jite announces a massive deep clean for the house today. The 3 girls are totally caught off guard by this super random decision. He tells them straight up Earth rules apply even if they aren't human. He heavily side-eyes Yoram and Gale since those two are absolute slobs. Hearing that, Gale completely flips out on him. She demands to know why he barged and yelling that dragons never enter another dragon's lair uninvited. Her mom taught her that. Jite claps back, saying her mom should have taught her to clean her room too. She gets incredibly salty over that burn. He waves off the living room and kitchen. For now, they just need to touch grass and actually clean their own personal bedrooms. Yoram is fuming. They literally have a janitor for this, so why on earth should they scrub anything? Mid-rant, she casually digs out a booger. Gale gags in pure disgust, so Yoram just wipes it on her and bails, telling Gale to clean if she hates dirt so much. Right before she dips out, she orders the janitor to detail her room while she hits the gym. When she gets back, she expects an absolute spotless inspection. U-Bomb just hops up to grab dinner groceries, totally unbothered since she cleaned her room yesterday. Gayul starts stressing over whatever cursed meal U-Bomb might cook. She asks Jite for a specific request, but he just tells U-Bomb to have a safe grocery run. Meanwhile, the janitor steps into Yoram's room and it is a straight-up disaster zone. The guy does not even have a nose yet. He catches this foul stench. It smells like the actual demon world, only way worse. He finds a fat stash of cigarettes. That definitely explains why she looked so rough earlier. Maybe she is seriously trying to grind her poison resistance using nicotine. As he starts bagging up the trash, Maxim randomly drops in, lecturing him that cans and plastic absolutely must be separated for disposal. Maxim mocks him for missing basic cleaning skills. He honestly asks if the whole recycling concept just doesn't exist in Ask Khalifa. That comment makes the janitor pause. He senses crazy heavy demon world energy off the guy, wondering if he is a clone. Maxim barks at him to hurry up. Out of nowhere, Jite pulls up, asking what is happening. Maxim turns and explains the janitor was totally failing his job, so he had to step in. The dude in the coat is Maxim from the demon world. He absolutely loves flexing on weaklings and putting them in their place. Jite just forces both of them to clean. This mess is way too insane for one janitor. Elsewhere, the girls are finally scrubbing their own rooms. Once finished, Maxim gets a map of Moscow. He is ordered there because a demonic human crew named Invisibility is cooking up some broken transcendent-type demonic human. Jite gives him 1 week to finish his current grind before shipping out to Russia. Once deployed, his mission is tracking down a commander-class demonic beast named Prototype X. Maxim completely agrees to the plan. Right then, U-Bomb hauls in a massive grocery haul. She has to feed a whole squad, so she bought a ton of ingredients. Seeing U-Bomb return, Maxim finally moves to head out. But Jite blocks him, demanding they swap clothes right now. Cut to a bit later, dinner is served and the girls are absolutely feasting. Gale feels bad the janitor cannot eat with them. Yoram bluntly points out the dude literally lacks a mouth to chew with. Meanwhile, Jite stares down his plate in pure dread. Cut over to Maxim standing among a whole crew of completely wrecked lifeless dudes. One guy pinned against the wall is totally raging, screaming slurs and calling him a lowly human. He screams Maxim would be begging on his knees if he knew who backed him. In response, Maxim straight up chops his arms off. He knows the guy perfectly, dropping a mention about a Blue Dragon School professor. The target is Wei Wan, a known demonic human tied to invisibility. Maxim presses him on whether they are plotting something big, demanding the whole evil blueprint. He warns the guy that capping is totally useless. He better start spitting facts, triggering his special eye skill called the Scales of Balance. The guy breaks instantly. He admits he lacks the deep lore, but if he pulls this off in 3 months, he might get chosen too. Maxim is super confused by that. He wonders if this guy means the Seats. The Seats are the 4 absolutely goated demonic humans leading the Invisibility Syndicate. Normally, demonic humans roll solo or scattered, but snagging a seat grants you an entire personal legion. They secure power matching the disaster level, the absolute highest, most busted rank for any demonic human. Now this is where things get weird. Maxim knows Wei Wan never wanted a seat in previous timelines, and he literally shouldn't have the strength to plot anything right now. He suddenly spots a massive clock tracking malice sent from way beyond the horizon of Providence. It actively scans for anyone breaking the world timeline, and the main target on its radar is the demonic human Wei Wan. Why? Because some salty outsider from beyond the timeline has started directly interfering with this regression. Wei Yan is basically built different now, holding all the goated perks from his past runs and totally breaking out of that annoying regression loop. He knows this setup can mess with his entire remote network, originally meant for the Guardians but now completely under his control. The dude missing his arms starts sweating, begging to be spared and promising top-tier intel because his sick mom is supposedly waiting at home. He swears up and down he will not backstab him. But before he even finishes capping, Maxim straight up takes his head off. Maxim taps his eyes, proving those fake sob stories never work on him. Honestly, that guy was catching an L even if he was being completely truthful. One snap of his fingers and the whole place gets absolutely nuked. Anyway, back to our main guy. He takes a walk outside thinking about Wei Yan. Listen closely, if that scheme let him rise so high it has to be insane, probably tying right back to Lair. He instantly flashes back to what Wei Yan told Yoriam regarding that massive end-of-year event. It totally has to be connected to his big master plan. Just then he spots a random lady stopping near Giul, absolutely hyping up the kid and saying she is the most adorable baby ever. These 2 women are just totally fangirling over the little girl. Our boy immediately steps up, checking them hard and asking if they know the kid, which completely spooks both of the ladies. He takes a seat next to Yu-Bomb. She wonders why he was basically ghosting her all day and asks where he went. He claims he had some sketchy business to handle, then asks why she is hanging with the baby. She admits she felt bad about missing quality time while she was feeling sick. Plus, with school starting up, she figured her schedule is about to be completely packed moving forward. After a super awkward pause, U-Bomb points out that chilling in the park makes them look like a legit family, totally throwing him off guard. She keeps going, saying the kid looks like his daughter while she plays the mom role, basically shipping them as a couple, leaving them both completely speechless. She just starts laughing, telling him to touch grass because she was only joking and he should not take it seriously. He totally brushes it off, warning her that if she keeps acting so weird, they're just packing up and going home. They grab the baby and bounce. Meanwhile, the new semester drops and the girls are super hyped to take classes together. U-Bomb locks in for superhuman studies, literature, magic, and sociology. Then she looks over, wondering why Kale has a piece of toast in her mouth like an anime protagonist, especially since she already ate breakfast. Kale shares this goofy advice from her mom, saying that if she bumps into someone while holding toast in her mouth, that person is destined to be her soulmate, setting up the ultimate romantic meet cute. And right on cue, she violently bumps into Yoriam. Yoriam instantly starts trolling Kyle, claiming she is the destined partner, now making the poor girl cry because she is definitely not about that life. Yoriam keeps rizzing her up, joking about all the wild stuff girls do in those American dramas, all while casually stealing her toast. Then Yoriam wonders where Jite is hanging out, since he promised he would show up for their class observation. U-Bomb shuts that down, explaining he just went to the academic affairs office to sort out some boring paperwork. Yoriam immediately fires back that he is never home anyway, betting he is probably secretly seeing some girl, which completely drains the soul out of U-Bomb. Suddenly, they spot a whole squad of nosy reporters, probably there to catch some trending freshmen on camera. The second those reporters see the girls pull up, they instantly lock onto them. They recognize them as the crew who totally wrecked Sophia, specifically targeting our redhead baddie. Camera flashes go off like crazy, swarming her until she gets seriously overstimulated. The very next second, she screams at them to just shut up. She decides to just roast them one by one, since her last interview clearly was not enough to get them to back off. Back at the crib, Jitae tells the janitor to babysit the kids since everyone else is at school and he is heading out too. Once he leaves, the janitor starts sweating, realizing babysitting is way harder than scrubbing floors, especially since he has literally never watched a kid before in his life. He awkwardly turns to Gyul, telling her to chill out somewhere comfortable since the girls and the boss will not be back until tonight. She just ignores him and goes back to playing, making things super awkward. He figures he should just get back to cleaning. But then he spots a random picture book and asks the kid if she wants to read. They both plop down on the carpet to check it out together. He breathes a massive sigh of relief that she actually likes books and starts reading. The title of this thing is My Dad is a Fairy. The story kicks off in a deep forest, leading him to overthink it, wondering if it is the primordial forest from way back before the Demon Age. Snapping back to the plot, it talks about where Dolson and her dad lived. He starts assuming the mom must have died, but honestly, he figures the kid is pretty lucky. Keeping even one parent alive in that brutal era is a miracle. Right before the kid falls asleep, her dad always tells her these hardcore stories from the old days. The janitor assumes these are probably war stories about the Great War, low-key convinced the main character is just an absolute battle junkie. Meanwhile, the baby looks totally lost. Anyway, back to the story, Dolson woke up. She realized her dad was missing, figuring he probably dipped to find her a new mom. Taking captives as wives was super common back then. I figure Dolson has to be hyped about it. She is getting a brand new mom after all, but I checked the baby's face. She looks completely devastated. I guess my storytelling vibe is totally off. She literally points to the corner telling me to go sit in timeout. She decides to solo binge read her picture book instead. Back at school, Yu-Bom is stressing over me having a girlfriend. Then Gong Jui hops out of a totally tricked out ride. She is the heir to the goated Gong clan, a top 3 swordsmanship family. But she cares way more about her aesthetic than actual sword skills. Sweating ruins her makeup, so training is an absolute pass. She spots the mob of reporters and seriously thinks they are camping out just for her. She orders Secretary Kim to shoo them away, acting like she's way too cool for the paparazzi. Kim respectfully drops a reality check. He tells her they definitely are not here for her. Instantly, she tries to figure out who the actual VIP is, then it clicks. They are totally hyped for Yoram. Even Jui has to admit she looks absolutely stunning. Meanwhile, Yoram is literally using some dude as a chair. The guy actually volunteered for this crazy setup, by the way. And he looks low-key, thrilled to be acting as her human furniture. A reporter tentatively asks if they should kick off the interview and she gives them the green light. But if they fail her vibe check, she is dropping the whole thing. Her one golden rule, single question per person. She points at a dude in a cap to go first. He starts giving his whole channel intro, but she finds it way too boring and instantly skips him. Then another guy asks how she feels about going totally viral in the superhuman community with basically everybody trying to track her down. She bluntly replies that it sucks. Then some other reporter mentions her brand new online fan club, asking if she wants to drop a quick message for all her stans. That just reminds her of the simp chair beneath her, so she completely ignores it. Next up is Gang Ho from Gas and Daily. He asks why she was screaming wild stuff at the Blue Dragon interview. She flexes that everyone already knows exactly what it meant. She tries to skip him, but this guy seriously needs to touch grass. He keeps pushing to find some hidden edgy meaning. She snaps, telling him to stop obsessing over her words. The reporter just claps back that is literally his entire job. He calls her an amateur. The dude actually triggers her, so I have to step in and drag her inside. Gang Ho realizes if he pushes her buttons even harder, he is going to score a massive viral scoop. So he threatens to write clickbait, claiming Yoram basically demanded a relationship right in front of the press. That is the ultimate red flag for her. She balls up her fist, screaming she will end his whole career before that drops. But before she knocks him into next week, I catch her fist. I calmly ask if she is already causing massive drama. She furiously rages that it was all the toxic reporter's fault. I casually scoop her up, literally dragging her into the school while she screams at me to let go. I shoot the paparazzi a deadly glare, telling them to scrap the articles entirely, and my killer aura easily scares them off. Then I tell the girls to hurry up so they aren't late for day 1. The whole chaotic mess is being watched by Jui. Her secretary wants to run a background check on Yoram, but Jui is just staring at my chest like it lives rent-free in her head. The real entertainment is about to kick off. Later on in class, our swordsmanship teacher, Professor Kai, does his big introduction. He starts yapping about today's lesson, basically just the history of sword fighting and the whole philosophical mindset of a true warrior. Yoram looks super salty about it, which actually surprises me. I completely expected her to zone out and ditch the class immediately. She flexes that she has binge-watched some ridiculously boring dramas, so surviving this snooze fest of a lecture is basically a cakewalk. Her real motivation for grinding so hard, she wants to destroy that hooded armor guy, fully intending to catch a body herself. Then she turns to me asking why I am even taking this class. I just smirk, telling her she already knows the deal. She tries to act totally innocent, swearing she has been on her best behavior without starting any crazy fights today. I remind her she was literally about to catch an assault charge against a reporter a few hours ago. Instantly, she gets defensive, claiming the guy kept testing her, and if I were in her shoes, I would have absolutely wrecked him too. While she yaps, she casually tries to lean her weight onto me, but I firmly tell her to back off. She drops this super flirty line about how guys go absolutely crazy for that kind of physical touch, low-key embarrassing me. I give zero reaction, so she gets bored. I figure the studying is just melting her brain, but she completely flips the script. She whines that a kidnapper like me should at least try to be a little entertaining. When she first saw him, she fully expected her days to be packed with pure hype, but she definitely didn't sign up for some weird family roleplay. Jitae claims a ton of wild stuff went down on the commute, which is honestly enough excitement for anyone. She completely loses it, yelling that she wanted hardcore fights and crazy battles, not some random reporter getting all up in her face. Out of nowhere, Professor Kai pulls up behind her, mentioning she seems way too hyped today. His genius fix for that energy is holding her back with her chaperone. Later at home, she is literally stuck doing chores and scrubbing swords. She gets fed up and totally slams one down. Why exactly can't the actual janitor do this dirty work? The dude loves cleaning anyway, right? But nope, Jitae is busy watching the baby. The redhead baddie then asks if he ever actually touched grass or studied as a kid. He flat out admits he never really had the time to study. She immediately writes him off as a total fail. He calls Cap on that weak excuse, but he promises he was literally caught in the middle of a war just trying to stay alive. That completely stuns her. Is he just trolling right now? It honestly makes her wonder if the guy has ever had fun in his entire life. He casually drops that no, his life is definitely not fun. She claps back that if she had his goated stats, she would never live this basic. She straight up asks if getting too overpowered totally killed the vibe for him. He just coldly says life goes on and you deal with it. She thinks that is super edgy while he just tells her to keep scrubbing. Later on, the girls are chilling in the living room with the baby. Yoriam is messing with a Rubik's Cube while Jitae sweeps up right behind her. She gets insanely triggered and just yeets the cube right at his face. Bomb instantly picks up on her awful mood. Probably thanks to those annoying reporters from earlier today, Yoriam admits it is partly that, but mostly she is just completely starved for some good dopamine. Yoriam randomly uses Bomb's actual name, which makes Bomb think she is legit losing her mind and needs a doctor. That obviously ticks Yoriam off, but she chills out and asks Bomb what her actual life goal is. Bomb glances at the baby, figuring Yoriam is just going through some weird, edgy phase. Yoriam totally hears that and starts screaming. Yoriam explains she threw the same question at Jitae earlier, and his answer was just as miserably basic as his entire vibe. In her eyes, humans only live to have fun. Without that hype, there is literally 0 point to anything. She points right at Gale, who practically ascends whenever food drops. Even the baby is just out here having the time of his life with a stuffed bear. That gets Bomb thinking maybe Jitae actually is into something sick, but he just keeps it hidden. Yoriam says Bomb and Jitae are basically twins, both totally unreadable and boring as hell. But Bomb claims she knows one secret. He is secretly super shy. Yoriam calls Cap on that since he literally looks like an emotionless psycho. Bomb used to think exactly the same thing. But then she caught his little reaction at the park the other day and she smiles just thinking about it. That weird smile totally creeps Yoriam out. She immediately tackles Bomb, accusing the two of plotting some sketchy stuff behind their backs while aggressively tickling her. Right then, Gayul bursts in with massive news. A huge forum on layers going crazy over Yoriam, and she even snagged her own fan cafe. But seeing Yoriam pinning Bomb down with her hand literally under her shirt, Gayul instantly gets flustered. She bolts out, telling them to just carry on. This makes the redhead baddie totally lose it. She definitely was not doing anything weird. The very next day, Jitae is swapping outfits. Bomb accidentally walks in without knocking and catches him completely shirtless. She gets super embarrassed, but he calmly asks, "What is up?" She nervously steps inside and asks if he could hang out with her today. Tightening his tie, he really wonders why she wants to go out so randomly. She points out he is always taking Yoriam and Gale everywhere, but he has literally never gone anywhere with her. He knows leaving those two chaotic girls alone is a disaster waiting to happen, but he sighs. Meanwhile, Gale is just stuffing her face. While she mumbles, asking why Yoriam skipped school, Bomb drops a total bomb. She tells them both she is about to ask Jitae on a date. The redhead baddie figures she just means as a boring chaperone. Back in his room, Jitae realizes he truly has never taken Bomb out anywhere, which obviously makes her think he is playing favorites. He promises that is absolutely not happening. Gale claims playing favorites is super toxic, but she gets it. Her mom used to talk to literally hundreds of human dudes at once, but she always had 2 or 3 top-tier favorites. Yoriam thinks her mom was an absolute savage for that. Bomb stays mad that he snatched her first. Yet he pays her 0 attention now. It is straight up like catching a fish, you bag it, and then completely stop caring. So she's the only one getting completely ghosted. She instantly starts sobbing into Gale's arms, calling Jitae a total jerk. Yoriam promises they will actually behave today. He should just go touch grass with Bomb since he can't babysit them 24/7 anyway. But check this out. Over at school, everyone is currently obsessing over Yoriam's older sister Bomb. They think she is gorgeous and totally aced the entrance interview. Word is she represents the Yu family, which is super low-key, making her look totally sus. Our guy overhears all this tea being spilled since he is sitting right behind them. Social etiquette theory finally wraps up, and the rest of the block is straight-up ballroom dance practice. The whole class thinks dancing is mega cringe, but the teacher drops a reality check when they become pro-superhumans. They gotta hit up fancy galas. So they better grind these moves now before they totally embarrass themselves at a real VIP event. Next up, the instructor tells everybody to grab a partner. Plot twist, Bomb gets left completely partnerless even though everyone figured the dudes would be simping over her. One guy admits her vibe is way too weird, making her unapproachable, and warns his buddy to just avoid catching any of her crazy energy. Seeing Bomb totally stranded, the teacher steps up and offers to be her dance partner, but Bomb asks if she can just use her chaperone instead. Getting the green light, she sprints right over to Jitae. He flat out says his dance skills are garbage, so she instantly starts guilt-tripping him into not leaving her hanging. Left with zero options, he stands up. The teacher starts breaking down the steps while our guy is high-key stressing about actually touching her. She tells him to chill and snatches his hand, joking that holding hands is not some deep emotional commitment. She also warns him not to troll this assignment and tank her grade, and then they finally start moving. He's visibly sweating bullets, and Bomb notices his palms are absolutely drenched. Looking up, she sees him looking incredibly flustered, which instantly makes her blush. Suddenly, she trips, but before she hits the floor, he catches her, leaving her so insanely shy that her nose literally starts bleeding. Later, he grabs her a drink, asking if they need a hospital, while she sits there rocking a tissue plug. She proudly flexes that dragons never need doctors and claims she is totally good to go. He is honestly baffled about the nosebleed since he did not even bump into her. Turning away out of pure embarrassment, she stammers that she has no clue. Then she admits his footwork is actually cracked, wondering if he took secret lessons. This triggers a quick flashback of him dancing with another girl who originally showed him the ropes. Jitae dodges eye contact and straight up lies that he has zero prior experience. Bomb bounces up from her seat, asking if he has plans after school. He says nope. With major hype in her eyes, she asks if he wants to hang out and do something fun. Meanwhile, all the way over at the Invisibility Research Lab in Moscow, massive alarms start going absolutely crazy. A demonic human is booking it. She tries to dip in radio headquarters, but no matter her speed, Maxim blitzes her instantly. She stutters out a plea for mercy. Maxim casually replies his boss needs a favor, dropping the heavy question, where's the Commander Class Type X prototype? She screams that she would rather die than snitch. Cool as ice, Maxim mentions he has smoked plenty of her kind before. And the one thing he learned is that staring death in the face brings out their true colors. When the pain hits max level, that tough guy act breaks down, they turn into literal puppets and spill every single secret you ask for. With that little speech done, he casually force chokes her, suspended right in midair. Maxim radios Jitae confirming Type X was already tested and shipped straight to the main invisibility base. Plus, this version is female, a wild switch-up from the dudes in previous regressions. Jitae asks if the head scientist he just packed up was Vera, and Maxim confirms. Following that, Jitae orders him to literally shapeshift into Vera, infiltrate their main base, and track down X's real identity. Now check this out. This prototype X is a totally busted unit that can literally hijack and merge countless demonic minds into one single brain. So the longer this thing survives, the more insane its hive mind gets, making it a walking nuke. That is exactly why Jitae always targets it first. He wipes it out every single regression, but this timeline went entirely off script, turning a simple spawn kill into a massive headache. The vintage clock system scans for bad vibes sent from outside reality, trying to lock onto whatever entity just totally glitched the world's timeline. Anyway, X getting a gender swap has to be the work of that malice the Guardian warned about. Jitae tightens his fist, fully ready to completely body anyone threatening his chill retirement. His edgy moment gets completely ruined when Bomb randomly calls him from behind a curtain. She flashes the swimsuit she is trying on, leaving him completely baffled about what she is cooking. She explains she just needs a solid bikini for the summer season. Since he has no decent angle from out there, she casually invites him right inside the dressing room to check. He lets out a heavy sigh, thinking this hangout was going to be peak, but instead it feels totally exhausting. Bomb's having a total blast. She wonders if he's getting any weird ideas, but Jitae just snaps, telling her not to kill his vibe. Walking back, she low-key wonders if he actually wanted to check her out earlier. He completely shoots that idea down. How could he not want to look? She teases him, saying she totally should have bought it, but he's just not dealing with her trolling. And she finally drops the real reason it's all about scoring presents for the kids. Jitae is utterly clueless. The situation is simple. Little Gyul's favorite teddy bear is straight up destroyed, so she wants to cop a brand new one for the baby. and grab gifts for the squad too. Jitae is curious what she's getting everyone else. Turns out Gaeul is just always super hyped about buying new clothes. That means buying her a stylish wallet, saving her from feeling broke around friends. As for Yuriam, Bomb wants to buy something totally weird she mentioned yesterday. She dips out, saying she'll handle Gaeul and Yuriam's gifts, leaving Jitae to solo pick Gaeul's present. He heads out. Bomb kinda doubts he'll survive shopping alone. Honestly, do you blame her? Our guy hits the toy store and just grabs a random bear. The cashier spots our boy. She instantly starts judging him hard. She figures he's late 20s or early 30s, and honestly a total catch. No girl in sight, and he looks absolutely clueless about baby toys. This cashier is sharp. She knows guys like him drop cash without thinking. She rolls up asking if it's a baby gift and exactly how old the kid is. He tells her the kid's about 4. Not his own daughter, but yeah, definitely a little girl. She assumes he's the uncle, which is super rare since uncles almost never fly solo for toy shopping. Then she goes straight for his pride, telling him he's kinda lacking common sense when spoiling a kid. Taking the wheel, she explains that for a 4-year-old kid, he really needs to buy a doctor playset instead of just basic dolls and teddy bears since it's the perfect way to actually bond with a child. Plus, she hits him with a crazy offer. If he cops this exact playset, all the other sets will be available at a massive discount. So he actually checks them out. Next thing you know, she's hustling him into buying a massive mountain of toys, promising he absolutely won't regret it. He whips out his card. The second she glances at it, she realizes he's top-tier VIP, holding a black card issued only to the elite. You know exactly where this is going. She just hit the absolute jackpot. But looking closer, she starts sweating. Wait, is this guy married? So she plays it cool, asking if he's got a girlfriend. Suddenly, Bomb pops up clinging to his arm. The cashier wonders if she's the girlfriend, but spots her uniform, realizing she's a student and assuming she's just Jitae's sister. Right away, Bomb starts returning all the overpriced scams this cashier tried pulling on our completely clueless king. She snaps that Gyeol hates playsets. Then she flawlessly grabs the exact teddy bear Jitae picked first, glaring right at the cashier. Back home that night, the girls and the baby are totally caught off guard. Kale checks her new wallet and screams, "I love you," completely losing her mind over Bomb and Jitae's gift. Kale asks what Yoram scored. Yoram flashes this devious smirk and straight up admits she bought an adult toy. She creeps closer to Kyle, joking about testing it out on her. Meanwhile, the baby waddles over to our guy to show some love for her own sick new toy. Then Bomb pulls out her gift for Jitae. He pops the box open. Bam, a brand new tie. She grabbed it because he literally overwears his old one. Plus, she smiles and promises to buy him a full suit once she starts securing her own bag. He looks right at her. "Treat yourself to something nice too," he says. She just smirks, says she did buy something, but he has to wait until later. Fast forward a few weeks, Jitae tells the janitor to babysit since he is dipping out for 3 days. The old guy asks if he is heading somewhere crazy far. Jitae confirms it, adding that Yoram is tagging along. Back at the academy, the anti-demonic battle simulation is a go. We are talking a grueling 3-day, 2-night survival brawl pitting students against each other inside a virtual dungeon. Students squad up in trios. Meanwhile, their chaperone hangs back and barks out all the tactical orders. They call this operating. It is a term ripped straight from pro-superhuman raid parties, back when the operator role was actually goated. So here the chaperone plays that exact part. Yoram is hyped, already roasting the absolute noobs who need to touch grass and see real combat. Guy quickly tells her to chill out, reminding her this is not a solo carry situation. They need a 3-person squad to clear this thing. She groans, complaining that she will only team up with someone on her level. 2 random students roll up asking to join forces. She aggressively tells them to get lost, but Guy steps in and asks their names. The dude introduces himself as Baek Sujiro and the girl as Kim Ji-in. They respectfully bow, promising they will try their absolute hardest not to throw the match. Yoram yells at them to kick rocks again. Guy totally ignores her tantrum. Party formed. She is fully mauling at Jay. He totally ignores her attitude, telling her to build her own squad if she is really that goated. Well, that humbles her fast. Suddenly, Sojiro gets smacked by some random dude who angrily reminds him that he warned him to stay away. Sojiro apologizes for literally no reason. Then the bully named Johnny turns straight to Ji-young, demanding she spit out an apology too. His teammates tell him to chill out because the other chaperones are totally watching. Johnny just mocks them, claiming nobody gives a rip about orphans. Then he starts harassing Ji-young by snatching her hair. She yells at him to back off, which just triggers his anger even more. Yoram randomly chimes in, asking the bully what an orphan even is. One look at her cooked. She is famously known around here as an absolute lunatic. Even the elders told him to avoid her. He nervously brushes it off, explaining an orphan is just someone without a chaperone. Johnny throws shade again, calling them literal trash nobodies. Hearing this, Yoram realizes she is totally stuck with a bunch of losers. Johnny grabs her, wondering why she is even carrying these noobs. Someone with her insane stats should definitely be joining a much better squad. He basically offers her a spot on his own team, promising to make room. Johnny is only in this for the loot. Her toxic vibe matches his own, so he figures he can handle her. But wait for it, Johnny completely fails the vibe check. Yoram winds up and straight up decks him in the face, asking where he got the nerve. She shatters his teeth and brutally roasts him, calling him a bottom-tier scumbag who is nowhere near her level. He angrily dips before he loses any more teeth. Meanwhile, Ji-young and the other two are just standing there, totally shook. Later on, that demonic combat battle professor Kwang-gai steps up and starts laying out the rules. They get split into 50 squads, all dropping at different spawn points. Every single action from damage to actual deaths converts straight into points. Those points get broadcast on a live leaderboard. If a player dies, they face a massive 3-hour respawn timer at some random location. He reveals this virtual dungeon is called Ant Nest. Then he wishes these students good luck and they all start stepping into the digital zone. The second our red-headed baddie logs in, she is completely hyped for a fight. Ji-young looks around wondering where the other squads went. Seeing Yoram hyped out of her mind, Ji-young admits they lack her insane stamina. If she just full sends it into the open, she will get backstabbed. Yoram calls them weak noobs. But Ji-young firmly fires back, saying they need a real plan before moving an inch. Yoram tries to hard carry, telling them to just play support and follow her lead. Ji-young snaps back this is a squad match, so she needs to show actual teamwork. Yoram is stunned, and things instantly get extremely heated. So Jiro steps up to cool things off. Then Jay asks if they have a specific target squad to wipe out first. Ji-young knows this will be super tough since every team has a dedicated operator. Nobody will leave their blind spots open. Yoram butts in calling Ji-young a total doomer and telling everyone to just execute whoever they run into. Meanwhile, Johnny is still nursing a busted nose. But honestly, that is exactly what he gets for trying to flex on Yoram. He admits he just wanted to build some rapport, completely unaware that she was actually that unhinged in real life. His squad questions if he actually planned to ditch them, but Johnny swears he just wanted to test her reaction. He starts raging, plotting exactly how he will wreck her the next time they cross paths. And speak of the absolute devil, there she is. Yoram ambushes him from behind, totally caving his face in and launching his body straight into a massive boulder. Their chaperone sweats bullets, wondering when she even spawned in. He violently yells at his squad to prepare for battle. But Yoram just scoffs. She tells them they are severely misunderstanding the word battle. This is a one-sided hunt, little doggies. The enemies start spraying fire in a panic, but Yoram is literally speed blitzing through them like a human cheat code. This shooter begs like an absolute baby for her to stay back. But she sidesteps another deadly blast and pops straight up in his face, glaring daggers. She lands a critical strike right across his gut, a perfectly clean cut that drops his HP completely down to 0. First kill secured. Yoram locks onto the next guy who comes screaming down from above to launch a desperate attack. Their blades slam together in a crazy heavy clash, sparking up an absolutely cinematic visual. This opponent gets super cocky. He thinks she is just tanking hits because she underestimates him, especially since he holds the high ground. Bro literally thinks he is Obi-Wan Kenobi out here dueling Anakin Skywalker. He honestly believes that just having a much bigger weapon guarantees him the easy W. But skill issues are real. Yoram completely outclasses his sloppy mechanics with pure raw sword talent, forcing a massive opening and stunning him cold. Our goated redhead brutally mocks him for even dreaming he could actually gap her in a raw strength contest. One savage slash later, Yoram is officially on a killing spree, effortlessly bagging her second elimination of the match. With these two completely sliced up for breakfast, Feisty Dragon is actually feeling pretty bummed out. These guys did not even make her break a sweat. She worries the fun is over, but a teammate chimes in there is more. Turning back, Yoram spots this crawling dude barely clinging to 17 measly health points. Bro absolutely does not want another fight, especially looking totally wrecked. He literally begs her to spare his face. But my guy gets his butt utterly rocked anyway. Even the handler admits this is messed up as heck. Yoram catches some well-deserved applause for soloing all those combatants single-handedly. The purple-haired girl is just entirely stunned by her insane combat skills. No shocker that Yoram is basically goated at this point. She is definitely hyped, but she also notices how insanely good her caretaker is. Jite could not even use mana in this whole exercise, but he somehow still managed to catch up to the opposing team. Then he conveniently set up the absolute perfect timing for Yoram to secure that sick finish. The man is out here dropping Ayano Koji levels of pure big brain planning. Honestly, it is zero surprise that he makes a completely busted operator. Since Team 37 got totally wiped out, they have to wait 3 long hours to respawn somewhere else. Jite watches those guys get hauled off. He gives a nod, then checks on Yoram's squad. They are currently sitting pretty at 6th place just from wiping one team. The simulation just started, so all those other teams have not even let loose yet. And then there is Yoram. She soloed a squad, taking 0 damage and stacked bonuses. Her teammates hype her up, but she just grabs the blonde kid by his face. She tells him to shut the fudge up. These massive freeloaders did absolutely nothing but stand around watching. Her rage is totally valid here. She really thought these idiots were supposed to snipe from the backlines. Instead of actually sniping, they literally just watched like idiots. Yoram is furious, mocking them for carrying their weapons like cheap decorations. The teammates apologize for throwing, but the redhead screams at them to stop settling for a crappy 6th place. She is heavily locked in to secure 1st place no matter what. So yeah, this is only the warm-up for our feisty dragon. She is so mad, she actually roasts the blonde guy for disrespecting her. Jite just stands on the sidelines watching this entire mess unfold like a super annoyed parent. Meanwhile, back at home, little Gyul is just chilling with her toys. 2 full days into the simulation now. Up in the mock dungeon control room, they are monitoring every single brawl. Professor Quan Gite is being incredibly lazy, basically throwing a party because today is the final day. He asks for the current standings. Turns out, Team 50 is tailing right behind Team 1. Team 1 is already stacked, full of second-year elites. But Gite desperately wants to know who's carrying Team 50. He quickly finds out it is Yoram. The crazy redhead is playing main guard while Haki Sojiro and Kim Jene just hover around the back as her personal sharpshooters. So basically the redhead is hard carrying everyone. Gite is mind blown. They hit 2nd place with her basically playing solo. The assistant points out it is actually their operator dropping some insanely goated plays. Gite takes a good hard look at their travel route. The dude is completely stunned. His assistant guesses their operator might have some hidden ties to the Alliance. But Gite is literally from there. He should recognize everyone. Yet he has never even heard of our guy. He runs through the facts. Yoram is the ultimate academy troublemaker. Then you have Bomb, who the professors treat like an absolute genius mage. And tying them all together is this one mysterious guy taking care of them. But his background check is completely empty. It looks totally scrubbed clean. The assistant then shares one more sketchy detail. Team 1 is apparently set for marking. This means their route has not crossed with any other team even once. They are intentionally dodging fights almost like they are running some kind of weird cooperative play. Gite argues the whole point of this sim is to flawlessly mimic intense real-life situations. To put it simply, this kind of big-brain strat is not cheating. It is a valid co-op tactic. The teams honestly deserve major respect for pulling this off together. But Gite knows that if they met face-to-face and still refused to throw hands, then that would be straight-up cheating. Back on the battlefield, Yoram punches a wall screaming about gathering points with 0 deaths. It seriously bums her out that despite grinding this hard, they are hard stuck in 2nd place, which is honestly pretty goated to a guy like Sojiro. But Yoram literally stomps on the poor dude to beat that beta energy out of him, draining his HP. Right on cue, her other teammate Jean pulls up with the exact same doomer vibe. She is totally overgrinding for 1st place since they are running on fumes and time is almost up. In her mind, pushing it now is mad, risky, and will just tank their score even harder. Playing it safe sounds like the chill play until Yoram walks up and actually praises her for trying so hard. Seeing her act sweet is wild right until she crushes Jean's shoulder for bringing that massive L energy to her face. Yoram absolutely flames them. People do not look down on them for being weirdos, but because they rage quit way too fast. They act like total scrubs who will not even try. She gives them a hardcore reminder about their promise to never let her down. She barks at them to get up and touch grass, straight up telling them to drop the loser act forever. Fueled by pure rage instead of fear, the sharpshooters get insanely hyped, locking their sights entirely on taking 1st place. Yoram is totally vibing with this glow-up while Gite tells her to pull up if she is done dropping that Kobe Bryant speech. She points out a super specific mark on the wall. It is a dead giveaway. The other teams are basically teaming up. They definitely spotted symbols like this before. Sojiro Loki remembers overhearing the upperclassmen talking about it. The seniors love to squad up and avoid fighting altogether. He is betting big money they are the ones leaving these tags. But Jean is not fully buying it, begging the squad to just snitch to the professors and play it safe. Yoram wants all the smoke though. She refuses to snitch, bragging that she has a way sicker plan to totally grief these guys. Now check this out, we swap over to Team 1, the absolute tryhards currently sitting pretty in 1st place. These guys are cruising through with just 40 minutes left on the clock before the whole simulation wraps up. Fatty swears they do not even need to sweat Team 50. As long as they stay alive, the W is absolutely guaranteed. Slick Hair realizes Yoram is their shot caller, and he is actually pretty mind-blown that a freshman snatched 2nd place. He even admits they would have been totally cooked if they had not prepped for this mess in advance. But that exact comment gets their own team leader triggered. Their token Jessie from Team Rocket starts loudly complaining. She claims Yoram could never match their boss. She absolutely drags Slick Hair for dropping such a toxic comment against young Mungho. Mungho is from a legit sword clan and runs this squad. Slick Hair immediately backs down and apologizes for capping. But the big boss just tells them to stay sweaty, and watch out for any random late-game encounters. In his head, Mungho is desperate for his clan patriarch to finally validate him. He literally does not care who gets caught in the crossfire. He just wants to flex that he is way better than his brother Yang Taiha since those two have some major beef. Anyway, their scout pulls up with wild news asking if the squad randomly decided to swap the game plan. When Mungho finally checks out the markings, the dude is completely mind blown. The entire cave is suddenly spammed with these tags. There are completely different symbols everywhere. Slick Hair states the obvious, why are there so many, and where do they even go now? He is raging at whoever trolled them right as Team Rocket Jesse spots another squad pulling up. Mungho watches super intensely as a whole new squad steps out on the far side. It turns out to be Team 3. Not Team 50, but the exact guys they were supposed to ally with. Both groups just stand there completely stun-locked and speechless. Now that they bumped into each other, things are super messy. But Mungho already knows what he has to do. He figures the only way out is to straight up eliminate them, and Team 3 is definitely not about to just forfeit. They know Professor Guy is watching and he will totally bust them if they do not throw hands properly. Basically, their only shot at surviving this is an all-out brawl. Both squads rush in at max speed, ready to completely wreck each other. The team leaders clash without holding anything back. Meanwhile, Urim is just chilling in a cozy spot, heavily enjoying the free entertainment. Sojiro really thought this strat was cooked, but it worked out flawlessly. Here is the big brain play when they found the routes. Urim realized the ultimate move was to just grief the tracking marks. It completely scrambled their signals, so neither allied squad knew where to walk. A stupidly simple idea, but absolutely massive in execution. Urim had her friends spam fake tags everywhere. Meanwhile, she went on a totally unhinged hunting spree to farm points without wasting time. The master plan sounded legit, but Jean was super stressed about what would happen if another squad jumped them. The redhead had a wildly sick strat for that too, promising their trusty chaperone would easily carry them through. Jite completely mocked her for treating him like an object while still begging for his validation. He asked if her master plan was actually any good. Surprisingly enough, Jite actually thought it was decent. But honestly, Urim could not care less about his opinion anyway. She was way too busy hyping up her own strategy. Meanwhile, in the main fight, Mungho stands tall as the absolute victor, completely wrecking all three opposing members. Sadly, Jesse totally died in the process. That meant they were at a massive disadvantage now. But Mungho stayed totally upbeat about farming points off Team 3 as long as they survived. Here is where it gets sick. Our goated squad suddenly rolls up to the scene and completely snatches this dude's glory. Urim steps down and loudly announces herself as the final boss. She loves dropping in post-fight just to effortlessly kick their weakened behinds. While she casually steps up to the remaining survivors, both of her teammates stay totally hidden up on their high ground. Mungho spots her backup trying to play cover fire and instantly writes them off as a bunch of totally weak scrubs. The arrogant Sword Clan descendant barks an order. He tells Slick Hair to go wipe those two out. The fatty argues they should totally just back off and stall for a timeout win. But Mungho has way too much ego. Flashing a literal death glare, he commands Fat French Fry to just go do his job. Wei gets seriously annoyed since their insanely arrogant leader refuses to hear any normal logic. So he totally caves to the bad orders and starts aggressively rushing down those snipers. Turns out Wei is actually insanely fast. He rockets forward at top speed and instantly pops right up into their faces. Sojiro completely loses his mind. This slick hair dude is moving like an absolute main character, scaring the crap out of them. Both of them scramble the heck away while Jite just casually watches them pass by. Honestly, their loud screaming starts totally distracting Urim. She actually finds it pretty crazy how a dude with a massive balloon body moves that fast. Thanks to that distraction, she completely misses Mungho rushing in and barely blocks his massive strike. The leader of Team 1 fiercely taunts her for ignoring her actual opponent. Their weapon clash violently breaks apart right after the heavy impact. This guy just loves to yap. He drops her name, admitting she is pretty cracked for surviving this long and ruining his flawless setup. The hilarious part, Urim never even considered that garbage a real plan, and she still completely cooked his entire squad. Mungho angrily trashes her for not just accepting second place. Charging up a massive strike, he boldly claims first place belongs only to the Yong family. The Red Dragon basically pulls an epic Uno reverse and just says nope. Jite watches this epic showdown just standing there menacingly. Meanwhile, her wild dragon aura erupts as she vows to totally steal that first place finish. The heavy guy keeps rolling in like a massive bowling ball. He fiercely orders them to stop running while he is still acting nice. Jean promises they just need to survive a little longer. That dude is seriously running on empty from his last fight. They basically just have to keep moving. But Sojiro is already completely gassed out like the ultimate wimp. My guy practically aged 50 years just doing that tiny little sprint. Hitting his absolute limit, he loudly begs her to just ditch him and run, but she quickly reminds him that Urim will absolutely cook his dumbass for quitting. So Sojiro quickly promises her that he is definitely not giving up. Instead, he wants to make a sick sacrificial play to secure the win for his team. With dramatic flair, he spins around with his rifle ready. Wei looks completely stunned by this wild maneuver. Sojiro has officially had enough of hiding in the back and playing a pathetic loser all his life. He wants to finally change his garbage luck, pouring his entire soul into one glorious shot to challenge fate. Now you are probably thinking, wow, peak character development right here, except this absolute clown completely misses the target entirely. A super awkward silence drops. Then this guy finally realizes he burned all his stamina just wildly drawing marks on the wall earlier. That is honestly the dumbest excuse ever. I completely agree with Fat French Fry absolutely clocking him with a huge punch. That one massive hit completely folds Sojiro, dropping his life points right to 0. Jean is up next and she gets her face snatched immediately. Wei ruthlessly slams her straight into the dirt, tanking her health points down to a scary 15. Wei brutally mocks them for being pathetic losers. He claims they totally forgot their actual place just because they fluked a second-place rank. But even pinned down, Jean drops a completely badass smile and fearlessly calls him out on that trash talk. She triggers her sniper eye blessing. Apologizing for totally ruining his big moment, she raises her gun and fires a crazy laser shot that heavily distracts Wei. Despite her insanely tough talk, the big dude stays super confident since that wild shot entirely missed. He just keeps loudly flaming her. How could they ever dream of stealing first place when they cannot even aim a basic gun properly? Pinned down, Jean calmly promises he is completely misreading the vibe. Her wild shot was actually 100% accurate. Right on cue, a massive ceiling boulder drops down and absolutely bonks the huge dude, knocking him out cold. Wei finally realizes he got completely outplayed. He was never the actual target. She specifically aimed for the ceiling. His life points instantly hit 0, booting him straight out of the entire competition, running on absolute fumes and barely any HP left. Jin accepts she pushed her absolute limits for Urim right here. Now Team 1 is down to just a single fighter. But Jessie finally snaps out of her quick nap, demanding to know exactly what just went down with their squad. The handler drops the bombshell. Myungho and Urim are throwing hands and Wei is completely out cold. Jessie squints ahead at the battlefield and her face immediately drops in pure shock. Because little bro is literally eating dirt, getting absolutely smoked by our redhead. Urim is beyond disappointed with this dude's trash skills. She was hyped for an epic final showdown, but this is just sad. She barks out that he can't even pull the exhaustion card. She has been grinding this simulation completely solo just as hard as him. Spitting mad, Myungho yells out that this match is far from over. He rockets straight at her for another heavy clash. Bro completely whiffs his strike, then has the absolute nerve to mock her inferior bloodline. Urim just laughs it off, literally grabbing his head and telling this clown that he is the only inferior one standing here. With that, she buries a knee into his gut, flooring him instantly. That brutal hit should have ended it, but she is slightly impressed he actually blocked it with his blade. Tapping into absolute pure rage, Myungho blasts Urim backward, completely dropping that cocky vibe he had a second ago. He admits the girl hits way harder than he ever expected, but one thing remains absolute: her sword skills are nowhere near his level. Ready to secure a win by any means necessary, Myungho goes total beast mode to showcase the massive skill gap between them. Urim stays perfectly chill, assuming he is just yapping trash again, but her smirk vanishes completely the second she realizes what he is setting up. Locking into a stance straight out of Jujutsu Kaisen, Myungho unleashes the first form of the Yang clan sword arts, the Rising Dragon. His blade fires off massive streams of blue lightning spiraling straight at Urim. Even the Team 1 handler is absolutely floored, wondering how Myungho managed to master a goated ultimate technique from his family tree. Jite just watches effortlessly, noting how Urim is slowly getting sliced up by the wind attacks. Instead of panicking, the redhead gets ridiculously hyped to see this legendary Yang family technique up close. Catching her in a weakened spot, Myungho blitzes forward at insane speeds, totally determined to end her with one clean hit. He takes his chance, bragging that even Urim at her absolute peak cannot touch the sheer ferocity of a prestigious sword clan. That is genuinely bad news. The guy unleashes the second form of his clan arts, swinging through a majestic dragon blade flash that violently chops Urim up with several deep cuts. The battle feels completely over, as Myungho loudly flexes that he never expected to use his secret sword arts in a dump like this. He grinded in secret for literal years to perfect this sick move, and it looks like his hardcore dedication is finally paying off. Now Myungho is dead certain he will get his family respect, fully believing he is the true successor to young Taiha. But right while he rides his high horse, bro looks down, his sword is snapped perfectly in half, leaving him totally stunned. Wondering where the rest went, Urim rises up like an absolute cold-blooded demon. She caught the broken blade right in her mouth. She just had to see what made his bloodline so special, especially since he would not stop yapping about his stupid family legacy. Dropping back down at crazy speed, Urim claims a fancy sword family is just plain useless if they lose their main weapon. Deciding to drop a sword art of her own, the redhead unveils the 999th technique of the Yu family, officially called beating the total crap out of a loud yapper. Myung-ho gets bodied into the dirt, literally still whining that her move was not legal. The epic fight is over, his points hitting dead zero, and finally, Urim locks down that beloved first-place rank, but she is so wiped out she just topples over. Jitae catches the kid, asking how it feels to finally snag the win. The redhead gets all flustered, complaining about her crazy exhaustion, to the point she is begging to touch grass and get healed by Gyeol. The human battle simulation officially wraps up with Team 50 taking first place. Outside, things get weird. It is actually snowing on a spring day. Miss Gale points out it is definitely Gale doing this whenever the Blue Dragon clan gets super depressed. Heavy snow is guaranteed to fall around them. The little Blue Dragon is feeling mad lonely today. Acting as her guardian, Gale absolutely demands that Jitae goes and melts her freezing heart. Meanwhile, Bro is standing there clueless, wondering why he is getting dolled the hell up just to cheer a kid up. Miss Gale insists this is the most goated way to make a little girl smile, so mission melting her heart is officially a go. Our target is currently sitting all alone in her quiet room. The tiny blue dragon just looks heartbroken, holding a single crayon. The tinkering bot happily calls out to little Gyeol, urging her to step up and become a princess today. This is so goofy. Instead of melting the blue dragon's heart, Bro just pisses her off even more. My guy is totally clueless about his mistake, while Bomb is out here genuinely confused about his whack fit. Gale gets caught lacking with her antics. Not even this crazy getup is enough to win the girl over, it just completely traumatized the little one instead. Bomb tries shifting the blame to Gyeol, but she just quietly hums, acting totally innocent. Ultimately, the poor dude washes up in peak depression, getting played like a total fiddle. Anyway, Urim rolls back in with our goated protagonist completely triggered that it's actually snowing in mid-May. Gyeol quickly waddles up to greet them, asking if it was fun, entirely clueless that Urim's got a snowball locked and loaded. She instantly grabs the poor kid, offering a toxic little gift by shoving it straight down her shirt. That angle is purely diabolical. Urim flexes that she actually mixed dog poop into the snowball, and yeah, I'd literally be scrubbing myself with bleach after that. Bomb stays hyper-focused on her crush, hyping up his hard work, while Jitae suddenly spots the tiny blue dragon. Apparently, she made a super cute drawing for him, a little present for their caretaker. Jitae checks the drawing, which outlines the whole squad hanging in the spring. He spots Gyeol, Urim, and Bomb right next to the janitor. But the absolute cutest part is Jitae actually holding Gyeol. This dude is totally baffled. He just can't wrap his head around why it's him. Just looking at a picture of himself like that makes Bro crack a smile. To reward the girls, he hooks them up with a sick 3-day vacation to just vibe. Bomb is hyped up, figuring he's being extra generous thanks to Gyeol's drawing, while the previously depressed blue dragon finally cracks a smile. With her mood chilling out, the snow suddenly stops, resetting the whole spring vibe. Bonding moment aside, the scene randomly cuts all the way to Severodvinsk in Russia. 20 years ago during the Great War, this exact turf was actually used as part of a massive facility. But right now, it's just some low-key secret spot that everyone completely avoids. And this just happens to be the vacation drop. Gale is out here chilling in her beach hat, wondering how the mister managed to find such a goated spot. Jitae casually drops that he cleared a dungeon and found it through that. Urim starts complaining, totally salty that they had to drive all the way out here instead of just fast-traveling directly. Bomb thinks touching grass and traveling like this is way more a vibe, but she's super curious about where he's heading next. Jitae explains he's going to pitch a tent and scavenge for food, leaving them to just chill and enjoy the view. Bomb is always looking for any excuse to third-wheel him, so she desperately wants to tag along. But he totally curves her, telling her to watch over Gyeol instead. She heavily sulks, while the extremely observant Urim easily catches this whole interaction. Our guy goes ahead and sets up camp, grinding his way around the area. He spots a freaky mushroom that practically screams, "Do not eat me." After a solid bit of prep, Jitae pulls back up to fetch the girls, only to be completely stunned by what he sees. Bomb is out here looking absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, while the other girls are just goofing off in their beach fits. By the way, that swimsuit is the exact same one she flexed back at the department store. It's hilarious, she straight up teases him for wanting to see her in a bikini this whole time. That flirty little comment and pose perfectly crafted to make this man fold, but Jitae is absolutely 0% simp and just looks away. Urim roasts the guy for actively avoiding them. She figures if he's going to react like this, maybe she should have thrown on a bikini too just to catch him totally off guard. Hilariously, Urim gets her head smacked and fully yeeted into the ocean for that cheeky comment. After hours of messing around, evening finally rolls in. Get a load of this. The girls expected some top-tier gourmet meal, but pull up to see literal poison bubbling in the damn pan. Whatever it is, it ain't edible. Urim seriously suspects this man is trying to end them with a toxic hot pot. while Gayul gets a horrible flashback to her traumatizing days of eating way too many sketchy mushrooms back in the Amazon. The redhead straight up calls the meal disgusting, claiming it's literally worse than dog food. Jite claps back, saying they all eat Bomb's cooking just fine. This fully triggers Bomb, who honestly expected him to like her food. Bro just cannot catch a break today, and while they beef over the food, the little blue dragon casually grabs a chunk and swallows it down. Realizing she just ate that cursed meal, all the other sisters completely crash out in pure terror, thinking the kid might actually die. To Jitae's total shock, Yul flashes a smile and says the food is actually super delicious, leaving all the other sisters completely stunned. Not to mention, she finally spoke up. Girls are fully starstruck. Gale questions why she's only deciding to talk just now, but then figures the little one simply chose to give them the silent treatment this whole time. Yoram butts in trying to pin the blame on the Golden Dragon for being an annoying yapper, even though Gale desperately tries to dodge those exact allegations. Jitae wonders how Bomb knew. She simply explains she's heard the kids speak a few times back at home, but she keeps quiet, wanting everyone to experience this sick moment totally on their own. The Green Dragon is shook that this kid desperately wants to impress Jitae, the exact same guy always brooding over his dark past. He flashes back to absolutely destroying her in a past life, reminding her straight up that this was her permanent cage. She literally begged for mercy, swearing he would need her later, but that comment completely bounces off him like nothing. He just stares down at the kid, who is absolutely hyped over eating this meal. Jitae never saw that pure joy across his endless past lives. And honestly, this guy completely refuses to feel guilty about treating her like absolute garbage back then, because for a regressor, dwelling on the past equals death. So Jitae stays totally locked in right here, reminding himself his only mission in this run is keeping this little kid perfectly healthy. It is honestly a goated moment watching him hug her so gently. Finally, the girls finish up their giant feast. Yuram is still hungry for seconds, which is hilarious since she was instantly trash-talking Jitae's cooking skills just minutes ago. Bomb wants to start doing the dishes, but the redhead is a total slacker who just wants to go smoke. The scariest sister totally calmly grabs her shoulder, ordering her that they are definitely cleaning up together. That single touch sends her into panic mode. Yoram instantly agrees, whipping up a magical summoning circle to drag a very specific someone into this mess. Enter the trusty janitor, dragged here against his will. At first, Bro gets all deep in his feels, shedding actual tears of joy, thinking they just really missed him. But nope, the girl cheerfully points him toward his sick new quest, which is scrubbing an absolutely disgusting crusty stove. The redhead barks at him to speed run the job. This poor dude starts grinding it out alone until Bomb actually steps up to help him out. Even Jitae is mind blown. They summoned a guy just for dishes. But Yoram declares anyone whining can go touch grass or help wash. Suddenly, sensing a crazy aura, he orders everyone inside the tent immediately. They are completely baffled when some dude drops from the shadows, ruining the edgy vibe with a loud hello. Yoram and the girls stare, calling this guy a completely average boomer wandering the woods. Jitae politely explains they are just camping, finding out this dude is also chilling here with his pregnant wife and kid. The hyped-up man is honestly shocked someone else found this spot, considering it is basically a completely hidden secret location. But our boy is fully locked in, immediately dropping facts about those rare Abaddon mushrooms. Yeah, you guessed it, the exact same mushrooms our crew just casually snacked on. The man is completely stunned, admitting he actually planted those himself and never expected random players to just spawn and eat them. Feeling totally responsible, Jitae gives a massive apology, but the guy brushes it off since he left zero warning signs. Getting a solid look at him, the redhead whispers that this dude actually looks pretty damn overpowered. She has no idea how broken he is, while Jitae mentally sweats, realizing he never meant to run into the 9th strongest superhuman alive, Myung Yanga, the Druid of Regeneration. This dude is a ridiculously rare, nature-based superhuman, basically protected, like a literal national treasure. Across his endless binge read of past lives, Jitae remembers teaming up with this beast and sometimes fighting him as a terrifying boss. Jitae forgets a ton of lore, but one major detail still sticks out perfectly. Yongka constantly stressed over his pregnant wife, meaning those stolen mushrooms were meant for her. Activating his crazy spatial inventory skill, our boy grabs an item and tosses it straight to Yongha. It is a 1,000-year-old ginseng packed with insane healing buffs, a massive W to replace those lost mushrooms. Just seeing those stats makes the man bow deeply, because even Jitae knows this root is worth way more than some basic fungus. Instead of dipping out, Yongha asks if they have time to kill, hyping up this gorgeous region nearby and pitching a total group tour. Jitae is ready to hard pass, but the girls sprint over, fully hyped to explore, putting our guy in a really awkward spot. Just to keep things safe, he equips these wooden safety belts tightly around their waists. Both dragons are confused as hell. Jitae just watches the two dragons get completely tangled up like rowdy kids while the husband steps aside. Myung's wife apologizes for her husband acting like a total kid, but Jitae brushes it off and tells them to enjoy. He watches them head out, finally giving him and Bomb a second to breathe. The Green Dragon casually mentions how normal their family trip looks compared to theirs. GTA doesn't even bother faking the happy family act. Bro is out here acting way colder than Lloyd Forger. Still, Bomb argues their party is totally missing a mom character even though everyone else is literally her younger sibling. And watch this, just to fully mess with his head, this girl literally rips out her hair tie and sneaks right up into his face. She leans in tight and whispers she wants to be the mom. Even our guy cannot survive that level of riz. That sly little remark from point-blank range is totally enough to leave him sweating bullets. Bro is so stunned that Bomb just bursts out laughing and admits the whole thing was a joke. He quickly covers his face to hide those bright red ears, but she just keeps on flustering the absolute hell out of him. Romantic moments aside, GTA has his servant return with some fresh intel regarding Prototype X. Flipping right back into work mode, he sends Bomb to catch up with the rest of the group. Meanwhile, he pivots the other way to handle some sudden business. As he walks off, the Green Dragon wonders where he went. The janitor then drops an incredibly dry joke, guessing the guy just really needed the bathroom. Bomb is wildly unimpressed. She basically enters murder mode for daring to joke about her future hubby. So here is the wild part. Over in Moscow, Russia, some lady is expecting a visitor. GTA and his servant suddenly show up so the boss can catch a quick breather. The servant tries assuring him there was no need to force this trip, but our guy just honestly needed a break from all the traveling. Breaking down the new intel, the servant explains it involves a sketchy project where demonic humans are gearing up to deploy Prototype X. The files mention the Alliance Raid project. Ever since GTA completely wiped out those demonic humans at the lair, the enemy side is stressing hard. They finally know some huge outside force is messing with them. That basically proves they are out for revenge. The servant points out a solid theory: they might target a massive 70-person raid unit and just wipe them all out with Prototype X. Unfortunately, though, they still lack any direct facts on Prototype X itself. This prompts our guy to step inside and literally confirm the facts himself, telling his servant to stay put and keep a close eye on things. The servant lets him do his thing while the scene cuts back to both families chilling and enjoying a gorgeous view. Yongha is straight up roasting little Gyul about her name. He's honestly mind-blown that each girl is just named after the 4 seasons. Yoram heavily complains that their fake dad never put a single ounce of effort into it. Bomb suddenly spots GTA walking back. He brushes it off, claiming he just had to visit someone. Bomb looks genuinely concerned. The redhead immediately jokes he probably sneaked off to smash some random chick late at night, which completely annoys the Green Dragon. Shifting back to the scenery, Yonka points everyone toward the sky. Suddenly, wild blue lightning starts raging across the perfectly clear night. According to Gayul, this insane event is a rupture. She is totally shook by the sight. That is because a rupture literally tears reality right open. It exposes the mesmerizing beauty of the cosmos, a crazy peek directly into the universe. Every single girl is just speechless. Gayul goes full tourist mode and tries snapping a million photos. Using this hyped moment to bond, Bomb asks GTA if he has seen anything like it. Our guy just plays dumb and denies it. That is the exact second the Green Dragon catches his silhouette in his regressor gear for the first time. The visual basically hands her some major newfound info, but before she can even speak up, stars literally start collapsing from the sky. It creates another insanely gorgeous view for everyone watching. Gale, Yoram, and Yongha's whole family are rendered entirely speechless. Meanwhile, GTA just carries the little blue dragon. She is so laser-focused on the sky that she finally speaks up, calling it pretty. Fast forward and a brand new day begins. GTA formally bids farewell to the 9th superhuman and his family. The guy is such a huge romantic. He even mentions how he actually confessed to his wife at this exact spot. Surprisingly, GD calls that memory romantic. This utterly baffles Youngha since he never expected a dude this cold and stoic to say something so soft. Now this part gets real. Out of pure curiosity, he asks GTA if there is anyone he loves. Bro instantly shifts his gaze toward Bomb, but then his mind flashes back to a tragic past lover. Remembering her, he flat out denies loving anyone. Then out of nowhere, Youngha's wife violently starts coughing up blood. Fearing the absolute worst, the stressed guy opens a portal to get her help while their kid is already missing, Gyul. Jumping back to our chaotic family, Jide urges the girls to pack up and leave too. But the spring dragon looks super depressed and visibly shaken by last night. Jite finally grabs her attention and asks what is going on. She totally dodges the question, switching topics to point out how depressed Gyul is about leaving. Honestly, it is tough to watch. Jite quietly watches the little kid staring at her own reflection. Stepping up, he collects some crisp water right out of the lake, making a neat little souvenir for her to keep. Handing over the bottle, he promises they will come back here another time. That simple gesture instantly makes her happy again. While they share this wholesome chill moment, Yoram is aggressively screaming from the car because they are taking way too long. Moving past that, we jump to Yongha stressing out with his family in the hospital. He is worried sick until one particular guy rolls up to help out. Meet the first returner. He sits at rank 2 on the global leaderboards, known as BM. BM casually slurps on some juice while the two old friends share a much-needed catch-up session after a long time apart. The second strongest ranker mentions his stay is super short and he has to dip soon, but he quickly asks if her condition flared up again. Yonga answers back, confirming it totally happened during their camping trip. 10 whole years have gone by, and even with all the insane magic and tech upgrades, nobody can actually figure out what is wrong with his wife. She went down back during the Great War, and honestly, he still heavily regrets failing to protect her back then. Now some twisted ancient virus is literally draining her life. BM tries playing the good friend role but completely fails to read the room. Yongha is absolutely furious, screaming out that he could not care less about being called the highest ranker. The guy just bawls like a little kid. He cries out that his one single wish in life is seeing his wife Hawan healthy again. Honestly, bro is genuinely such a G for that. Meanwhile, BM literally snoops around just to verify if he is actually crying. Usually this meathead is just laughing loud like some explosive ogre, so catching him like this is wild. The only other time he ever cried was when Hawan gave birth. BM remembers him making the funniest face back then. Right now, the poor dude is just begging for comfort in his absolute misery. Before heading out, BM tosses a random object into his hand, pushing him to try it out just once. He gives zero explanation about what it is, but apparently it is insanely hard to track down. After handing over that strange sphere, BM turns to leave and tells Yongha to say hi to his wife. Then it completely hits Yongha, and he remembers that 1,000-year-old ginseng. He begs the mad scientist to check it out. It is totally unique, something even he has never seen before. Those words stop BM dead in his tracks. Bro's inner nerd curiosity totally takes over. Now he is actually hyped. The scene cuts right back to our main family. Gyul just watches her sisters going absolutely crazy while she chills out here, rocking shades like some mini Gojo. Suddenly, the little one sees Jite calling out, telling her they should play. And honestly, we all heavily agree that we need this man's workout routine immediately. Completely swooning, the little one dashes full speed onto her big teddy bear. She straight up uses it like a surfboard. Then she plops off the top and jumps right into Jite's hands. He looks happier than ever. His expression is unlike anything she has ever seen before, basically praising her for being so cool. The endless compliments completely overwhelm the little one, knocking her out while daydreaming about the perfect vacation. While she is out cold, hugging that bear, our boy quietly slips away and shuts the door. Right now, the janitor is completely asleep too. Urim is just totally knocked out on the other side of the bed. Playtime is officially over. He has to leave now, all dressed up in his aura farming fit. Suddenly, he senses the spring dragon nearby and asks why she's awake. Bomb immediately complains that she wants to tag along, but he really does not want to take her. She is super concerned that he is heading on a mission mostly based on why he had to dip yesterday. From just those words alone, Jite sharply figures it out. Her Providence ability must have actually let her see some future events. Bomb practically begs to go with him, knowing he will definitely need her help. But this guy plays completely solo. He coldly rejects her. Words clearly are not working here. So the green dragon creeps right up behind him. She whispers that Jita always treats her like some fragile kid he needs to protect, hiding all the horrific stuff. But she strongly reminds him they will not be truly happy just living off good memories. Personally, she actually wants to see both the good and the terrible. After all, she is the green dragon. Thinking it over for a second, Jite refuses to humor her. He sets off, promising he will return soon. Taking that emotional gut punch, Bomb asks him one burning question. She asks what he would actually do if finishing this mission meant putting himself through massive pain. And my goated king straight up replies he would still do it. Even if everyone else hates it or if it seriously hurts them, he pushes through. Suddenly, a bright light clicks on. Jite looks completely baffled by the sword floating right in front of him. Bomb calmly explains that she will definitely need this weapon later. She originally did not even want him seeing this sword. It is actually a pretty sweet gesture, riling him up just a bit while finally wishing him good luck. We cut straight over to the Superhuman Association building. Right here, a bunch of famous heavy hitters from the Superhuman Alliance are posted up for this raid. This is the stacked 70-man squad they put together, and they are all gearing up to deploy. Stepping right up to the operation leader, Jite coldly tells him to include a 70th person, meaning himself. The sheer audacity absolutely baffles the guy. The entire goal of this raid is actually hunting down the boss of an S-rank dungeon, the Kraken. We are talking about a seriously high-level monster. Even for this huge raid, only the absolute top-tier percentage of warriors got the invite. It is basically like assembling an entire military force. The guy who built this dream team is an executive ranked 90th himself. Enter the divine archer Shiraishi Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke looks him over, asking if the young dude is Japanese. Jite confidently fires back that he definitely lives close by. The leader is super intrigued. Why does this random punk want to crash the raid and also profile the elite members going? The idea is so laughable that Ryunosuke just cackles loudly. Ryunosuke gets it now. This guy knows their entire mission and already hacked their security, meaning he is totally goated. At first, Bro pretends like he might accept Jite, but then he quickly readies a shot straight up, threatening to blast him. It is completely obvious to Ryunosuke that letting a stranger join their raid without any alliance history is basically a trash idea waiting to flop. Bro is out here aiming a green blast like he is Gojo firing red. Anyway, he totally thinks Jite is playing them for absolute fools. Our guy tells him to touch grass and be sensible here. But Ryunosuke is superheated, totally ready to send this dude packing to a jail cell. And if he resists, they will just label him an alliance enemy and wipe him off the map. Bro is talking major trash. He ends up firing the laser shot, but Jite just casually dodges it like it ain't no big deal at all. The leader kicks his own desk at him, blocking his view, and then uses both hands to spam rapid propulsive blasts. This way, his target will not even know where to dodge. Even after that wild spam, Ryunosuke is totally shook that the dude standing before him blocked literally everything. Realizing that basic attacks ain't gonna cut it today, the leader decides it is time to bust out his absolute goated special move. First, he leaps right off his chair, summoning a massive mana arrow, the signature sick ability of a divine archer. Bro really thinks he is the main character trying not to wreck the building and releases his judgment of the heavenly arrow. This projectile is insanely fast, flying straight at a guy who literally could not care less. Jite just sidesteps and catches the bolt without breaking eye contact, flexing on him hard. Ryunosuke is finally starting to realize this guy is truly built different, and he definitely messed with the wrong boss. Instead, our boy chucks that exact same arrow right back at his face, slamming him into the wall with crazy force. Getting hit by his own attack leaves the archer completely drained. The fight is done and he is looking totally wrecked. Looming over the defeated leader, Jite casually asks if he has managed to persuade him yet. Hilariously, Bro still has the absolute nerve to say no, but Jite is chill with that, just threatening to wear his skin if he keeps acting up. Chuckling, Ryunosuke just jokes that his skin is pretty thick for an old dude and then pops a flash ability called Radiance. He really thinks this will catch Jite lacking. Then, like a total coward, Bro books it the other way to escape the absolute menace. Desperate, Ryunosuke is sprinting for the emergency warp pad, hoping to teleport straight to HQ and report this whole insane mess. But the second he tries to smash his way into that room, my guy runs into a massive reality check. His escape plan was totally doomed because the warp machine is already smashed to pieces. While he is standing there completely shook, an energy blade casually slides right up against his neck. Jite has this dude's life by a thread and asks one more time if he wants to change his mind. Out of options, the once arrogant leader officially welcomes Jite to the raid unit. Next up, our guy's chilling in the office chair while Ryunosuke is all patched up kneeling. Ryunosuke cannot stop sweating over this dude's real identity, figuring out there is zero chance he is a demonic human. Maybe he's a returner or some OP isekai protagonist like BM. But then again, the Alliance would definitely track someone like that. So the big question, we are all wondering, why does this overpowered monster even want to join their raid? Jite skims the report and asks if this is really everything, demanding to know what happened to a missing member from the 70 people listed for the drop. The leader admits that the missing guy actually ghosted them completely, so they had to grab a last-minute substitute with zero formal paperwork. Ryunosuke swears the replacement was officially recommended by the Alliance, so it is all chill. But our boy is super sus about it and demands to see this operator immediately. Too scared to argue, the leader quickly calls in the standby operator. While they wait, Jite's own shadow quietly asks for a little chat. Apparently, it finally found some sick intel on Prototype X. This totally confuses Jite since the shadow could easily just beam that info directly into his brain. Connecting all the dots, Jite quickly realizes the files must involve someone he personally knows, and his shadow totally confirms that dark theory. Anyway, the standby operator finally strolls into the office asking why the heck the room looks like a war zone. The operator is also super confused why Ryunosuke is kneeling there, getting a hardcore lecture absolutely crushing his fragile ego. Whoever is hiding under that heavy armor is someone Jite has to confront, someone he definitely has history with. He is totally locked in to end this person no matter what, but the second she takes off her helmet, his face just drops. The pretty girl standing right there is Ha Saepiel. In other words, his one true past lover. Flashback to his second regression, the war against the demonic humans had already been raging for 3 solid years. Down in the Seoul region, a bunch of soldiers are pitching tents while Jite just waits around. He is about 32 years old here. Suddenly, a girl walks up, pokes him right in the cheek, and teases him for falling for her trick yet again. He gives her a look questioning the fit while she happily spins to show it off. Saepiel can totally tell he is blushing since he turns away. She casually invites him to go check out a nearby hillside with her. Watching them chat, the other soldiers start whispering, wondering if their boss is actually catching feelings for her. From a distance, they honestly look like a couple, but the guys also wonder how Saepiel even got into the Corps looking that young and pretty. They start guessing if she literally only joined the military just to chase after her crush. But that theory gets shut down fast. Turns out she used to take care of kids at an orphanage. Then the war hit. It completely wiped out the orphanage, brutally turning all those poor kids into red paste. That horrific moment became the ultimate turning point for Sape. She awakened as an operator-class superhuman, eventually joining the Corps. It is wild that she still manages to smile constantly. But honestly, everyone surviving this war is just coping hard with some insanely tragic backstory. Later that night, Jite finds her excitedly waving him over. She is shocked he actually showed up while bro thinks this spot is completely basic, but she is out here totally swooning. Setbile brags that a pretty moon is out tonight right alongside her gorgeous face. Despite her absolute best efforts to flirt, this man does not get bricked up whatsoever. Getting super embarrassed, she quickly explains there is actually something else to show him. Her blessing detects danger, which kills the mood fast and instantly puts Jite into murder mode. Sape tells him to chill out for a second, close his eyes, and just focus on listening. He follows her lead, and she explains that her blessing actually detects a lot more than just incoming threats. Thanks to those enhanced senses, she can clearly feel a beating heart. Before Jite can even process what she means by that, the rift opens, revealing that exact same galaxy of falling stars he saw with the dragons. Only this time, the dude is completely starstruck. Taking her shot, she leaps up and hugs him tight, happily confirming that his heart is definitely pounding out of his chest. A massive rush of emotion takes over. Jite grabs her face and kisses her right under the falling stars, finally sealing this goated romance. Hilariously enough, she tells him to go find some lip balm because bro's lips are chapped as hell. Catching hard feelings now, this man straight up confesses he wants to marry her the second this war ends. She is completely shocked he would say that, but she is entirely down to lock it in. They even start cracking pregnancy jokes since Satbile finds the whole idea terrifying, teasing him to give birth instead. And get this, Jite actually agrees. This man is a lover pro max. Sadly, their hype romance is about to hit a gut-wrenching wall. Because not only does she die an absolutely brutal death, the guy doing the slaughtering is Jite himself. All of his friends dead. His body gets completely puppeteered. He begs the enemy to stop, but he cannot stop his own hands from driving swords straight into his lover. Jite screams in pure agony. This is straight up the most traumatic end to a romance I have ever witnessed. The freak forcing him to do this is a disaster-class demonic human named Hagawa, who sickeningly enjoys the melody of Jite breaking down. Hagawa just wanted to use this specific tragedy against the regressor who had been giving their side so much trouble. Since Hagawa knows Sape wanted her man to live, that sick bastard actually lets Jite survive, which honestly makes it way more sinister. Jite has to live with this agonizing memory forever, a permanent warning to never mess with demonic humans again. All he can do is stare at his lover's lifeless, bloody body. It is too much. He takes the blade and slices his own neck, ending his second regression on the spot. The system calls failure and rewinds the world again. Back in the present, those dark memories are completely drowning him. Current Sabial asks if he is alright since he spaced out. Her guild leader starts losing his marbles, begging her to please not upset this terrifying man. Jite just reflects on how his regression item, the Grand Clock, purposefully targets individuals who stray far from the world's natural timeline. Using its authority, he checks Sepile's stats only to find out some crazy massive changes happened to her life this time around. For example, that orphanage did not get destroyed by the war. It was destroyed by superhumans. That fueled her revenge, forcing her into a dark contract to be reborn as a demonic human herself. Get this, that demon actually locked in a contract with Rakshata, the insanely overpowered 7th monarch of the Void. The item gives him a heads up. She might randomly remember glitchy fragments from those past regressions. But Jite refuses to get in his feelings. He locks in, reminding himself that taking out X is the only priority right now. Back to the mission. Jite straight up rejects the Vanguard role and tells the leader to make him an operator instead. That way he can stick close to this girl. Literally nothing else matters, except clapping X by any means necessary. Cut to the Heathis Ocean dungeon. Massive portals rip open and the raid squad drops in ready to catch some bodies. Ryunosuke's right there in the mix, and the girl is totally on high alert around this dude. Jite readies his blade as the Kraken raid officially pops off. But the rest of the squad is looking super confused. They cannot figure out why Operator Jite got added, especially since bro literally showed up at the last second. They think he might hard throw the raid, but they ultimately trust Ryunosuke's call. The leader then reassures Jite. He admits people are doubting him. The raid itself should be a breeze, but he really hopes Jite does not drag them down. Our boy calmly says he is not here to grief anybody. Ryunosuke just tells him to handle his business and bounce immediately. Now here is the crazy part. His ex-girlfriend totally notices how completely rattled Ryunosuke acts around Jite. It basically proves Jite is top tier, probably the goated MVP when things get seriously sketchy. Sebiel casually drops that she is terrified of water. Plus, this is literally her first time stepping foot in a dungeon like this. Straight up panicking, she begs him not to let her drown. Then hilariously, she just zooms off to use the bathroom. Watching her run off hits Jite with major nostalgia. His old girl used to be exactly this anxious back in the day. She would physically shake just seeing blood. But one fact remains absolutely true: the original girl was definitely not scared of water. Meaning this faker is capping hard. Jite instantly pops his ocular skill to scan for the actual truth. The reason she does not fully recognize him despite those glitchy memories, she is a completely different version of his past girl. And yet, this imposter is still out here desperately role-playing as the exact same woman from his timeline. Her real soul is definitely held hostage by that void monarch. This girl standing in front of him is just a hollow puppet. That monarch just wants to troll Jite by forcing him to literally murder his former girlfriend all over again. A sick way to absolutely break his mental state. Someone like Hiritsugu might respect the hustle, but bro is dodging that bait. Right on cue, the Kraken bursts out of the ocean, scaring the absolute life out of the raid party. This titanic beast stuns everyone with its insane Leviathan energy, completely covering the landscape in a massive wave of gross tentacles. Ryunosuke is completely shook. This massive freak of nature is way bigger than his intel suggested. Shouting his first order, he tells the squad to speedrun this boss so they can go grab some drinks afterward. Yeah, his big brain strat is literally just hitting it, goated leader energy. Anyway, his forces blitz the monster at hyperspeed. The Divine Archer takes the very first shot. His crazy projectile sweeps in and lands a totally clean headshot. Right above the Kraken, 3 superhuman brawlers leap up to dish out some heavy melee damage. The creature tries fighting back, but their numbers just melt through its defenses. One hero straight up slashes its eye wide open. That absolutely enrages the beast. It retaliates instantly, overwhelming the front line with one massive swing of a tentacle. It literally one-shots a bunch of them. Next up, an entire squad of sorcerers tags into the fight. They desperately try locking down the tentacles, while support players spam buffs to max out their spell damage. Ranged DPS are just unloading from the backline, and the operators are sweating hard to find a critical weakness. The Kraken gets chained up, but that CC is wearing off fast. The mages are completely running out of mana. Ryunosuke begs Jite to call out a weak point. Our boy just deadpans aimed directly for the beast's left eye. Since hitting its eye earlier obviously made it scream. Honestly, this next part is just pure comedy gold. Ryunosuke gets super tilted at that basic answer and demands Sebiel's summon. Jite just shrugs she went to the bathroom, which might literally be the reason this entire raid wipes out. But despite the meme answer, he trusts Jite. The leader actually locks in and follows through. He takes the aggro himself, bursting forward with insane speed. Respect. Because damn, Ryunosuke really wants all the smoke. He manifests his judgment arrow, charging it up with totally cracked power. Time to put this abyss boss in the dirt. He draws back, launching an absolutely massive strike straight for its left eye. The projectile zooms at max speed and explodes right on the critical weak point, making the monster thrash in pure agony. The rest of the squad is wondering if they finally caught a W, and honestly they kind of did, since that massive Kraken is forced to dip right back into the ocean. Ryunosuke drags himself back to shore, still totally beat up from his crazy fight with Jite, which totally explains why he couldn't even pop off just now. Big yikes. That hit just wasn't enough to actually put down the beast, and this is literally their only window to finish the job. While he is barely keeping it together, the golden operator is straight up lurking from above. She swoops down, spotting the perfect opening to strike, and she is literally seconds away from ending Ryunosuke. Sebiel's unhinged demonic side totally takes over. But right before she catches a body, our goated boy Jite sweeps in, shoving her away to save the leader. Through all this chaos, Ryunosuke is absolutely clueless. The operator straight up sinks into the freezing ocean. Sebiel goes full demon mode, angrily snapping at Jite about how long he actually knew her plans. Finally getting his own closure, our boy tells her that she does not know him at all. He used to have some serious regrets and baggage back in the day. Both her and his past self dead. He literally caught those bodies with his own 2 hands. Hearing that massive flex, the demonic human cracks this insanely toxic smile, completely hyped that this dude actually knows her true identity. It all went down on the battlefield. Sebiel and Jite were supposed to be endgame lovers, but just like that one Spider-Man, he actually ended up ending her life. She even roasts him for having chapped lips back then, and then literally tries to choke him out the very next second. Toxic girlfriend energy is absolutely off the charts. The demonic human tries to hit him with a fatal strike. Not today. Our guy is definitely no simp and easily blocks it. That forces her to sprout tentacles from her back, exposing her real vibe. Prototype X hits her final form, a scary vampiric chick mashed up with creepy spider limbs. Going full Tokyo Ghoul mode, she chucks her tentacles right at him, but his sick aura flares up and tears clean through the whole mess. He glides through the water. But wait, those exact same shredded tendrils whip back around to instantly blindside him, forcing Jite to block all over again. The demonic human pushes the offensive completely knowing she is cornering him and making him spam his defenses. It genuinely shakes her up seeing how insanely overpowered he is now. Honestly, if he had this much juice back then, he would have easily saved the entire squad. She drops this dialogue while somehow parrying his attack. Sadebuel is super confused about why he is only playing defense instead of going all out. She assumes it is just massive guilt holding him back, making him hesitate so he does not have to delete his ex all over again. Because honestly, back in his second life, he literally stabbed her eyes out. That brutal attack was absolutely unhinged. Trying to make him crack under the emotional damage, she messes with his head, whispering about how freezing it felt when he mercilessly stabbed her. The Grand Clock suddenly picks up a totally glitched item from outside the timeline, a huge weapon called the Armax Longsword. This sick sword shatters all those mind games and shreds the demonic human's limbs apart piece by painful piece. It is basically his way of saying he is totally out of cares, leaving her screaming in absolute agony this time around. Jite realizes his clock is straight up buffing the sword's power. He guesses it is reacting to that raw malice he personally ripped right out of a Guardian earlier. This makes Bomb pop back into his head, helping him realize she totally predicted this exact crazy future would happen. Because of this goated weapon, our boy does not even have to destroy Satebuel's soul, he can just directly snipe the malice, messing with her head instead. Honestly, the demonic human is already totally losing her grip, but Jite decides to press the attack and rush her one more time. He yells at her to stop playing with the poor girl's feelings, demanding the demon to just show itself already. He drops another heavy swing. Game over. He totally wrecks her, ripping her demon form straight apart. The demon is backed into a serious corner now. Knowing things are incredibly doomed, it scans the area and spots that beaten up Kraken from before. Now watch, this is the ultimate clutch play. Jite cannot do damage if he misses, so she yeets herself straight at the Kraken and lands right on top. Then she shoots out her creepy tendrils, violently stabbing the massive beast to completely drain its energy. This lets the demonic human completely hijack the mind of the already super nerfed boss monster. Jite is honestly pretty mind blown. She can mind control a beast in this timeline too. The demon lets out this unhinged death roar, firing a dozen gross tentacles right at him. Gearing up for his next massive play, Jite buffs his badass sword with the second form of his formless skill, wrapping the whole blade in pitch-black darkness. He raises the weapon up high and slashes, instantly shooting out these sick dark chains that lock onto every single tentacle and slice them down. The demonic human just stares at that insane void of darkness. It is literally the only skill that is completely missing from her past memories. But looking at the shredded limbs of the Kraken, she can instantly tell this stuff is definitely not normal mana or some holy blessing. It feels like the darkness itself is fueled by pure, unfiltered hatred. The whole vibe of it is just straight-up murderous intent made physical. And as he blitzes forward to finally finish her off, the demon is left totally shook, completely bugging out over how this guy actually unlocks such insanely broken, boundless strength. At the very last second, she flashes Satebuel's innocent face, calling him a total monster right before her own face gets brutally ripped apart. So clean. Imagine an actual demon calling you a demon. Bro is straight up the John Wick of this universe. That final strike completely shakes the ocean, causing massive tides to erupt everywhere. Ryunosuke instantly recognizes this insane level of strength. He knows it is coming straight from Jite, making him wonder what the hell this guy is even doing. Once the storm clears out, our guy carries Satebuel's unconscious body. Thanks to his Grand Clock authority, he starts siphoning the dark malice still lingering inside her. The system urges him to keep checking on her so the corruption does not return. But hey, at least things are wrapped up for now. With that handled, Bro gets a random call from the Golden Dragon. She snitches that Yoram is back home, actively drinking all of his booze. Yep, Papa Jite is out here grinding on work duty while dealing with a literal problem child. Just like that, the Superhuman Alliance mission to crush the Kraken is officially complete. Jite finally gets back home carrying Satebuel. All four girls are totally stunned by this crazy sudden maneuver. Yoram immediately demands to know who this random woman is sitting totally naked on their couch, just covered by his coat. She straight up teases him for bringing home a girlfriend. Then she whispers to the sisters, calling them super nasty for undressing before even getting inside. Jite quickly shuts down the wild claims. He says she is just somebody he knows. But the redhead keeps pushing these wild accusations about some cliché love story. Pissed off, Bro charges up his super special karate chop and absolutely assassinates her in one single hit. He tells everyone they are not close at all and she does not even know him. Bomb completely figures out that his mission somehow involved this woman. Since he is not finished helping her, he wants her to crash with them for a bit. If it is that simple, Yoram is totally chill with it, but the Golden Dragon loudly roars an objection, pure Ace Attorney style. KO complains that this place is supposed to be their safe haven, not a spot for some random person to just waltz into. It is so funny because even the Blue Dragon agrees with Kyle. Meanwhile, Yoram ironically calls them massive conservatives. Refuting that whole argument, Jite points out they literally have a janitor guardian living inside the house. The redhead and the others still loudly object to the main claim. Even Bomb ends up siding with the sisters. Her main issue is that the guest is a woman. Kyle stands firm, believing the vote proves them right, meaning this chick absolutely cannot stay here. Bomb decides to drag these problematic children away so our guy can finally wrap things up. Surprised by the sisters acting up, Yoram turns and asks Jite what his game plan even is. He honestly has no clue. He figures the only real option left is to take her someplace else. Fast forward to the following morning. Get ready for this, trouble is already brewing in their House of Dragons again. Pun fully intended. Yoram steps up to confront the woman. She's going absolutely crazy right now, aggressively threatening everyone with a literal wine bottle. Sepiel is completely furious. Meanwhile, Jite is chill as heck, even though bro literally kidnapped her straight to his house. The girl is super pissed about missing her clothes, while Yoram swears they did not do anything weird to her. That explanation is supposed to calm her down. Instead, it just triggers even more massive panic. Sepiel heavily flexes her superhuman status. Red Dragon quickly realizes this chick is straight up crazy. Right then, Jite gets a system notification. It confirms he has already extracted 10% of the lingering malice traces. Thanks to that extraction, a brand new truth is unlocked. Apparently, Sepiel is bound to undergo severe mental corruption. Her mind is going to be in absolute shambles until that dark energy fully subsides. Jite totally gets it. This is just a direct consequence of the malice acting up. Lunging aggressively at them, Sepiel tries to attack. Yoram asks for instructions, and our boy gives her full green light to beat the absolute crap out of this girl. Attacking totally blindly, Sepiel completely misses her target. Yoram easily uses that momentum to grab her wrist instantly, smacking her straight into the ground. That single tackle seems like enough, except Jite has to quickly cover Gyul's eyeballs because Yoram accidentally rips the clothes right off Sepiel. Flustered, the redhead throws a blanket on top, blaming Sepiel for charging so recklessly. Then she starts yelling at the stupid janitor guardian for not cleaning up already. Interestingly enough, the janitor completely rejects this request, stunning both of them. Wait, hold up. Enraged, the guardian shouts his only duty is protecting the green dragon, and he can actively sense Jite stole his sword. He demands it back immediately. Meanwhile, Yoram wonders what the hell is wrong with this rusty tin can all of a sudden. Right at this moment, Jite senses this thing is in the exact same condition as Sepiel. That means he was also exposed to the malice, suffering some heavy level of mental corruption. Setting the cute one down, Jite prepares to confront this complete idiot. The guardian blames his earlier loss on just letting his guard down, heavily emphasizing that it will not happen again. But before this dude can even finish his sentence, a swift karate chop knocks him out cold instantly. Tin can hits the floor, totally knocked out, and Yoram finally connects the dots. Both of these absolute clowns are dealing with the exact same sick condition right now. But one massive problem pops up. What do they even do with these dudes, since hitting a hospital is completely off the table? First off, Jite calls out her bratty behavior for partying all night. Yoram plays dumb, but he just tells her to grab a bottle and tag along with him anyway. He casually opens a portal, letting her know they are hauling both guys to a sick spot for some serious treatment. Next thing you know, we pull up to the underground labyrinth. The Red Dragon is hyping up how goated this spot looks, while Jite drops that this is actually his main base and recovery zone. She gets low-key creeped out seeing some shady jail cells in there, but Jite just tells her to keep it moving. Always quick on her feet, Yoram boldly asks if he plans to lock them up here if they ignore his rules. Hearing that straight up triggers another seriously dark memory for him. He flashes back to having the Red Dragon heavily tortured in a past life and exactly how much pure rage she held against him. Jite quietly murmurs that he is done with that. Then he finds another sketchy door. Yoram starts doubting if anyone actually lives down here, while Papa casually explains that they are just going to rent a room. Thanks to her crazy senses, she realizes an absolute beast is waiting inside. And guys, hold your breath for this, the Red Dragon gets totally shook when Jite drops that it is the second strongest man globally. Before she can even ask another question, bro just slams the door shut. And on the other side, he gets greeted by a monster throwing a massive punch. Jite does not even glance at the thing and effortlessly blocks the hit, roasting his buddy for such a toxic greeting. The guy chilling in wait is actually BM, clapping back that he literally never invited him over. We then get a quick backstory snippet of BM quietly sketching on his notes. But 40 years back, total disaster. He got caught in the sudden mass disappearance incident. Superhumans just vanished into thin air. And even though governments heavily investigated, they could not find a single clue anywhere. Those kids vanished for 15 solid years. Only one dude ever made it back. People named him BM, the first returner from a totally wild world called Arenu. This same dude ranks second among the most overpowered superhumans out there. Currently, mulling over the fact that our boy just sliced up his chimera so cleanly, Jite promises he can patch that ugly mob back up super fast. Basically, our guy purposely gave it a totally clean slice. BM patches up the chimera, asking why he even showed up. Jite casually says he needs a room in the labyrinth, which just creeps the guy out even more. At this point, BM heavily questions who Jite really is. But our boy skips the lore dump, just saying he has people he needs to treat for 6 whole months. BM is definitely not feeling generous, giving a hard 30-day deadline. Obviously, that is not enough time for Jite, but the more he argues, the more this absolute nerd keeps dropping the days. BM straight up mocks him for thinking there is anything useful left in this world, suggesting the exact loot he wants is chilling in another dimension. Flipping him the bird, this dude thinks he is already being way too nice to some random intruder who wrecked his prized chimera. Since BM refuses to play along, Jite completely roasts him for acting like the main boss of the labyrinth before threatening to trash it all. Basically, bro will just keep griefing the whole base if this nerd ignores the timer. Completely tilted, BM pops his powers for a real showdown, promising Jite is going to deeply regret trying him. He drops a skill called Ahelia's Curse, ranked an insane AA+ tier. Our boy honestly wonders if this guy wants to nuke his own base, but BM flexes such god-tier control that he is super confident about only sniping Jite. The freaky arm extends to grab its target, but Jite absolutely refuses to move. He literally just glares at the massive limb, freezing it completely dead in its tracks. His raw aura leaves BM totally stun-locked, unable to move his arm and wildly guessing about illusion magic. But nope, the truth is way crazier. Get this, even the cursed arm of Ahelia is straight up buckling under pure primal fear. That demonic blood feels pure terror right now. And shockingly, BM never once experienced this. Not even during his boss fight against Oscar, instantly teleporting right behind him for the gank. Jite snags a weird tube, asking what bro is cooking up. He lightly tosses it around, threatening to smash it, making BM completely lose it. Bro heavily panics, since that is his priceless sample for crafting human-like chimeras. Jite is low-key interested, while BM desperately swears he has no evil villain plot to conquer the world. He honestly just wanted to spawn a backup clone for whenever things got way too sweaty. That is exactly why he is sweating buckets and just wants Jite to drop it. Too bad bro was completely capping because our guy popped his special eye skill to fact-check him. He almost shatters the vial, forcing a terrified BM to spill the actual lore. Jite just plays dumb, completely ignoring the lore drop. All he really cares about is securing that room. BM totally drops his ego, letting him use the spot for as long as he wants. Jite promises he is only going to crash here for up to a year. They are stashing one magic armor user and a superhuman in this location. Both of them are totally corrupted. Because of that, BM plans to check on their status constantly, but then he spots a random bottle left behind. Jite casually mentions this stuff is way better than the trash drink he had earlier. Popping open the vial, BM is absolutely shook by the crazy mystical properties inside it. He yells out to Jita. His face is completely blown away, begging to know exactly where the guy managed to find this insane substance. Meanwhile, the tiny blue dragon is guarding the door, totally refusing to let Yoram and her bratty attitude step inside. It is honestly hilarious that one literal baby is enough to keep her benched. Gyul even starts roasting Yoram for totally ignoring the mister and his clear instructions. The best part is she cannot even bully her crazy style like she did with Kale. She tries throwing wild threats, but this tiny murder machine will not budge. This just pisses Yoram off even more. She thinks she is missing out on some god-tier Baki-style showdown. After all, the absolute strongest in their family is throwing hands with the second strongest superhuman. She is hyped for an Avengers-level clash, but Gyul literally could not care less about it. You gotta love this chaotic family dynamic. The little girl stands on business, mentally torturing Yoram, who realizes nobody here has ever touched grass. Suddenly, a big brain plan hits her. Looking right at little Gyul, she points out how sad the baby is since Jite never gets a chance to play with her. The Red Dragon negotiates a super slick deal. She promises to convince him to take them on an exclusive solo trip together. They will hit up amazing snowy mountains and feast on top-tier ramen. Little Gyul is totally sold. That thought gets the kid incredibly hyped up, just enough for Yoram to swap their spots and immediately sprint the hell away from her. But the second she tries grabbing the door, Jite bashes it open and knocks her straight on her ass again. She is incredibly salty. She completely missed the epic fight. Papa over here shoots that rumor down immediately instead, tossing her a rare chance to brawl with the man himself. BM steps up right then, casually warning her that he literally never goes easy on his opponents. For this crazy red dragon, that is exactly what she wants. She steps into the spar, absolutely hyped out of her mind. Chugging his drink from earlier, BM scoffs. That perfectly rich scent does not even exist on this planet. It means the liquor came from Erend, the exact place he completely vanished to for 15 whole years. He is completely floored that Jita scored something you literally cannot even find on Earth. Bro is down bad and straight up kissing the bottle right now. He is so incredibly hyped he would gladly lend the room for 10 whole years. Jite heard the loud noise outside and decided to cash in a quick favor. And that is exactly what BM is doing right now. the second strongest superhuman facing down a hyped little girl who just wants to play. My guy thinks it makes a super sick pastime while he scopes out the room. BM also officially finds out these wild girls are his daughters. Jitae confirms it straight up while little Gyul shyly avoids making eye contact with their new friend. Back with Yoram, she is totally geeking out, showering him with massive praise. She explains how his pictures are literally going viral all over the globe. This actually makes him wonder if she views him as some goated cool guy. But she shoots his ego down immediately, calling him a straight-up loser gamer nerd. She just wants to know if he is stronger than Javier, a name he has not heard lately. BM remembers that the dude went blind, leaving him wondering what actually happened. The little girl completely plays dumb, though acting like she is entirely clueless. Watch him work this flex. BM confidently claims there are 5 superhumans who beat him, but he just happens to top them all. Bro is hardcore aura farming right now, and she completely falls for it. She honestly sees him as an absolute legend. The mad scientist drags her to his special combat assessment room. He definitely does not want any more of his valuable gear getting totally trashed. Before he can even shout start, Yoram charges a massively heavy fist and aggressively flanks him, but gets totally blocked. BM stares down at her ridiculously impatient rushed opener, but this is the exact fight she has been dying for, especially since she has only stomped absolute weaklings lately. BM really respects the hustle, immediately rushing to fight her with his own cursed arm. While their crazy epic duel pops off, things are way more chill on Jitae's end. He discovers the labyrinth room, popping a portal to easily transport both corrupted beings inside. He orders them to wait here until they heal up, and they surprisingly actually listen. Then our guy turns around, spotting the Crystal of Paradise, an epic object he has greatly missed seeing. This wild artifact is forged in a dimension totally beyond their basic understanding of magic. It is designed to keep humans completely satisfied and full, but that exact same joy is entirely manipulated and forced. Like back in one of his past lives, Jay actually had to lock the red dragon in here for a bit. He was hoping to cap her rage. But Yoram was hurting so insanely bad, she straight up begged him to end her. That whole setup totally bombed. Still, he is actually pretty hyped for these two now. Just a tiny bit of crystal exposure has Gyul acting completely unhinged. It is hilarious. Then we jump home with Bomb clutching the baby dragon, finally realizing what caused this huge mess. Jay drops the news that the janitor guardian is gone for a while. Gyul thinks that is totally lame. Yoram suddenly loses her mind, screaming at the kid for trying to stick so close to him. Taking one look, Bomb instantly knows some wild stuff went down. The red dragon is visibly busted up. Jay just reflects on how this girl got completely curb-stomped and humbled. Meanwhile, back in her room, Yoram is heavily sulking over that epic L. Taking such a miserable beating physically makes her sick. It forces her to accept there are absolute units out there way stronger. Gyul casually rolls up and spooks her, making her trip and smack her head hard. Yoram explodes, demanding the brat read the giant sign outside and learn to knock. But the kid is really just here to collect on their deal. All that talk about sledding and noodles has to be backed up right now too. Yoram clocks that she means the entire trip, but she calls absolute cap, claiming Gyul totally cheated by not dodging. She flops back onto her bed. No way is she begging Jay, especially since their bargain totally fell apart. Making things worse, Yoram commands the little kid to go touch grass since she's already absolutely fuming. So Gyul busts out her absolute most goated ultimate move, I will literally cry if you refuse to help. Yoram instantly gets hit with guilt. Next thing you know, she is setting up a meetup with Papa. Gyul takes the lead, shyly asking if he has time to kill tomorrow. Cut to BM's dusty lab where his chimera is sweeping up like a pro-maid. This total alcoholic goofball is already regretting chugging half the stash. But Jay's actual identity is bugging him way more. After all, the dude randomly snagged Arendot's liquor and knows a crazy amount about chimeras. Putting the vial down, BM figures this guy has to be a returner too, spawning from the exact same world. That is totally the only reason a guy like him rocks such massive dark circles. BM gets super hyped. He plans to grill him the very next time they cross paths. Interestingly enough, the chimera spots a stray hair. BM instantly clocks it as Jay's. This is a sick drop for the nerd, giving him fresh material for a brand new lab experiment. Creepy science guy aside, let us get back to Gyul's cute request. Her papa confirms his schedule is open, asking what she wants. Scraping together all her courage, the blue dragon totally throws Yoram under the bus to handle all the talking for her. Jay is not having it, calling out the red dragon for making a literal kid spit out that dialogue. Gyul stares at Yoram, completely hyped. Her eyes are just glowing with pure trust, expecting her sister to follow through. The red dragon forces a smile and completely ruins everything by asking the guy out on a literal date. Funniest part, bro actually accepts the offer, leaving Gyul's hopes totally in the dirt. The poor girl is absolutely crushed. Meanwhile, this dude is genuinely down to give her a rematch against BM. Yoram turns him down hard. She tells him to take the blue dragon out instead since she clearly wants it. Plus, she needs to discuss something heavy and personal the second he gets back. Dead silence drops the moment Yoram walks out. Jay asks Guel what the plan is. The little blue dragon turns bright red and begs to go sledding. Now check this out. We cut straight to the Himalayas where these two are bombing down a mountain having insane fun. Our main guy is entirely unfazed like usual, literally bouncing off the mountain edge without a single care in the world. The insane drop gets the kids super hyped right before they touch down with a heavy crash. JL actually thinks the whole thing is sick, even with her legs completely numb from terror. Jay scoops her up onto his back, checking if this feels better. Gale just covers Bro's eyes, completely blinding him. Instead of letting up, the cute little marshmallow covers his nose and eventually blocks his mouth too. It is just an incredibly wholesome moment. By nightfall, this absolute duo finishes off a massive heavy meal. The craziest part is how this tiny dragon binge-ate 20 entire packs of ramen all by herself just now. Gil just stares at his socks from the sidelines. Jay asks what her deal is, and like a hyped toddler, she tries yanking them right off. Playing the responsible dad, Jay tells her to chill out and drop the filthy socks. She wants to mess with his hair instead. But tragically, Gil admits she already ended up losing the strand she had. She literally hits him with the puppy eyes to apologize, keeping the kid totally happy. Bro just plucks another hair strand for her, strictly warning her this is the absolute last time. He tells Gil to stop using middlemen for playtime and just ask him directly. He is absolutely always down to make time for his favorite kid. The baby dragon is absolutely hyped to hear that and crashes hard with her teddy bear. Seeing her sleep so peacefully, Jite suddenly remembers something wild. Today is the exact day this little blue dragon gets her very first divine revelation. Here is the lore drop. Every single dragon finds their own core values through their environment. Green dragons are all about art and crafting. The Gold Clan basically cosplay as gods, and the Red Clan, straight up bloodthirsty warriors living for the battlefield. But the blue dragon is just built different, totally free with zero preset life goals. Instead, the second that kid hits 80 days old, they get a massive revelation directly from the previous lord. If you are confused, think of it exactly like the Avatar state. All those past lives link up to hand out epic quests. These assigned tasks literally become their entire lifeline, their ultimate destiny. Right now, Guel sinks deep into the abyss alongside a past lord, some supreme blue dragon, calling her his own child. She hears this totally unfamiliar voice echoing out. It sounds super soothing, which is crazy, considering it comes from a literal god-tier beast. This absolute unit is supposedly her grandfather. He welcomes her warmly, giving huge props for living such a happy life. Guel nods right along. She confirms somebody out there genuinely wants her happy, and she wants the exact same for him. Hearing that, the old guy explains she has a seriously heavy mission ahead. The future looks completely pitch black. She might actually lose people along the way. But when things go south, this girl absolutely has to protect what matters most. Also, that massive dragon just shape-shifted into a human to give the animators a break. Guel clearly doubts her own low-level strength, but Grandpa taps her chest. Her heart is the radar for who to protect and exactly how. With that kind of solid willpower, she will definitely succeed. Long story short, Guel gets one single revelation: protect her absolute favorite people at all costs. The tiny kid catches one ridiculously simple mission, and with that settled, the grandfather dragon straight up vanishes into nothing. Rocking this fresh resolve, little Guel prays to get insanely strong so she can shield her fam. Cut to a random coffee shop. Jide is having a low-key meeting with his shadow, who apologizes for slacking on the job lately. But our guy strictly wants the tea on invisibility right now. The shadow mentions Melicia's ball, supposedly this crazy rare dungeon tier that is famously goated and completely brutal to clear. Nobody knows which trial sits inside which room. Even the most cracked top rankers literally gamble their lives just entering. Get this, Lair actually plans to host the senior event inside that death trap. Meanwhile, Invisibility wants to spam followers to craft more demonic humans, their endgame plan pushing Wei Yan straight to the absolute top. Jite is honestly pretty intrigued by the hustle. The shadow drops rumors about Invisibility panicking hard over the whole Prototype X disaster. Basically, everyone is sweating trying to find whoever packed up Prototype X. They even slapped a massive bounty right on our boy's head, a bounty of 15 top-tier mana stones. Luckily, absolutely nobody knows Jite actually did the deed, so he tells his shadow to just lock in on Russia and Wei Yan going forward. Plus, he really needs all the leaked details about that festival. The shadow takes the gig, but he is super confused about why Guel is acting so incredibly sus over in the corner. Even our boy cannot figure her out. She has been on high alert ninja mode ever since catching that wild revelation. Suddenly, a random ping drops from the Lair department. He is pretty clueless about it until he gets home and tells the girls they have mandatory chaperone counseling coming up. Turns out all three girls need a sit-down talk. Poor Guel desperately wants in, but Yoram roasts her for not even touching grass at school yet. The redhead is acting super aggressive today, dragging Jite away for a totally private one-on-one chat. That instantly nukes the vibe for the other sisters right on the spot. Since Yoram is up first, Jite brings up her recent panic, asking if she is actually sweating something. They sit down, and the red dragon straight up admits how painfully weak she feels. Not gonna lie, even Bro is pretty bummed hearing this. He tries reassuring her that Bomb is just insanely cracked for her tier. But Yoram does not even care about that. She just violently hates that wiping the floor with those students actually required her literal dragon stats. In other words, she had to tap into her dragon heart, almost accidentally dropping a full-form reveal. The win just felt like a massive L for someone her level. Comforting her, Jite points out she is already way too overpowered. The blood running through her veins is far from normal. Basically, he calls her incredibly lucky. She has this goated ability to absolutely dominate just because of how she was born. Forcing an evolution means fighting her own nature, a seriously heavy price to pay. But Yoram could not care less about the future. All this girl wants is to be an absolute menace right now. Scribbling some notes down, he offers to give her a real shot during the upcoming school break. The redhead looks totally lost until he spells it out. Jite is going to personally train her to reach the next tier. This is literally the offer of a lifetime. But instead of being grateful, this cocky brat thinks she is doing him a massive favor by becoming his student. Up next is the Golden Dragon. This popular idol girl straight up tells him she actually enjoys school and hanging with friends. Since she is perfectly fine, Jite asks her to send Bomb in instead. But Kale asks for a last-minute favor. She wants to join a dispatch mission. Apparently, the academy sends students to military bases, and she is super hyped to go. When he asks why the Golden Dragon shares that volunteer work and meeting new people sounds like a total vibe to her. She also heard she could put on live performances for the soldiers out there. It totally matches her nature, though she figures he would shut it down. Papa Jite actually considers it, saying they will hash out the details later. In his mind, he realizes her desires perfectly match a Golden Dragon's true nature. Finally, we get to Bomb. He asks how she is holding up. The Green Dragon casually mentions her entire life revolves around taking care of herself and her sisters. When he asks if she needs absolutely anything, Bomb assures him she hates creative stuff, mostly because of her deep ties to her clan. Surprisingly, she is the first one to flip the script and ask if Jite needs anything. This girl is out here making the wildest moves. She snatches his clipboard, teasing that maybe he just needs some love. Jite tries wrapping things up, but Bomb refuses to quit. She is so insanely bold, she straight up sits on his lap. He awkwardly has to remind her that normal people do not act like this. He even tries weaseling out of it, claiming his knees hurt so she should get off. She just laughs, scribbling notes on the clipboard and calling him a fragile old man. Jite tells her to stop. But this girl is bold as hell, demanding to stay this dangerously close instead of backing off. She literally grabs his hand right there, flat out confessing she wants to be much closer to him. Bomb leans her face right up to his, whispering that he can pull away any time. Get ready for this. The office chair completely tips over, sending these two crashing to the floor. Bomb lands right on top, casually asking if she is too much to handle. Jite is lying there completely stunned, looking like his soul just left his body. Meanwhile, her heart is racing right against his chest. Just as she is about to drop something huge, another dark vision hits her. This time, it features the absolute scumbag who stole our guy's happiness the first time. Right then, little Guel awkwardly stumbles into the room, staring at the adults on the floor. Jite tries explaining that Bomb attacked him. She quickly covers his mouth, insisting it was just a harmless little prank. Bomb apologizes for scaring her, but Guel actually wants in on the action. She wants to try this whole counseling thing for herself. Jite reminds her she does not even go to school. Look at that face, though. She's clearly jealous as heck. The spring dragon quickly rushes out to prep dinner, but she stays silent, the words dying in her throat because of that sick vision she just saw. The Academy announces its massive year-end festival, instantly grabbing attention from the entire world. Behind the scenes, corruption is off the charts. Governments, top guilds, and elite families are all pouring money into this event. Wei Yan takes the podium, announcing the festival will drop inside the Militia Masquerade dungeon. Reporters nervously ask if that dungeon is too hardcore for students. Wei Yan smirks, swearing this current batch is insanely stronger than last year's roster. Produce? This squad blends students with actual elite rankers from top-tier guilds and powerful families. Pay attention to this snake. He claims they spent forever preparing, telling everyone to get hyped instead of worrying about the danger. Meanwhile, our guy's teaching assistant is watching this exact broadcast from his couch. Kwok Pan Wei is absolutely terrified of working under him. Hashimoto agrees, noting how brutal Wei Yan was for destroying his arm. All their toxic hatred is aimed directly at X, the mysterious guy who totally ruined their villainous plans. Still, Kwok Pan Wei believes they can fix this mess once the master plan pops off. If Wei Yan secures a real seat of power, they finally get some respect. Both lackeys just pray the festival prep goes down without a single hitch. Panay almost drops a massive spoiler, but he completely chickens out at the very last second. But this seductress pushes him to spill the tea, literally using her thick thighs to short-circuit the guy's brain. The thirst takes over entirely and his face turns completely red. Panay finally caves in, just praying. She keeps her mouth totally shut about it. Turns out they want to recruit 2 disaster-class demonic humans and 1 calamity class for the upcoming ball. Hashimoto gets super hyped and immediately asks for their names. He only manages to drop Hagawa as a name before Panay gets a super sudden phone call. You might be wondering who this chick even is. Turns out she is Jidei's goated shadow servant, calling in to confirm she just secured some insanely critical intel. Back at the crib, Gold and Blue are just vibing while Jidei throws on a sick-suit, clearly getting ready to head out somewhere important. They are completely clueless. Kayul asks if he has a wedding today, but our Korean John Wick drops a cold response he is attending a funeral instead. Walking outside, dark memories of Hagawa start flooding his mind. This is the exact same bastard who literally tortured him in one of his past lives. While Mr. Hot Guy minds his business, the entire crowd is completely fixated on a gorgeous woman who looks straight out of a movie. It is actually Bomb spotting him from afar, even though he tries his hardest to dodge her gaze completely. Acting totally head over heels, she speed walks to catch up while he flat out asks why she is dressed up so fancy today. Turns out Bomb wanted to match his drip perfectly, using her crazy future sight to know exactly what kind of suit he would wear. Such a cheeky flex. Jitei plays it cool and tells her to go home, which is the exact response she already predicted would happen. Bomb doubles down and obviously says no, making it clear that he totally needs her backup. But the cold-hearted Jidei just glares at her angrily, causing Bomb to dramatically crumple down and start weeping for him to just come home. Dropping the tough guy act, Jitei straight up admits he's going on a hit mission, emphasizing that he is honestly not a good dude. In fact, he's only going to keep stacking bodies, and his execution methods are going to get way more messed up every single time. That is exactly why he refuses to let the Green Dragon witness such gruesome stuff. So he pushes her to head home right now. Instead of backing down, Bomb claps back that as a proud Green Dragon clan member, she literally has the ability to peek into the future. But the worst part is being totally helpless about those visions. Like recently, she foresaw a deeply troubled kid ending his own mother despite her spending 2 whole decades caring for him. The outcome was insanely brutal, yet she could not do a thing. But when it involves him, she wants to go all out. She desperately wants to help, just like that epic time they saved a woman together. Hearing that speech, Jitei actually lets out a heavy sigh and somehow ends up caving in for the very first time. He sets a strict rule about sending her home if she ruins the mission, leaving an overly hyped Bomb looking happier than she ever has. The scene then shifts over to Kyoto, Japan, where that absolute creep of a puppet master Hagawa is currently gearing up to head out. Fast forward to a crazy luxurious grand hotel. Jitei and his gorgeous date step inside the massive hall, immediately spotting tons of high society couples just bawling out. She is genuinely shocked that this high-class venue is the exact spot for his big upcoming death match. Even though she caught some fuzzy glimpses using her future sight, seeing this place in person hits completely differently. So it still feels super overwhelming and weird knowing an epic brawl will break loose right here. Jitei pushes forward, telling her to stay frosty because enemies are definitely lurking, even if she cannot sense any demonic humans in the area yet. Out of nowhere, a blonde chick in a flashy red dress pulls up, openly expressing her weird interest in Jitei's family line. The guy smoothly lies, claiming he belongs to the Konoe family, the exact same shady clan famous for operating in total secret. The blonde flirts back, saying she had zero clue that family produced such total eye candy, which instantly makes Bomb low-key jealous. The blonde boldly asks him for a dance, but he shoots her down immediately, claiming he literally has 2 left feet. The woman is totally chill about it and even offers to lead the dance just for his sake, only for Bomb to forcefully barge in, grabbing her arm before clinging to him, boldly announcing they already have a dance planned. Now, that is one savage way to humiliate the blonde. The rejected girl is left absolutely fuming and storms off in pure frustration. Check this out. Meanwhile, Bomb is genuinely hyped for a dance and begs him to join in. She claims blending in is the smartest way to dodge enemy suspicion, basically using this entire assassination mission as her perfect excuse to get close. Since Jitei is completely mission sexual, he just agrees to the job and finally locks hands with her. The rich crowd around them immediately starts gossiping. Everyone is totally starstruck by these 2 insanely gorgeous figures completely stealing the spotlight. The girls are simping for the dude while the guys want the gal. Jitei smoothly twirls her around as Bomb praises his surprisingly sick dance moves. Jitei tells her to focus up on the mission, so she confirms there are still absolutely 0 signs of any demonic humans nearby. Since everyone here seems totally normal, she asks him for more details on the exact kind of target he is hunting. Jitei drops a hint the guy plays music and loves pretending to be an artist. Speak of the devil, the man himself finally pulls up to meet the second son of the Konatsuki family. Hasegawa plays the chill organizer role, apologizing for totally crashing their fancy dance session. He also notices the gorgeous Bomb, who introduces herself as Haru, basically his personal secretary. The spring dragon hypes up the old man for his sick music, while Hasegawa acts super humble around her. Leaning in close to Jide, she insists on being the power couple that completely steals the spotlight tonight. Hasegawa just laughs, joking that he will have to greet her as the official mistress next time. Our boy thinks she is doing way too much right now, but the spring dragon teases him, telling him to fix that awkward face. Brushing that off, our guy asks the old man when his gig begins, finding out it is basically starting right now. Bomb is hyped to hear this live, while the old man seriously hopes his track leaves a permanent mark. With him gone, she totally realizes Jite wants to smoke this dude, except that is the real tricky part. This guy is straight up immortal. The catch is that every single resurrection costs him a solid 10-year wait. Now, Jite originally planned to nuke this entire party alongside the fat old man, but he's totally fine letting this little entertainment play out first. Bomb cannot even process his logic right now, while Hasegawa takes center stage to perform. The green dragon is out here in full baddie mode, fully invested, and finding a surefire way to pack this old man up for good. As for Hasegawa, he eyes his piano before committing to his sneaky plan. Fast forward to later tonight, Jite waits for Bomb to finish up, but she is busy throwing up her guts in the bathroom. He assures her she can still back out. Turns out she got heavily triggered by that cursed performance. Our guy honestly thinks this toxic environment is terrible for someone like her. Even with insane luck, she needs a reality check. This place is full of absolute scumbags, definitely not for an innocent soul like hers. It really makes him wonder why she forced herself to tag along when she does not deserve this. Bomb thinks about it before dropping a totally wholesome confession. She just does not want him feeling alone. Jite completely misses the vibe, emphasizing that he will easily find a way to permanently kill Hasegawa. Bomb finally steps out of the restroom, revealing she was actually busy cooking up a massive plot. Flashing a confident smirk, she promises Jide that Hasegawa will play his absolute final gig tomorrow. And skipping to the next day, the old man is ready to play again. He drops a custom track that gets the whole crowd cheering. The second he hits the keys, his wild music forces these humans to completely lose their minds. Jite and Bomb just stand there unfazed. To kick off their plan, the Grim Reaper tells her to brace herself, because what she is about to see is hands down going to be her absolute worst memory yet. He drops his wine glass, shattering it completely and instantly drawing the creepy stares of every single mind-controlled puppet inside. Hasegawa targets both of them, totally raging that someone actually had the guts to interrupt his goated performance. Check this out. While the whole room goes nuts, our duo stays completely chill. Looking closely, Bomb realizes 0 people here are actually alive. Flashing back just a minute earlier, Jite asks her if the fancy gala guests are dead on arrival. The girl confirms his suspicion, calling them straight-up meat puppets, being controlled by Hasegawa. When our boy asks how she knows for sure, she flexes her dragon biology. Just by touching someone, she can instantly scan if they have a pulse or not. Touching one of the girls earlier, she felt a tiny spark of life, which totally creeped her out since only their literal ears were actually alive. Our boy casually drops that this freak has a sick hobby of collecting human ears, meaning he literally glued them onto corpses, turning them into weird acoustic puppets forced to stream his tracks. Jite realizes he speedran his past lives, always killing Hasegawa before ever discovering this crazy secret. Bomb brings up Hasegawa's immortality glitch, explaining exactly how actual demon contracts function. She draws a quick diagram. Basically, if a demon fails its quest post-transformation, it gets forced into a gnarly molting phase. She happily pitches a master plan to ruin him, and our boy is fully on board to make Hasegawa reveal his hidden final form. So they lock in on Bomb's galaxy brain strat. Back in real time, Hasegawa slams the piano shut, absolutely screaming because they ruin his set. He orders his mindless mobs to slice off their ears, and the zombie crowd lunges forward like starving animals. Trapped on all sides, Bomb calmly asks Jite if this is the hardcore reality he always lives in. He just nods. The girl closes her eyes and locks in. She wants to experience his brutal reality firsthand, totally refusing to just get hard carried in the backline. A massive burst of invisible pressure violently yeets the walking corpses backwards. The girl stands tall with her hair flying as glowing magic circles spawn everywhere. She pops her ultimate skill, Draconic Tongue. This absolutely broken ability shakes the entire venue, chaining the zombie horde to the floor with pure magic. Hasegawa cannot even escape, these chains left completely frozen in place. Bomb tells Guy she is going to hold the puppet army back so he can strictly focus on the master. Our boy just nods and dashes straight at his main target like a literal dark streak of death. Hasegawa struggles for absolutely nothing against those glowing magic circles. He hisses and roars, claiming this magic cannot stop him. But that violent demon energy starts completely burning Bomb out, and her dragon scales actually begin to fade away. Seeing her seriously wobble, Guy realizes she is way too young to handle a demon like Hasegawa entirely on her own. Those walking corpses totally take this chance to rush forward. But our guy just swings his sword, throwing out dark streaks of light that slice the air and knock every enemy back. He just stares coldly at Hagawa. The dude is seriously still screaming about his ruined performance. The puppet master threatens to chop off their ears, making them permanent members of his sick audience. Then he straight up switches into his molting state. He drains raw energy right from his puppets to buff himself up. The dragon magic completely shatters and Bomb hits the floor, totally wiped out by that demonic energy. She pants heavily and apologizes for not holding the magic up any longer. But Guy gently tells her she did more than enough. As she looks up, Bro starts farming insane aura, telling her to just kick back and leave it all to him. Meanwhile, Hagawa crazily lunges forward. He screams that their very presence is just annoying noise, insulting his goated art. Bomb desperately warns our hero as the demon closes in fast, but it honestly seems like it is a little too late. Even the puppet guy thinks he took the W. That is until he hears Guy casually talking about some ancient traditions slicing off the ears of nobles. He asks the man if this is actually where he got his sick inspiration bluntly, adding that his music absolutely sucks. This puppet guy is definitely not letting anyone talk trash about his music. But before he can even yap, his head gets cleanly chopped right off his neck. The sheer power behind that slash actually makes the skyscraper shake, leaving Hagawa's headless body just awkwardly standing there. His severed head completely rolls across the floor into a nasty pool of black blood. Our boy stands there looking dead inside. Playtime is officially over. As Guy casually stomps the head to a halt, Bomb looks at him and finally realizes just how insanely overpowered this guy really is. When she calls out, he quickly assures her the puppet master absolutely will not die from just this. Right on cue, Hagawa starts laughing. He admits our boy must know him pretty damn well. Having power that easily surpasses most superhuman rankers, plus knowing his secret identity, that can only mean he is literally X. The demonic guy immediately starts pressing him about his endgame goals. He comments that Guy must be trying to achieve world peace or something cringe like that. But our boy totally shuts him down. You are talking way too much for a corpse. Because his audience is dead, he cannot perform for them anymore, which means he is about to lose that sweet immortality granted by Amar Barca. This actually catches Hagawa off guard, heavily surprised that our boy even knows his master's exact name. Still, this boomer fully believes he hasn't lost quite yet, claiming he can just perform without any audience. Plus, if the crowd leaves because his performance is mid, he can always just improve and forcefully make new audience members. With that nasty threat, the guy fires off a crazy series of strings from his decapitated body, launching them straight towards Bomb. The girl is way too stunned to react, getting totally wrapped up before doing a thing. Hagawa smirks, admitting Guy might be ridiculously strong, but his little sidekick is straight up weak. No matter how insanely strong someone is, as long as that human nature stays intact, they can easily be controlled. Bro honestly thinks he just outsmarted our boy. He starts yapping about how love is the exact reason for his massive downfall. If Guy touches him, he kills the girl. But if Guy just stands there doing absolutely nothing, the girl will straight up kill him instead. The only choice left is to either self-delete or pack up his girl. But honestly, this poor Ankh has absolutely zero clue who he is actually messing with right now. As Bomb completely charges Guy holding a sharp piece of glass, he just stays totally nonchalant. He casually mentions the puppet master has a horribly toxic hobby. Then Guy suddenly whips his head toward him, totally glad that Hagawa hasn't changed one bit. The old man gets a literal jump scare. Before he can even process what that means, Bro gets completely teleported into the spirit realm. He starts sweating, wondering if this is all some crazy illusion. But Bomb suddenly appears behind him, revealing he is actually trapped inside her mind realm. Instead of being mind-controlled, she's actually the one completely controlling him through those exact strings. The old man finally realizes this girl is definitely not human. He tries frantically attacking her, but it is way too late to pull off a desperate move. Bomb drops the lore that her power actually comes from the legendary green dragons. Even if she is currently weak, she is never losing to some scrub like him. Hagawa remembers hearing about the green dragons, but he honestly always assumed they were just a total myth. With him completely hogtied, Bomb finally sets the record straight. He was dead wrong about her being Guy's lover, well, at least for right now anyway. The guy just starts screaming his lungs out as he gets teleported to yet another location. This time, he finds himself sitting on a piano inside a massive cathedral. Guy casually mentions that the hotel totally collapsed, so he brought him somewhere else to officially finish this sick performance. This is the exact same place where he previously puppeteered poor humans to brutally eliminate each other. Jite just stands there in dead silence as all those crazy memories come flooding right back. He casually announces this is the final curtain call for this demon. Hearing that, Hagawa just laughs. The dude reminds Jite he literally sold his actual soul to the devil just to make some beats. As long as the fans remember his sick performances, he stays immortal. Bro gets way too hyped up. He brags that since they survived listening to his track, he's basically impossible to kill. Our boy Jite suddenly lifts his head and admits the demon might actually be right. but that does not mean he is safe from catching hands in completely different ways. Next second, Jite straight up slashes off the demon's arms, noting that without hands to play music, his devil contract is totally useless. After completely dismembering him, Bro looks the demon dead in the eyes and orders him to play something. Higawa starts panicking hard, but he still thinks he can easily regenerate his limbs. Turns out Bomb's broken mana is totally blocking his body from healing up. Out of options, Hagawa starts aggressively smashing his face into the piano to play, but the devil is definitely not listening to that absolute garbage track. As a result, his contract gets instantly terminated and he burns to ash. Jite catches a flaming piece and tosses it right back. Catching his weird vibe, Bomb asks him what exactly went down in this place. Instead of answering, he playfully pinches her cheeks and warns her against doing dangerous stuff. Bomb complains that without her move, that dude would be alive. Our boy knows she is totally right. He pats her head, declaring it is officially time to head back home. Back home, we see her crafting a literal observation report in her diary. She jots down all the crazy details she has noticed about Jite lately. It mostly covers his chaotic personality and weird habits. She also notes down that he absolutely loved her bold dress. While Bomb is basically writing fan fiction about our boy, he walks right in and asks what she's up to. She panics, snatching the diary to hide it, which just makes him way more suspicious. When he demands to know what she was writing, she claims she was just drawing stars whenever she felt closer to him. Still looking skeptical, he decides to let it slide and leaves the room. Bomb exhales hard. She wonders what his deal is. He never used to care what she did. It makes her think maybe he is actually changing because of them. While she's zoning out, Gil sneaks into the room like a straight ninja and starts binge-reading her diary. Bomb totally freaks out until she sees it is just her little sister. After roasting her drawings, Gil shows off an ID she just swiped from their dad. Snatching the card away, Bomb tells her she needs to touch grass, stop stealing, and return it. But checking it out, she spots something wild on the card. This next part is crazy. We cut to the Global Superhuman Association headquarters. A guy watches a news report about some massive incident at a Kyoto hotel. Early signs point to a superhuman suspect. Jefferson Antonio, the association assistant, is getting incredibly frustrated listening to the news. He demands an explanation from Minamoto, the 13th ranked superhuman. Instead of answering him, she just looks away and stands there in dead silence. The dude keeps screaming his head off because they know zero about the incident or the culprits. Hearing him yap, she sighs and tells him he is being way too loud. That totally pushes Bro over the edge. He yells at her to find the people responsible immediately because his boss is demanding answers. Minamoto says she will handle it and starts leaving until he calls her back to show off a sketchy report dropped by some anonymous source. It is all about the Layer's end-of-the-year blowout at Malaysia's bar. The document claims something absolutely massive is going down there. Hearing that detail, she asks if demonic humans are involved, and Jefferson confirms it. Turns out a disaster class and a calamity class demonic human have literally infiltrated the entire alliance. That info finally grabs Minamoto's attention. She slams the table hard, asking if he can actually take responsibility for dropping that bombshell. He reveals the paper just appeared on his desk, meaning whoever dropped it was goated enough to sneak right past their security. At first, he thought it was just a prank, but looking closer, he realized the intel actually makes a ton of terrifying sense. Minamoto asks why he is dumping all this on her plate. He simply explains that Malaysia's bar sits directly inside Japan's territorial waters. According to their intel, the Balkan demonic squad is heading there right now. Her mission is to wipe out that threat completely. She has to handle it while they hunt down the moles inside the Alliance forces. The whole op is totally black book, no public leaks allowed. Walking away, Minamoto realizes this dude seriously disrespects the Japanese royal family, basically forcing them to clean up all his dirty work. Now watch how the pieces connect. Thinking over that report, she realizes it perfectly ties into Hagawa vanishing. Whoever flatlined him dodged Alliance tracking, proving they are incredibly skilled. She starts wondering if some shadowy organization is pulling the strings here. While she is deep in thought, her driver asks if he should rally up the squad, but she tells him to hold up and stay on standby. She's hitting up the assembly first. Meanwhile, the scene shifts right back to Jite's house, where our guy gets totally blindsided by the four dragons. Turns out it is his birthday, a secret bomb totally doxed from his stolen ID card. Kale proudly flexes the surprise. She hypes it up, mentioning it is her literal first time ever wishing someone a happy birthday in her whole life. Bro takes one look at her and realizes something hilarious. She's rocking the exact same dress Bomb wore to the ball. She admits she just wanted to look fancy for the party and snatched it from her sister. Though honestly, the chest area is a little too snug. While they keep yapping, Yoriam gets super annoyed and straight up calls the vibe cringe. Then out of nowhere, she launches into the air, cake locked in hand, completely ready to dunk that frosting straight into Jite's stoic face. We cut to a quick flashback. There she is, totally grinding through some insane one-armed reverse push-ups, absolutely drenched in sweat and gritting her teeth upside down. She mutters that she should probably just go touch grass and quit. To her, the whole thing feels totally bogus. A goated member of the noble fire dragon clan learning combat from some random human insane. She figures if the word ever got out, even a random stray dog would literally roll on the floor laughing at her. But then again, looking at our boy, she heavily doubts he is actually human. She knows her chances of actually beating him are literally zero. Even in an all-out death match, it is super frustrating. She just wants to troll him this one time to get a tiny bit of payback. That is exactly why the fire dragon decides on a birthday cake ambush. Right now, Jite is just casually holding little Gyul. Catching him totally off guard, Yoriam smirks. She thinks he is completely helpless since his hands are full carrying a literal kid. No defense possible. She screams out a happy birthday and lunges forward like an absolute missile. Meanwhile, our boy just stands there completely unfazed. He watches her fly at him with the cake, but little Gyul senses bad vibes. Suddenly, wholesome memories of her grandfather flash right through her mind. He always told her to protect what matters most to her no matter what. Taking that to heart, she instantly pops a magic shield around our hero. The attack gets completely denied. That cake soars right past him and lands smack in the middle of poor Kale's bewildered face. The entire room goes dead silent. Yoriam just scratches her head, actually feeling kind of bad about her wildly over-the-top prank. Putting that messy flop aside, the birthday party officially kicks off with a massive table full of top-tier food. After wiping her face clean, Kale quickly regains her chill and steps up to lead the gift-giving ceremony. Jite chills in his chair and coldly remarks that he is not some toddler who actually needs presents. Kale smirks and claps right back. She teases that at 27 dragon years, bro is basically still a literal infant anyway. Our boy grabs the very first present and asks who made it. Bomb simply smiles and happily takes the credit. Inside a slick red box sits a crazy classic silver pocket watch. And watch this, the exact second he touches it, his eternal clock skill alert goes absolutely crazy. He pops the watch cover open. Inside is this wholesome photo of the little dragon family hanging by the lake, tagged with the words fun times across it. Jide just stands there silently staring at the wholesome photo before dropping a quiet thank you. Next, Kale excitedly waves a pink piece of paper. She explains it is a custom wish voucher. She rambles about how he can make her do literally anything, calling it the most goated gift ever. But her face instantly goes pale when bro deadpan asks for straight cash instead of her little voucher. Yoriam absolutely cackles at her sister, roasting the gift as lazy. Now get a load of this, she digs into a bag, hyping up her own totally practical present. Her ultimate super practical gift from the fire dragon turns out to be an old, freshly washed white sock. The entire squad is left completely stunned. Yoriam happily flexes that she wears this sock constantly, but she made sure to wash it her special way before gifting it. At first, our boy feels totally confused, but the other sisters react like this is some incredibly massive deal. He suddenly remembers something weird. Even little Gyul sneaks curious looks at his socks sometimes. He straight up asks if socks hold some deep spiritual lore for them. Kale tries explaining, but her sister aggressively slaps a hand over her mouth. She frantically claims it means nothing and to stop guessing. Dodging the weird sock drama, she tells little Gyul to hurry up and drop her own gift. The super shy little girl slowly walks up to our boy. She softly asks him to just close his eyes. Jite actually listens, wondering what the kid is cooking up. When she tells him to look, he sees this sick little glass vial necklace hanging right on his chest. Bomb explains they carefully crafted it together. And here is the crazy part, sitting inside that tiny vial is one of Gyul's literal dragon scales. Plus, the entire chain is braided out of her own hair. Hearing that wild detail, Jite pauses, asking if exchanging hair carries some deeper hidden dragon lore. Bomb just waves it off, claiming there is zero hidden meaning. It just proves how much the kid adores him, so he better not ever lose that thing. Jite actually smiles and nods. He promises to keep her super precious gift completely safe. Kale stands there totally shook. She literally cannot believe this icy stoic uncle is actually out here smiling. After that, our guy tells the crew to hit the sack early. Then we cut straight to the freezing Marie Bird land down in Antarctica. It is the only slice of Antarctica no country actually claims, but some sketchy underground.org is building a whole secret base down there. Unlike the International Superhero Association, this squad is just a bunch of absolute beasts who only care about wiping out demons. You've got Minamoto in the mix, a prosecutor for the Japanese Imperial Special Mission Bureau sitting at 13th in the global rankings. Then there is BM, the very first dude to make it back from Arendot, holding that goated second spot in the worldwide hero rankings. Plus, Myung-Young-ha. He's a regeneration druid ranked 9th globally, straight out of a famous Korean magic clan. Right now, though, the man is bawling his eyes out and screaming for Minamoto. She walks into the room, lets out a massive sigh, and asks the scientist what is wrong with this dude now. Young-ha straight up collapses at her feet. He is sobbing uncontrollably because the doctor drops some completely insane news his wife is finally recovering after all these years. That wild update completely stuns the entire group. Everyone thought her illness was totally incurable. The ancient virus levels in her system are dropping super fast, a literal miracle that zero lab research could pull off over the last 10 years. Yang grips the hand of BM super tight, confirming this whole miracle is all thanks to the medicine he cooked up. BM totally downplays the hype. He claims the herb just acted like a crazy strong antibiotic to wipe out the virus. Younga desperately asks where he scored such broken medicine, pointing out that stuff like this was never even seen in Arendot. BM admits he got it from some random stranger on the road, but this guy was no normie, he was someone insanely overpowered. Now BM is seriously wondering if this powerhouse is the exact dude he was hunting for. Right then, Minamoto completely interrupts the moment. She pulls BM into a corner for a private chat. Youngha stands behind them, whispering that those two are going to fall in love and be happy. She just coldly congratulates him on his wife recovering and walks off. BM follows her looking totally confused, joking about whether she suddenly caught feelings for him. She shuts that down instantly. He is definitely not her type at all. Her face goes dead serious. She reveals this is actually about Hasegawa, a Calamity-class demonic human, and they head out into the hallway to talk. BM points out the obvious. The disappearance of Hasegawa and that sketchy report sent to the Hero Association headquarters, both the work of the exact same person. That report claimed a disaster-grade monster was going to show up, and Hasegawa definitely fits the bill perfectly. Minamoto sighs hard and admits it really looks that way, even if she is not 100% sure yet. For now, the association is just pushing forward with their big year-end event anyway. He told her to quietly wipe out the monsters swarming the area while they dig around for any hidden traitors inside the association itself. BM straight up laughs at that. He calls them complete idiots, and honestly, he is not wrong, saying finding anything would be a miracle. He points out that she and her squad are the only ones out here doing the actual heavy lifting, but he asks if she really has to keep Yonga in the dark. She fires back that this is a literal matter of life or death. It would just be way too messed up to force someone who barely survived 10 years of pure hell back into that nightmare right now. Hearing that BM asks since when she got so soft, he jokes that he is so touched he might actually cry. That seriously ticks Minamoto off. She threatens to straight up end him if he does not drop the stupid jokes immediately. He finally gets back on track. What does she actually need him to do? She wants him to help track down Hasegawa and trace that sketchy recent report. BM just pouts, reminding her he is definitely not some galaxy brain detective. But as he stands there thinking, you already know who pops into his head, Jite. As he heads upstairs, Minamoto asks if he just figured something out. BM flashes a huge grin. He definitely has one super suspicious guy in mind. Meanwhile, we cut all the way back to Jite, where the squad is still hyping up his birthday party. The grind is over. They finally polish off every single plate of food on the table. Kaio lets out a huge yawn, rubbing her stomach. She complains about being totally stuffed and sleepy before dragging herself off to bed. Our guy checks his watch, 1:45 in the morning already. He glances over and sees little Gyul literally nodding off in her seat. So he gently pokes her cheek, telling the kid it is finally time to hit the hay. Over in her room, Bomb is journaling, logging that it is December 12th, the birthday of Jite. Out of nowhere, the door swings open and he walks right in carrying Gyul. He asks if she is still up. Bomb instantly slams her diary shut, her face turning completely red. She yells at him for barging in without knocking, but he calmly explains he is only dropping Gyul off since they share the room. But as he turns to leave, little Gyul reaches out and grabs his shirt, begging him to stay and sleep there. He tells her he needs his own bed, leaving her pouting hard. Then Bomb suddenly steps up, asking Jite about his birthday present. Hearing that, you totally cave and all three of you end up crashing on Bomb's bed. You feel mad awkward since the bed is cramped as hell, but Bomb just roasts you for being built too huge. He catches Gyul staring wide awake, and Bomb explains the kid is just totally hyped to sleep right next to him. Chilling from the warmth of his hand, the little one totally knocks out with her thumb in her mouth. Catching that, Bomb hypes up his super soft hands, shook at how crazy fast the kid just speedran falling asleep. He tells Bomb to go to sleep too. Instead, she begs for his help, complaining that these sick and creepy prophecies keep crashing her dreams lately. The MC brushes it off as just some random nightmare, but Bomb claps back, reminding him he is literally her guardian and she is a kid. Her pouty vibe is too goated to ignore, so he finally asks what he should do. Bomb straight up takes his hand, presses it right to her cheek, and tells him to pet her exactly like he did with Gyul. Feeling how insanely soft she is, Jite completely short-circuits bro is blushing crazy hard. He quickly turns his head away. Claiming he is totally burnt out, our guy was basically forced to ghost this exact woman from his everyday life. Right on cue, his system pings him through the grand clock interface, confirming a target just caught a tiny fragment of malice. He actually feels pretty relieved. Why? This kind of crazy nonsense is completely his jam. Cut to a construction site. Some poor worker is getting absolutely bodied against a wall. Another dude steps up to complain. Are Superhuman Association members even legally allowed to pull this off? The attacker is a blonde muscle mommy who actually works for the association herself. She tells him to touch grass. She honestly has zero clue why she is attacking. Roid Rage hits her hard. She threatens to wipe him out. This aggressive squad is the 30-man Airborne Special Forces. This totally goated Global Superhuman Association unit is famous for dungeon raids. And fun fact, Geit was actually a temp here during his early life loops. He strolls into the construction zone and spots those two workers running away in terror. They tell him to bounce before things get too dangerous. But then a loud stomp echoes and the blonde woman suddenly pulls up. That is Balerion, the task force captain. She absolutely loses it on the old worker for being too slow screaming threats right at his face. The poor dude is literally crying and terrified. See, this task force was originally sent out to hunt down monsters over at Lair Academy, but they got completely infected by malice instead. The corruption straight up twists their personalities into super violent rage monsters. Jite realizes his own report caused this mess. He tells the old guy to dip and stay quiet while he handles the heavy lifting himself. Balerion spots him, clenches her fist, and demands to know who this scrawny brat thinks he is trying to block her path. She throws a sick punch, but our boy tanks it effortlessly with one skinny arm. He suddenly remembers Balerion grabbing his shoulder back in the day. She told him he was way too skinny for the squad and tried handing him some protein powder. Back in reality, he roasts her hard, saying she got buff, but her punches actually got weaker. She totally rages out. But Jite hits her with some insane pressure, wait for it, literally sending her flying into a wall with a casual flick. Watching their captain get totally wrecked, the meathead squad suddenly realizes this skinny dude is actually goated. Amped up on raw physical strength, they clench their fists and rush GT like absolute maniacs, completely ready to crush him flat. Our boy stays completely chill, as they swarm him, just letting out a quiet breath. He locks his eyes dead ahead. He dashes right in. Boom, a brutal knee strike straight to some random dude's face. Another guy sees this and swings a massive axe, but GT is way too fast and casually dodges the heavy blade. He immediately follows up with a heavy punch to the guy's jaw. The last dude still hasn't realized GT is built different and keeps charging. The guys scream out, convinced that even if this kid is strong, he cannot possibly survive getting jumped by all of them at once. Out of nowhere, our boy busts out a super hype move called Blade Guillotine Combat Arts. In a split second, he drops critical hits on the back of everyone's necks. He quietly mutters that he is actually feeling pretty rusty. Been a hot minute since he spammed this specific skill. The technique's side effects are super annoying, and he wonders if Urium will ever actually master it. Right then, a massive crate comes flying at his head. He calmly turns around and uses his bare arm to slice the heavy box perfectly in half. Varian wakes up, pulls out this goated level 3 relic called the Ruyi Jingu Nunchucks, and just full sends it at Ujite. Facing this brutal attack, our boy just uses one hand to block it like it's nothing. He straight up crushes the weapon barehanded, leaving the girl completely shook. Seeing her sitting there totally dazed on the floor, he steps forward, asking if she needs to go touch grass and calm down. The girl still cannot believe her eyes and asks who he even is. Jay tells her that is none of her business. He orders her to follow him obediently so he can actually cure her and her entire crew. That totally stings Varian's pride. Her face goes completely dark, asking if he seriously expects them to just surrender. Without hesitating, she rushes over and grabs him tight to pin him down. She calls Jay a totally arrogant villain and warns him not to underestimate them. She shouts that they are literal frontline warriors who do not fear death at all. Our guy says he has zero intention of killing anybody here, but the girl refuses to believe a word of it and tells him to shut up. She then orders her squad to stand up and fight to the bitter end for their pride. Seeing this group is totally hopeless, Jay flexes his power once more. He thinks about how their annoying personalities never changed, but honestly, that is exactly why he liked them. The very next second, countless souls pour right out of Jay's body, completely freaking Varian out. He looks the girl dead in the eyes and asks if she is finally ready to cooperate. Bro summons his stolen powers, including the Fallen Angel Legion, the Heavenly Eye, and the Shadow of the Grand Duke. Before long, he has the whole squad totally under control. He uses his Grand Clock authority to start cleansing the 30 contaminated targets. Right on cue, the system confirms traces from beyond the horizon are definitely present. The Grand Clock Authority collects all that surfaced malice, pushing his progress bar straight up to 15.3%. Once the process finishes, the glowing particles fade away. Jay wonders if 30 mentally contaminated people will actually fit into the lab, deciding he should probably bring some good wine to smooth things over. The scene shifts to BM's lab. We see the Chimera place a magic stone inside a level 4 artifact called Hera's Kaleidoscope. BM feels pretty hype, eager to finally test this machine out. He has been trying to study a strand of hair. Goulet lost, but normal equipment was completely useless. With this goated artifact, he is confident he can find the source of her power. While he works, a hand taps his shoulder from behind. Super annoyed, he says he is busy and tells the visitor to get lost. But the hand keeps annoying him, making him mad. When he finally turns around, he finds our boy just standing there holding a bottle of wine. He coldly notes that this must be where Ghoul's lost hair ended up. BM tries to make up some lame excuse. He claims he just found it on the floor while cleaning up, swearing he had zero bad intentions. Without a single word, Jay snatches the hair and destroys it. BM totally panics at the sudden loss, but quickly shifts back to business, asking what brings him around here. Our boy casually explains that he brought more corrupted people. BM happily accepts the wine gift, but when he looks back and sees a massive group of giant dudes sitting in rows on the floor, he is left completely helpless. He complains that 30 huge soldiers is way too many for this space. He realizes his lab is definitely going to need a major expansion. He sighs, feeling like Jay has made him a literal pack mule yet again. BM spots the badges on their clothes, realizing these guys are the Alliance's airborne special forces. He recalls Minamoto mentioning they were sent out to hunt some hidden monsters. As they all sit there, the girl shows signs of waking up and groggily asks exactly where they are. Jay cannot explain this easily, so get this, he stammers and totally lies, claiming it is a mental hospital and he is the head doctor. She looks over at BM and our boy quickly adds that he is the nurse. The girl recognizes BM's super haggard face. She is shocked that a famous high-ranked hero is basically working part-time as a freaking nurse. Jay cuts straight to the chase. He tells her they have to stay locked up here for 3 months to a year because their emotions are contaminated and totally uncontrollable. He warns Varian that if they leave right now, they will lose all control and hurt innocent people. Forced to accept this wild treatment plan, she asks for some space and workout equipment since they absolutely cannot lose their strength. BM gets heated, asking if she thinks his lab is a gym, but Jay puts a hand on his shoulder and cuts him off, telling her the nurse will prep everything for them. BM sighs at getting bossed around yet again. Our boy then glances over at the living armor and the captured girl, who are both busy cleaning up. He asks how they're holding up. BM admits the situation is pretty bad since the armor guy just deeply misses his old lady master. But the real issue is the girl. She has absolutely zero will to live right now. Hearing this, our boy walks over to the girl while the living armor quickly joins the commandos to lift weights. He gently asks if something is bothering her. She recognizes him and apologizes for causing such a huge scene earlier. He sits down with her and tells her to just let it go. The girl finally opens up, asking if these newcomers are from the Alliance. When Jay confirms it, she starts explaining her seriously tragic past. She actually used to work at a small countryside orphanage. Back during this massive flood, the other adults straight up bailed on her and the kids. She tucked the little ones inside and went scouting for monsters. The monsters totally missed the building, but a blinding flash of light just leveled the whole orphanage. Talk about an epic fail-friendly fire from the Global Superhuman Association. Artillery did it. Being the sole survivor, she blames herself, saying some dark entity possessed her right after. Jite asks if seeing the Alliance members triggers her, but surprisingly, she says no. Honestly, instead of feeling hurt, she admits she has been feeling weirdly happy since crashing at the lab. Sitting around cleaning and skimming boring magazines actually feel fun to her. She flops back on the floor, crying that a toxic person like her does not deserve to be happy or even keep living. Our boy stands up and bluntly tells her to just do it then, because staying alive means you gotta have something to look forward to. As he walks away, the girl wonders if he also has a reason to keep pushing. Jite looks down at the crystal on his chest, takes a beat, and replies that he is trying to do exactly that. Right then, Yurim strolls over and asks if they are done chatting. She tells the girl she overheard her whole depressed vibe and claims she knows the absolute perfect cure. The very next moment, the girl is struggling through a push-up while the squad yells that her trash physical stats are the real reason she wants to give up. Lacking gym gear, Yoram decides to start her off easy with bodyweight workouts, warning her no magic allowed so they can force her to touch grass and clear her head. The girl cries out in total despair, fully taking the L. Our boy tells the armor to watch over her, and the armor agrees. Bomb walks right up to Jite. She is super curious about how smoothly he answered those Alliance questions, deducing a Calamity-class demonic human is definitely crashing the year-end event. Jite confirms a massive boss fight is brewing and says he needs her help. Meanwhile, back at the penthouse, Kyle is hyped up, staring at a tiny yellow creature that literally looks like a baby chick. Then over at Lair Academy, Kaul and her classmates are happily strolling down the path. She's carrying her acoustic guitar case, wondering why their classes wrapped up so insanely early today. Her friend explains that a massive incident just went down at the mythical creature facility. These creatures are magically awakened animals packed with high-density mana, and some superhumans tame them for sick team-ups. Her friend points out that since the big disaster alarm is quiet, the escaped mob is probably no real threat. One classmate suggests they all head downtown to vibe at this cute new cafe, snap some photo booth pics, and hit up the local amusement park rides. Kaya looks down looking bummed, saying she does not think she can make it. Her friends instantly realize her guardian is way too strict, complaining that the guy is being totally overprotective. They figure he is just guarding her because she is so pretty promising to buy her a cute keyring so she does not feel left out. They wave goodbye and head downtown. Kale waves back with this huge smile, telling them to go have a blast. But the second they turn their backs, her smile completely drops. Walking alone, she tells herself Jite is just looking out for her since she gets super anxious in crowded, loud places even though she feels fine right now. Then that inner rebellious teenager energy flares up. She wonders why he hates her guitar playing so much, complaining she cannot even practice at home without walking on eggshells. She has zero clue Jite is actually deeply traumatized because she took her own life as a broken pop idol in past loops. She sprints through the streets, spinning around like a top in her adorable chibi form. She decides that if she cannot play at home, she will just play outside to show the world the true rebellious soul of a gold dragon. Soon enough, we shift to a quiet, sunlit forest where Kyle is chilling on a rock. She figures a low-key spot like this is perfect, since crowds freak her out. She unlatches her case, grabs her acoustic guitar, and plucks a single string. As she starts playing, little forest birds fly down to a nearby branch, chirping right along with the melody, while a tiny squirrel and a white rabbit gather at the base of her rock. But get this right, in the middle of her solo, a dark rustling sound creeps from the bushes behind her. Kaol totally freezes, eyes wide with panic. She senses a presence, instantly realizing this is not a normal person or some regular animal. Suddenly, a huge warning Jite dropped on her a few weeks ago flashes through her mind. He told her to bolt immediately if random creepy adults try handing her business cards outside. She instantly swings her acoustic guitar over her shoulder like a heavy club, screaming at the bushes that she does not want any business cards from a weirdo. The leaves part and a tiny, perfectly round yellow chick steps right out. Her eyes instantly turn into giant glittering gold stars the second it clicks. I'm just standing there thinking it's a cute chick. But Gale totally turns into a creep real quick, begging to literally pet the thing. The little bird takes one look at her unhinged face, drops a terrified peep, and absolutely dips. I watch Gale chase it through the woods, screaming that she just wants to look. This yellow bird is cracked, literally parkouring vertically straight up a massive oak tree. It hops onto a super high branch, completely out of reach, just chilling up there. Gale looks up completely shattered, wondering out loud if the poor bird actually hates her. Later that night, I'm at the mansion with the whole family having dinner together. Suddenly, Gale drops her chopsticks with a tiny click. She claims she has zero appetite and heads up to her room early, walking away looking super depressed. Her sisters and I just stare in pure confusion, considering she ate way more than anyone. Jay can tell the vibes are off and goes to check. He walks in and straight up busts her binge eating some random snacks. She plays it off, saying she randomly got hungry and even offers him a bite. He passes. Then he spots her tablet showing some article on bonding with birds. Gale admits she found a wild chick while out touching grass today, but it keeps dodging her every move. She sighs heavily. She's stressing about the freezing weather outside since the bird is stuck way up high. Hitting him with those puppy eyes, she asks for his go-to-social strategy for making friends. Our guy instantly remembers how he originally lured her with food. He basically gives her that exact same strat. She gets super hyped and promises to try it. Meanwhile, I notice that bird just chilling up high. Out of nowhere, it hears some cute kittens below. But the very next second, their eyes glow red and they violently lunge straight at it. The poor bird stands absolutely zero chance of reacting in time. A bunch of feathers just explode everywhere. Back with Gale, I see her sprinting around hyped, carrying a literal bag of fried chicken as bait. Jay swore the bird was probably starving, so she figured this fast food would secure the bag. But when she finally reaches that tree, the whole branch is totally empty. Scanning the area, she spots nasty bloody feathers scattered all over. Worse, the trunk is covered in deep claw marks and sketchy mana traces. She suddenly remembers her buddy talking about those crazy spiritual creatures that recently broke out of the local sanctuary. Gale connects the dots super fast and realizes the horrible truth. Over in Hyling's entertainment district, I catch those feral cats just absolutely bullying the chick. They have the little guy backed into a corner, completely refusing to let him catch a break. It actually asks them why they are doing this, since they all came from the exact same place. One cat just loses its mind in pure rage, screaming they are jealous. Apparently back home, the chick was the favorite and scored all the special snacks. They felt totally sidelined back then, so now they want some petty payback. Get this, a cat lunges forward, claws out for the kill. But Gale comes in totally clutch, literally throwing her own body in front of the attack. She tanks the hit just to keep the tiny bird completely safe from harm. Scooping up the chick, she immediately snaps at the cats for doing their own friends so dirty. Cats look visibly annoyed. They really do not want human beef right now, so they finally back off and leave. Once they dip, she drops a warm smile, explaining she actually tracked it by following its scent. She ignores her own bleeding cuts, saying they need to fix up its wounds first. The bird notices her damage, peeps out some chicken slang, and passes out. The next second, I see it chilling right on Gale's head, while Jay watches totally baffled. She breaks down the whole insane story, acting like those deep scratches are basically nothing. Jay roasts her for being wildly reckless, pointing out that chick is definitely not ordinary. While fixing it up, Bomb mentions hearing about the sanctuary breakout, guessing this bird is an escapee. Right on cue, the little guy pops his eyes open and starts chirping. Gale gets incredibly hyped seeing this. She jumps right up to grab some fresh water, but Goulet steps in, stopping her cold, deciding to just use her own flex magic instead. She basically spoon-feeds the bird, and one sip of that OP magic water completely revives it. Everyone loses their minds and quickly crowds around to watch. It actually introduces itself bowing to say thanks. Problem is literally nobody here speaks fluent bird. Everyone immediately turns to Jay for a translation. He just casually tells them it's saying thank you. It's looking especially thankful toward Gale considering she hard-carried its survival against those freaky villain cats. It bows down deep and they literally shake hands. Meanwhile, one is busy inspecting that cathedral piano. Right then, a girl strolls up mentioning that Hagawa completely vanished from this very spot. He actually calls her his elder and she smirks, guessing he is pretty hyped about finally ascending to a seat. Turns out this is Isel Khalifa, an absolute calamity-class demon. Wei Yan quickly apologizes. He admits he should have been paying way more attention since this mess is literally his job. Isel waves it off as fine. Honestly, she was getting super annoyed at him for constantly begging her to craft puppets anyway. While she yaps, Wei Yan spots her puppet holding a dude hostage. She explains they caught him hiding out in here, probably trying to call in some extra backup. This guy is actually the 14th ranked superhuman Edward Crane, famously known as the Hound. He shoots Wei Yan a totally disgusted look, straight up calling him a filthy traitor. Our guy literally could not care less. He just apologizes to Isel and promises to finish the trash off right now. But before he even steps closer, the superhuman pops his ability. He snaps back. Did this punk pretending to be a teacher at Lair really think he would win? Wei Yan completely freezes, shocked by the guy's insane speed. Before he can even blink, the Hound grabs him right by the throat. Even Isel looks a bit stunned. The Hound screams about taking him down together, but then his head violently twists around and just explodes into a total mess. A voice suddenly echoes out scolding Wei Yan for making a bloody mess inside his sacred cathedral. Wei Yan looks hyped as hell, seeing the guy who just walked in immediately greeting him as elder. The man smiles right back, noting that it has been a really long time. Turns out this absolute beast is a disaster-class demon named Noah. Wei Yan views Noah as a literal god among the demonic humans, the elites chosen by the Abyss to take a seat of power. Nobody knows much about this guy's past, only that he reached the absolute pinnacle of power way before ever being appointed to his high seat. Noah calls him a child, casually mentioning how he became the 5th sword of invisibility. Wei Yan drops to his knees, instantly playing humble and claiming he doesn't even deserve that title. Isel totally agrees with him. She roasts his skills, saying he almost got clapped by someone incredibly weak. Noah then calmly asks how their dead friend figured out about today's super-secret gathering here. He definitely was not flying solo, meaning he was likely following strict orders from the Alliance. Isel lets out a huge sigh. It is crazy how the Alliance knows everything about them while they know absolutely zero about their enemies. Getting pretty mad, she demands to know what Wei Yan has even been doing undercover inside the Alliance all this time. Wei Yan frantically apologizes to both of them, shifting the chat to their upcoming event. Noah makes it crystal clear he wants zero trouble today. As they walk away, Isel tells Noah he has gotten way too soft. He really should have chopped off Wei Yan's arm to teach him a permanent lesson. Meanwhile, this dude is practically pissing himself from sheer fear and rage toward our boy, the real mastermind behind all of this chaos. Back at the academy, his head teaching assistant looks ridiculously stressed after finding out their entire plan leaked. Wei Yan straight up threatened to murder him if they do not find the rats soon. The guy violently slams his desk, losing his mind over how anyone figured out their moves. Only their core squad and the elders knew about the meeting. An outsider getting that info should be mathematically impossible. Right on cue, he glares at the girl nearby, seriously wondering if she was the one who ratted them out. Now check this wild shift. Back at the house, we find the poor chick getting heavily bullied by the girls. The chick keeps complaining about hating touches and trauma dumping about what humans did to it in the sanctuary. But little Gale literally understands nothing, just happily cuddling it like a cute plushie. Her sister even slapped a tiny pink ribbon on its head, ignoring that this bird is definitely a dude. She pulls out her phone to record, totally thinking it loves the look. Suddenly, their feral sister barges in, questioning what that thing even is. She viciously grabs the chick by its head, asking if they just picked street trash up. Panic mode hits. Gayul instantly yells at her to drop it. The wild sister then asks what the bird is named. Since they still do not understand its actual language, she just introduces it as Peep Peep. Meanwhile, the poor bird suffers through the nasty cigarette smell blowing right out of Yoram's mouth. Making things infinitely worse, she straight up licks it, causing the traumatized chick to literally pass out. After tasting the poor thing, she bounces casually, dropping that it does not even taste like good chicken. Meanwhile, her sister gets super furious about the bullying and starts throwing actual hands at her. The two start brutally name-calling each other until Yoram just fully starts beating the absolute crap out of her sister. Watching this chaotic brawl go down, the little girl grabs a remote and shares a live video of them. Bomb walks in right then, scolding her for messing with other people's tech. She then orders the fighting sisters to touch grass and chill out immediately. But the second she scoops Gale up, she gets zapped with a wild vision of the future. Spooked, she sprints straight to our boy who already knows everything. Looks like he is heading out, so she totally asks to tag along with him. Shockingly, he actually agrees this time, telling her he seriously needs her help. She looks absolutely shook, prompting him to say she can just chill here if she is scared. But the girl admits she's just super hyped. This is literally the first time he has ever asked for her backup. Cut to the association's secret base. BM is super pumped, introducing the whole squad. On his end, we have an old lady named Liwa and Minamoto, while our goated boy and Bomb hold down the other side. Jai casually drops that he is the demonic human hunter. The girl chimes in as his assistant. After hearing that, she and the old lady start hyping each other up. Minamoto gets completely annoyed, standing up and complaining they need to touch grass. Even though she needed their backup, his arrogant vibe is totally uncalled for since he keeps his background a secret. BM desperately tries to chill her out, zero luck. Now watch this flex. Jai just stares her down, basically asking if she wants to see his sick powers. That completely pushes her over the edge. She gets instantly ready to throw down. Before she even draws her sword, the granny drops a cold warning, one single move, and she is totally finished. Minamoto stands there absolutely clueless while the granny casually sips tea and apologizes for her. Then she locks eyes with our boy, straight up asking if he is fighting for humanity.